What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is a story where Issei was betrayed and was the reincarnation of Zalgo. The world of Draconic Deus, in short you can just call it DXD. Unlike Earth where every single being is either a myth or non-existent, this world has all of them, devils, angels, fallen angels, gods, Youkai, you name it. They all exist, but how humanity portrays them is completely different. However, there is someone, a race that is on par with the gods, the divine races, that being the demons. Well, many compared demons to be that to the devils. They were so dangerous that they were feared and respected by many. Some were even beloved and worshipped. They were led by none other than Zalgo, a demon whose name made even the dragon gods fear him. Zalgo, while a benevolent ruler, did not hesitate to show his sadistic nature to the ones he deemed as an enemy. The demon was betrayed by the God of the Bible, killing him mercilessly. This turned the demons against the angels, who still showed animosity to them till this day. However, that was not the end of his story, since he was reborn as a brown-haired teenager, named Issei, to once again live his life as a new person without the memories of his former self, maybe recreate his lost kingdom one day, but to do that he needs to find his trusted allies, know his trusted friends. He will rise as not only the strongest Red Dragon Emperor, but as the Demon King, feared and respected by everyone. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations. Now, let's get into part 1. The quote from MX. Innocence does not get you far. The abandoned church, a place where a legend shall begin. A nun was on one of the benches, however she was no longer breathing, nor was she even moving. She was completely dead. Her attire consisted of a dark teal nun outfit with light blue accents, a white veil over her head with light blue accents, a brown satchel slung on her right hip, and brown boots with black straps in an X-shaped pattern. She also wore a silver cross necklace around her neck. She was sleeping eternally, as a fight was commencing. On one side there was a girl. She had 2 pairs of black wings, indicating her status as a fallen angels, those that fell from grace, and became not what the biblical God had once intended for them to be. She wore a young woman with violet eyes having a slender body. She had long silky black hair down to her hips. She had a darker, more evil look. Her clothing also changed dramatically, now consisting of black strap-like objects around and under her breasts, a thong-like piece held around her hips by 3 thin straps, gloves that ran right up her arms with small lengths of chains hanging from them, shoulder guard-like objects on her shoulders with 3 large spikes sprouting from her right shoulder, and black thigh-high heel boots. One might view her as a prostitute or a sex worker, given her dressing style, but she was anything but that, although her attire might be considered as such. On the other side was a teary brown-haired young boy. He had just lost his friend. He was an average-looking boy with short spiky brown hair, with 2 short locks of hair behind his head and light brown eyes. He wore Kuo Academy boys' school uniform, which consists of a blazer, more commonly black, although in other media is shown with a tinge of purple or gray, with white accents, over a white long-sleeved dress shirt with black highlights with a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants, and brown dress shoes. He wore a red t-shirt underneath his open dress shirt and blazer, and wears blue and white sneakers in place of dress shoes. He had a red gauntlet on his arm that manifests on it, leaving his fingers uncovered. The fallen was merely toying with her ex-boyfriend, dodging the attacks, while at the same time mocking him. Calling her heartless would be an understatement, considering she would have killed an innocent girl for her own pleasure, but in reality the nun was just a stepping stone to get recognized by her superiors Azazel and Shemazai. Fallen. Give up, Issei. The fight is over, your friend Asia is dead, you cannot beat me, now with this power. The boy Issei was even more furious. He charged at her, only for the fallen to dodge and throw 2 light spears into his legs. Issei. Aig. It stung the boy. The spears were not just regular light spears, they were holy light spears meant to counter dark creatures, with Issei being a dark creature, a reincarnated devil to be more specific, was vulnerable as the spears entered through him. Fallen. You really are a fool, you realize that light is weaker to devils, you really are an idiot, ha. Issei, however, did not fall. He stayed determined. Issei got up, tears falling from his eyes, and then spoke. Issei. If there is any God in this church. No, wait, I am a devil, right? Satan, please give me the strength to beat this fallen you know Rainer, once and for all. The fallen now identified as Rainer spoke in an amused tone. Rainer. Did the pain get into your head, making you insane? Issei then started to move, the anger getting completely clouded by in his head. However, another voice was in his head. The voice was intimidating, which made Issei get on guard. Do you desire power, boy? Issei. Who are you? My name, I shall reveal it when the time comes, but now, answer my question, do you desire power? Issei. Yes, yes I do, I want to beat this fallen, no monster to the ground and avenge my friend Asia. Then I shall help you, I will give you the power you desire. For a price. Issei. I will do anything. That's good, very good, I shall give you the power, now take this fallen down and show her place. Issei started to move despite the damage, which made Rainer fear and shock. At this action, he moved, she fell back, the gauntlet on his arm did not look like the usual twice critical, instead it looked entirely something else. It was not the same red gauntlet, however it was a completely black gauntlet. It had 2 green jewels and 10 dark golden spikes that manifests on his arm. Not bad, we will meet again soon, my reincarnation. Rainer. No. This is impossible, that power is high class, no it is ultimate class, this is impossible, how can you have this power? Rainer shouted in fear. Issei walked to her, possessing whatever strength he had. Rainer had the look of fear as she threw a light spear aimed at him, which he deflected, shocking her and making her fear her even more. Issei. It hurts, I will be honest with you, I would wish to bleed out to death right here and now, but I can't, I will not until you fall to the ground, where you belong. Issei approached her as she spoke. Rainer. Do not approach. Rainer tried to flee away, her sacred gear which she stole was next to useless, she ran as Issei grabbed her legs, screaming. Issei. You will not run away from me bitch. Rainer. No, I have the supreme power. Issei. This is for Issei. Issei punches Rainer square in the face, sending her flying through the glass window. Issei falls to the ground because of exhaustion, where Kiba catches him. Issei then speaks in an annoyed tone. Kiba was described to be a handsome young man with short blonde hair, blue eyes and a mole underneath his left eye. He wore the Kuo Academy boys' school uniform, which consists of a black blazer with white accents over a white long-sleeved dress shirt with a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants, and brown dress shoes. Issei. You're late Casanova. Kiba. Sorry, could not intervene president's orders. Issei. Huh. Rias. He is right, good job Issei. The woman was Ria's gremmery, Issei's and Kiba's master. She was a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous body, white skin, blue eyes and a buxom figure. Her most distinctive feature is her long, beautiful crimson hair which she also inherited from her father, that reaches down to her thighs with a single hair strand sticking out from the top. Her hair also has loose bangs covering her forehead and side bangs framing her face. She wore the Kuo Academy girls' school uniform, which consists of a white long-sleeved button-down shirt with a black ribbon on her shirt collar, worn under a black shoulder cape and a matching button-down corset, a magenta skirt with white accents, and brown dress shoes over white crew-length socks. Yo. I brought her. The voice was described to be a petite girl with white hair and gold eyes. The front of her hair has 2 long bangs going past her shoulders and several loose bangs hanging over her forehead, while the back has a short bob cut. She also wears a black cat-shaped hair clip on both sides of her hair. She wore the same Kuo Academy's uniform just like Ria's did. Ria's. Good job Kaneko, a Keno if you may. The Keno. Very well. President. And besides good job on bringing her down, Issei. The Keno was described to be a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure, very long black hair and violet eyes. Her hair is usually tied in a long ponytail, reaching all the way down to her legs, with 2 strands sticking out from the top and sloping backward, with an orange ribbon keeping it in place. She usually wore the same Kuo Academy uniform like the other 2 girls. However, she wore a traditional Maiko attire, consisting of a white haori with red accents, a red hakama, and a pair zori of with white tabi. Issei had a small blush on his face upon being complimented by the 2 girls. That was when Kaneko brings the now unconscious Rainer inside. Rias awakens Rainer up by asking Akeno to throw some water on her face. Rias. Ah, looks like our guest has finally woken up. Hello Rainer. Rainer. Who are you? Rias. Introductions are in order. My name is Rias Gremory, the current heir of the House of Gremory and the owner of this town. Rainer. Gremory, just because you own this area does not mean anything, my friends will come here to save me. Rias. Oh them, I killed them. Rias then throws a few feathers belonging to her friends, much to Rainer's horror, she now realizes that she is screwed. Rias. They were quite rude to me. So I destroyed them, in cold blood. Rainer. No. Issei. Wow, I never thought she could be this strong. Kiba. That's our president for you, she may be nice and kind, but when provoked she lives up to the title of being the Crimson Princess of Ruin. Issei. Damn. If only you know. Issei. That voice again. Kiba. Something wrong? Issei. Nothing. Nothing is wrong. Reyes then turned her attention to the gear on his hand. It was completely different. Instead of being a red twice critical, it was completely black and had a much darker tone to it. Reyes knew that it looked like the boosted gear, except it was completely different from its usual coloring and design she saw and heard about. She would investigate it later. Reyes. Oh, seems like your gear has changed. Issei. Huh. Issei then turned his attention to his current gear, as it was completely different, as he looked at his gear in awe and spoke. Issei. Wow. Reyes turned her attention to Rainer and spoke in a prideful tone. Reyes. You want to know why you lost, because that gear which you assumed was a twice critical, was none other than the Longinus boosted gear, which houses the spirit of the Welsh dragon Drake, the Red Dragon Emperor, one that is strong enough to kill God itself. Rainer. The power of God in the hands of this pervert. Reyes then proceeds to kill Rainer, but Rainer transforms into her Yuma form. Yuma. Ice, please save me, this devil is trying to kill me, look I even have the bracelet that you gave me. Issei. Why do you still have that? You made it clear you did not want to do anything with me. Issei had a sorrowful tone. Kiba was ready to strike her down. As the orc figured it out that she was playing with him, Reyes hoped that her secret would not be revealed. Yuma. Ice, please I will do anything, just give me a second chance. Issei looks away. That was when Yuma asked, seeing the situation. Yuma. Ice, tell me something, why do you trust this devil? Issei snapped out as he spoke in a normal tone. Issei. She is my master, she saved me. That was all Rainer needed to turn Issei against her master. Rainer. Then let me ask you a question, how did you know that you were killed by my hand? She came out of the blue and saved her, ever wondered why? Issei then looked at her. Rainer then smiled vividly. Reyes, Akeno and Kaneko were in panic, while Kiba wondered what happened. He also noticed from the corner of his eye the changed expression of the three girls, making him suspicious as well. Rainer. It is simple, she knew that you were going to die by my hand, she came in so that you could be eternally loyal to her, you would be her slave for all eternity. Issei looked at his peerage in disbelief. Issei. Guys, is this true? Everyone except for Reyes and Kiba had their heads hung in shame. Kiba now realized what had happened and he glared at Reyes. On the other hand, Reyes was the first to come out from her shock. Reyes. Fallen angel Rainer, you have manipulated my pawn for long enough, now perish. Reyes charged her power of destruction, ready to take down Rainer once and for all. She has already revealed the truth, but she knew exactly what she needed to do to get Issei on her side. Rainer. Issei, please save me. Issei did not respond. He was still in shock, processing what had happened as the unknown entity growled at him. Being used like this, if he was here, he would have tormented the Gremory girl for all eternity. Rainer then yelled. Rainer. Issei. Issei snapped from his trance. He was radiating an aura of a dragon and a demon as well. Reyes was scared as this aura belonged to one of the most terrifying demon of all time. The same demon that even the devils. Zalgo. Everyone was speechless. Rainer and Reyes were in pure and utter fear, with the former believing if anything about this aura holds weight, then she is screwed, and she highly doubted that her brother would help her in a situation like this. Rainer was in fear as she knew that she has screwed up big time. She mentally and physically messed with a Longinus wielder. In addition, the aura her ex was developing was dangerous to the point where she knew that even a high tier fallen would be unable to handle him. Issei. No one will die here tonight. Issei yells, snapping everyone out of their trances. He then moves in front of Reyes, grabbing her hand. Reyes. Issei, leave my hand, let me end this filth now. Issei. No. No one is going to die tonight, is that clear? Reyes. Ice, please let us talk. Issei. You will answer all my questions, NOWWW. The ones nodded answered. Pissing of a demonic dragon is like begging for death. Issei looked at her, his eyes having a red glare, a glare that burrowed straight into her soul, which made her flinch. Reyes sweated nervously. She might possibly die tonight. Issei then asked. Issei. Reyes, why did you reincarnate me into a devil? Reyes. Well, I was banking on the fact that you had a gear. Reyes responded with utter fear as Issei narrowed his eyes. Where there was a red glare was nothing but darkness. He then spoke. Issei. And if I didn't, would you leave me to die? Issei opened his eyes, his glare returning. Reyes stuttered. Reyes. Aye. Issei then yelled, scaring everyone including Kiba inside the room. He wanted to stop this, but his body froze, unable to move. Same could be said for the rest. Issei. Reyes. And no. Issei. You will reincarnate this crow into a devil, you have an evil piece, right? Rainer was offended on being called a crow, but kept quiet. Reyes, on the other hand, was in fear as she spoke with a stutter. Reyes. Why, yes. Issei. You will take her into your peerage, she is a fallen who could be advantageous to your team. Reyes. But. Riaz tried to interject, but was completely cut off by Issei. Issei. Riaz. Why yes I will. Brainer having enough tried to interject. Brainer. Hey, don't I get a say in this? Issei looked at her with the same red glare, intensifying into her soul. He had the intent to torture. Rainer gulped out of fear. She just messed with the wrong demon. Issei. You have a choice, either servitude or death. You killed 2 innocent people, me and Asia. I can rip you apart and break your body like a twig, so make your choice. Rainer saw only one real choice, and that was servitude. Issei then put his hand close to her and, with his gear. Rainer. Aya. Issei gripped and pulled off her finger, as Rainer yelled in pain. As she held her finger in pain, he had ripped the finger where her sacred gear was, the same sacred gear, which she stole from Asia, Twilight Healing. While in pain, losing her finger was nothing. She has lost much more during her time in the Great War. She then spoke, with a stutter. Rainer. That's mine. Issei. Not anymore, it was never yours, it belonged to my friend who you murdered. In cold blood. Issei roared the last part, everyone present, scaring and flinching them minus Kiba, who managed to remain stable. He knew that his anger was directed at the girls. He made no attempt in stopping Issei, but despite that, he still asked, out of curiosity. Kiba. Issei, where are you going? Issei. I will be taking this with me as a memory of failing to save someone. I will not let Riaz revive Asia to use her as a pawn just like she used me. I will be leaving, I will only come whenever I feel like it. Issei kept the ring in his pocket. He then approached Asia and took her body to somewhere safe. He then walked out of the church hall, leaving the others. Riaz wanted to stop Issei, but her pride was hurt. She failed to understand what she did and how it will affect the future. However, before going outside he spoke. Issei. And to you Kiba, it is Haidu, same goes for all of you. You all have lost the right to call me by my first name. You are no longer my friends. I don't want a bunch of backstabbers as my friends. The group looked watching as Issei walked out, frozen, unable to do anything. Rainer only wanted to prove to her superiors that she was useful. Now her life is doomed to serve the race she looked down upon, the devils. Riaz wanted to stop him, but couldn't. 1, she did not want to die, and 2, she did not want to, as her pride was hit. She knew that he would eventually come back, since he did not want to become a stray. Scene change. Issei walked in an unknown location, deep in the woods, tears in his eyes. Aside from Mitsuda and Motohama, Issei never had any more friends. His childhood friend had left him and went to England, and now Asia, she has also left him, and it was because he trusted the wrong people, and now is something he does not want to be. Issei. Goodbye Asia, I am sorry, as your friend I was unable to help her save you from those monsters. Issei could only bury her, he failed to save her, the only person who she could trust, could watch as she died in his arms. Issei. Why? Why, just why? Why does this happen to me? I got manipulated twice, just because of my perversion. I failed to save you Asia, but I will never let this happen to me again, no matter what. Issei removed the Twilight Healing in his palm, and looked at it, tears falling from his eyes, as he kept in his body, as a reminder of his failure. He would never let Riaz manipulate again, him or anyone else, and that was a promise. Issei walked away. As he did, he failed to notice a green light behind him. He walked to his house, knowing that there was nothing he could do now. Scene change. The man was sitting on the blocks made of dirt. He wore a teal shirt and a blue jeans. He saw the blocked white square that was his moon, as he sensed a power that was familiar. His eyes shone in the darkness, as he looked upon, in surprise and shock. Is that? The figure smirked, his face having a smile. So you have finally found a way to come back, my lord. The figure saw that no one was around as he decided to teleport to his dimension, to prepare, as he spoke. I will be meeting you soon, whoever you have become, my lord. Previously we saw the fight happen at the abandoned church, where Asia was lying dead, courtesy of Rainer taking away her sacred gear. This was resulted in a fight between the fallen angel and the weak devil, as they fought. Eventually the voice inside of his head asks him his desire, which he reveals that he desires power. After that the figure, seemingly leaves. As Issei's sacred gear was completely changed, which made Rainer fear him, she tried to flee, but was unable to, resulting in her defeat. After that Issei was helped by Kiba, as Riaz congratulated him on his victory. As Rainer was brought in, she was met with a cold shower, waking her up. After improper introduction, Riaz also reveals that she has killed her friends, out of fear. She tried her manipulative charm on Issei, and it worked, not in the way she intended him for. This angered Issei to the point everybody was scared. It was also revealed that she intentionally let Issei die at the hands of a fallen angel. This backfired badly on everyone, minus Kiba, but this triggered Issei to the point of no return, and his aura made everyone fear him and they were in shock. The aura belonged to Zalgo, a demon respected and feared by many, however made everyone look in just utter shock, unable to do anything. Issei then used his gear to chop off the finger that had the sacred gear Twilight Healing, which made her scream in pain. He then left seeing that he would rather die, rather than stay with a bunch of backstabbers. He then leaves seeing that there was nothing to do here. He carried Asia's body and headed to a place. He then buried Asia's dead body and shed a tear for his first ever true friend. He then saw the sacred gear as a reminder of his failure, leaving the area, not checking for any green light that left the area. Issei walked home reminded of his failure. He failed to save Asia, and he was betrayed not just once, but twice. He knew that the source of everything was his perversion. He knew that is something he needed to change. He was easily manipulated, but that is never going to happen again. Issei walked home, unlike many that would love to head back home. Issei was not a big fan of that. Not many people cared for the chestnut, except for a few, that being his friends Mitsuda and Motohama. Despite being perverted they still cared for him, aside from that his two childhood friends, and finally the one that was deceased, that being Asia Argento. Issei walked home to be greeted by his twin sister. She was a young woman with blue eyes and brown hair. She wore a white flowing skirt with gold embroidery all over her body. She greeted her brother with a smile. "Aren't you kind of late, brother?" The girl spoke with a bit of sarcasm. Issei sighed and walked ahead, not in a mood to deal with his sister. He wanted to head to his room as his sister talked to him. "I was talking to you, Issei." The girl now spoke in an annoyed tone as Issei stopped as Issei spoke. "Issei. I haven't got time for this, Masumi, leave me alone." Issei spoke in an annoyed, no angered tone, flinching her sister. Issei had never spoken to her in such a tone as she asked. "Masumi. What's wrong, got into trouble again?" "Issei. For the last time." Issei turned to her, making her flinch again. This time she saw that her brother was not in a mood to argue as he spoke. "Issei. I am not in a mood, leave me alone." Issei increased the tone of his voice, his eyes turning into a glare. He then walked away. His sister did not try to stop him as she was now completely in a daze because of her brother yelling at her. After snapping out of it, she then turned and walked away. "Masumi. Jerk." She yelled and went back to her room to sleep, just like Issei did. Their parents had already gone to bed beforehand. Many parents often have a good relation with their children, however Issei was not so lucky. He never had that good of a relationship with his parents. No, they had quite the opposite relationship, a very bad and terrible relationship. However, it did not start like that. Issei started off having a very good relationship with his parents and his twin sister, along with his two childhood friends. But not all good things last forever. After his two friends left, everything went to hell. His elementary school was the beginning of all misfortunes. Unlike his two perverted friends, he was a pervert, but at the same time, he used to respect privacy, hence he never would peek on them, although this did not save him from his two tormentors. They used to beat him, and no one would believe him because of his gender. They even tried to frame him for things he never did, like stealing and attacking them, and since they used to play the victim card, they got away with their crimes. Youkai and Kaori Murayama, two girls that tormented him in the elementary school, did so in middle school as well. They were there with him, intentionally framed him for things he never did, like stealing women underwear, as well as peeking on them, as well as harassing. His friends tried to defend him, but given their reputation, they could only watch as the girls tormented him, more than they did to them, as those two were also victims of their actions. Although they were perverted, so they sort of deserved that. Middle school would have been the end for those three, but unfortunately, they showed up even in Kuo Academy. In reality, Kuo Academy was a place where they could start anew fresh, however they showed up there as well. They always seemed to have hated Issei right from the beginning. They did the same deeds, as a result the trio were the most hated in the school. Except for a very few that would sense something was wrong. Issei did not know why he was hated, but he knew one thing, they will be there to make his life a living hell. At home, things were not better. When everything went to hell for Issei, it sure as hell did. His parents constantly got calls from his school about his actions thanks to those girls. At first it was just mild warning, then it changed to severe punishments, and finally it changed to punishments that almost seemed to be which would seem to be physical and mental abuse to any outside viewer. Fortunately this was kept in the household, but despite everything he handled everything with a smile that was hated by the two girls. He kept the same smile at home. On the other hand, his parents never tried to ask his side of things. Instead they berated him and punished him at every step. Masumi, his older twin sister's relationship towards him started to deteriorate as well. However, unlike his parents, she neither tried to help her brother, nor did she try to support him. She wanted a normal life and being associated with him. Hence this resulted in a very distant relationship between Issei and his twin. After being considered as a date for Yuma, later Rainer, he was killed by her only for him to be revived by Rias. Issei thought that maybe, just maybe, his life would get better, and then the incident at the church happened, where Rainer revealed everything that Rias did. In a way Issei should thank her, because he would have been that princess's slave if it wasn't for her. But like Rias, she toyed with his heart and good nature in the same extent as Rias did. He would never forgive them or forget this betrayal. Not to mention because of them, Asia, someone who looked up to him, died because of them. He blamed himself for her death. Had he came to know her situation earlier, he would have tried something. Issei entered his room as he sarcastically spoke. Issei. Home, sweet home. Issei lied on his bed. It was the same room he had left earlier this morning for his prison, school. Honestly, he sometimes felt like taking his life, but he could not find the will to do so. Somewhere deep within his soul, he felt like his purpose in the world was not done. He kept his hand on his eyes and cried because of everything that had transpired today. He was back in this hellhole. He cried himself to sleep. Scene change. Issei. Where the hell am I? Issei woke up in what seems to be a fiery hellscape. He woke up to see a huge western red-scaled dragon. He was at least 150 meters from what he saw. He looked in fear as he spoke. Issei. Who are you? It seems like you have forgotten about me. I was the one that gave you the power to defeat that fallen. Issei. That means you are Drag, the heavenly dragon. Drag nodded, however another voice had gotten their attention. It's been a while. Drag. Issei. That voice. It's the same as I heard in the church. Drag. No. It can't be. Drag's voice was filled with fear as the shadow revealed to be a jet-skinned knight in red armor, surrounded by a corona of black lightning. Drag. Zalgo. Drag spoke with a voice of dread. He is someone one would call a demon god, almost on power with office and great red. Drag then spoke. Drag. What are you even doing here, Zalgo? Before Drag could speak, Issei interrupted their conversation. Issei. Hey Mr. Zalgo. Zalgo then turned his attention as Issei spoke. Issei. Can you please speak normally? Zalgo looked at the boy for a moment and sighed. Zalgo. Fine, only for you, kid. Zalgo agreed to speak normally. He was definitely gonna teach him the Zalgo speech during his training. Drag. But Zalgo, what do you mean by reincarnation? Zalgo. You heard me, Drag. He is my reincarnation. I take it you know about the Great War. Zalgo asks Issei, who nods in confirmation. Zalgo. Great, okay kid, so basically since I was considered on par with the strongest, God decided to pull the good ol' stab in the back. That old jerk could not take me head on, so he backstabbed me with a weapon designed by him so that I could die by his hand. Issei. So you are dead. Issei felt pity for the former king of demons as Zalgo kept a comforting hand on him. He looked at him as Zalgo understood what the boy has been through. He then asked. Zalgo. The world hasn't been nice to you, hasn't it? Issei nods in sadness as Zalgo rubs the boy's head. He then speaks. Zalgo. Don't sweat it kid, me and Drag will take care of you, right Drag? Zalgo nudged Drag as he came back to his senses. Drag. Why yes, we will take care of you, partner, and together we will make you the strongest red. Zalgo. Demon King. Issei looked at the scene in confusion as he spoke. Issei. Huh? Drag. Wait, I thought he would be the strongest red dragon emperor. Zalgo. No, he would be my successor Drag, he is my reincarnation. Drag. No, he will be the strongest red dragon emperor. Zalgo. Demon King. The two started arguing as Issei asked. Issei. The two turned their attention as Issei spoke. Issei. How about I be both the strongest red dragon emperor and be the demon king? The two looked at each other as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. Yeah, that makes sense. Drag. Totally. Zalgo. Speaking of which, you remember our deal kid? Issei pondered for a while as it clicked. Issei. Yeah, wait, was that you? Zalgo. No shit Sherlock. Zalgo spoke in a deadpan tone as Issei asked. Issei. Do I have to give my soul to you? Zalgo. Actually no. I can't take your soul since you are demon, as you are my reincarnation. Instead I want you to reunite and rebuild the demon faction and lead it as its new successor, my successor. Issei thought for a moment and spoke. Issei. I will, Zalgo, I will. Drag. And I will help you in that, partner, together we will become the strongest. Zalgo. We both will, we both shall train you, but I want to ask, what are your current motivations kid? Issei pondered for a while and spoke. Issei. I want to be the strongest so that I cannot lose anyone I will come to love and protect them with all my might. I do not desire to be manipulated ever again, neither by Rias Gremory nor by anyone else in my life. I will be the most strongest in the world, no matter how hard I have to train. Both Zalgo and Drake grinned at this, they were happy with Issei's response. Zalgo noted that Issei sounded just like him during his time as the Demon King. Drake. That is an admirable quest, and Drake Gotch, the Red Dragon Emperor will lead you in this quest. Zalgo. So will I Zalgo, the former Demon King, we both will help you Issei Haidu. Issei was almost in tears as he spoke. Issei. Thank you guys, thank you. Zalgo. Anyways, you might want to get up, you will get late for school or what you call it, prison. Issei nods as he exits his mindscape. Scene change. Issei. Wow, that was a nice dream I have had since a long time. Drake. That was no dream partner. Issei. Huh. Issei looked at his boosted gear, it was completely different than what he had expected, either way he was happy because he knew the truth and he was gonna find a way to no longer be a slave. Zalgo. Yep. And we both have seen your memories and we know why you reacted this way when I showed a bit of compassion. Drake. Some parents, they are abusing their own child. And that school. I wish to burn it down to the ground if I was there. Zalgo. And those girls, they would make for such handy undead slaves of mine. Zalgo spoke with a growl as Issei nodded with a sad look. Drake then spoke. Drake. When we complete your training, you can deal with them. Show them what happens when you mess with the future Demon King and the Red Dragon Emperor. Drake spoke with a sense of pride. Issei then responded. Issei. Yeah. Issei then asked Zalgo. Issei. From what I have heard, demons are considered as bad people, then shouldn't you be more akin to succumbing me to darkness or aggression? Zalgo. No kid, quite the contrary, unlike the biblical God who took the credit of punishing the evil, it is us demons that do the actual job. Our methods can be considered too brutal, too aggressive, too ruthless, hence we are feared and in some cases even hated, but at the end most of us are respected. In reality we are the ones that do most of the dirty work, well he took most of the credit. We actually prevent the souls from being corrupted again, it is only a difference in methods. Zalgo had a bit of disdain in voice, which Issei and Drake picked up, with the latter understanding the reasoning. Drake. I understand. The old man hated even us dragons, because he saw us too dangerous to his safety, that is why they attacked us during our rivalry, and with the other two factions joining us, it was practically over for the both of us, we fought, we killed many of their kind, but eventually we fell, and we were put into sacred gears. Zalgo. And then you continued your rivalry through human hosts, am I right? Drake. Yeah. Issei. So in time, I need to fight the white dragon as well. Drake. Yep, but we will help you since we are partners. Zalgo. Indeed, so don't you have to get ready for prison? Issei. Yeah. Wait. Issei saw on his clock that it was a Sunday, he knew that it was a holiday. He then spoke. Issei. We have a holiday today. Since it is a Sunday, we have a holiday every Sunday. Zalgo then had a smile and spoke. Zalgo. That's great, very great, we can begin your training. However, before Issei could speak a voice came out. Masumi. Brother, come down, mother is calling you for breakfast. Issei groaned, he really did not want to deal with his happy family, the duo inside his gear, understanding his problems, understood why he made the groan. Scene change. Issei headed downstairs, as he was really not looking forward to spending time, he saw his sister from yesterday, Masumi, along with his two parents, Garu and Miki Haidu. Garu was described to be an ordinary office worker. Garu has the appearance of a middle-aged man with brown hair and brown eyes which his son inherited, as Issei is noted to resemble him. He is shown to wear glasses. Miki was described to be a young woman who is a full-time housewife. She has the appearance of a middle-aged woman with dark brown hair that is tied into a ponytail and hazel eyes. Both parents' smiles changed to a neutral expression, not exactly a frown, but not exactly a smile either. Issei sighed, knowing that this is gonna be a long day. Miki then spoke. Miki? You're late. Where were you last night? Issei took his food and started to eat as he ignored his mother's first question. This caused her neutral expression to change into a frown. Miki? I asked you a question, boy. Issei ignored her again as Masumi spoke. Masumi. Brother. Miki. I asked you a question, Issei. Issei. I was at the church, if you want to know so badly. Miki was taken aback at the yelling, he hasn't recovered from Asia's death yet, he did not want to remember the incident, he blamed himself for her death as his father angrily responded. Eru. This is not how you talk to your mother, Issei. Issei. Says the guy that attacks me on a daily basis, yeah. Eru. Issei. Eru yelled as Issei quietly ate his breakfast. Masumi watched the scene in horror. In just one night, her brother had changed. Gone was the smiling, nice brother she had known for a long. Instead came a no-nonsense brother who minded his own business as he spoke. Issei. Anyways, I have a question of my own. Why do you care about my whereabouts all of a sudden when you never even tried to listen to me even once, so why question where am I? Both parents were taken off. They remembered that the boy used to smile, despite them being strict with him, they always believed that the boy was nothing but a pervert. But today a different figure was in front of them, a different boy. Basumi. What happened to you, Issei? Basumi spoke in a shocked tone, as Issei spoke. Issei. Nothing much, speaking of not listening. Whenever you got a call from the school, did you even ask me what I did, just like today? No, you did not, instead you assumed that I did those things those two girls told the school. And well, you disciplined me after that. Answer me, why are you so concerned about me now? Both parents were shocked and speechless, as Misumi also had the same question. Misumi. Brother is right, you never did ask him. Whenever I noticed a complaint, you did not even hear his side. I never questioned it until now. But even I want to know. Beru came out of his shock as he spoke. Beru. So do you think the school is lying? Issei was quiet, he narrowed his eyes and spoke. Issei. Even if they were, it is not like you are gonna believe me. They never did. I mean, I am definitely not athletic or academic like my sister is. I am just a normal average looking hormonal teenager who is honest, but then again, even between our fights, you still chose her. Am I that bad? Both parents were shocked. Miki then spoke while her eyes were watering up as she spoke. Miki. No, that's not it. Issei. Then, what is it? Issei had raised his voice a little bit as this flinched both his parents and his sister. Issei then narrowed his eyes and spoke. Issei. I see, not answering, huh? I rest my case then, I will eat my food in the room, if you feel like answering then you know where to find me. Issei took his plate and headed upstairs as both his parents tried to stop him. Even though they doted on Misumi, they still cared for Issei. They only used to severely punish him when he did all those deeds. Now they even started to doubt the words of those two girls. Misumi. His words, it almost seems like we were not talking to Issei, but to the devil himself. Misumi thought worried for his brother as they continued to eat in silence, processing everything that had happened. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei learning muscle break. It has been a while since the discussion at the table. After Issei ate his food, he had washed his plate and kept it in the dish drawer, where all the plates are kept. He did this when there was nobody in the kitchen. As he did not want to deal with his parents or sister. Zalgo. Something in your mind, kid? Issei. No, it is just the first time I actually talked back to my parents, and the best or the worst part is that they were willing to listen to me. Zalgo. It is because I may have influenced you in a way. Your personality will soon become like mine, but you will still have your old self in you. That will not go away, no matter what. Drake. But I was glad you stood up against your parents in a non-violent way. Many people would use my power for revenge, but you are not like them. You are better, way better. Drake reminisces about a child having abusive parents and him triggering the Juggernaut drive out of revenge to kill them. It worked, but in turn it destroyed the village he was living in. As everyone whose fate has been sealed by the drive, with him losing his life force and being stuck in the gear as a soul. Issei. So what now? Zalgo. We both will train you, not only to become strong, but also to become the next successor. First we will convert you into a hybrid, which is a demon and a dragon. You will be mostly demon, since devil and demon physiology have several similarities, it will merge with them, so your devil side will instead become demon side. Drake. And most of your human side will be converted to demon side. Since you were born human, it will convert the remaining human side of yours to demon side. You will still retain some humanity, but it will be a small amount, kind of less than 10%. Issei. I see. Zalgo. In other words, you will become the first demonic dragon, unlike evil dragons who are a group of dragons who are known for their particular vicious temperament, as the most vicious and brutal among all dragons. Most of them are dangerous battle maniacs who want to destroy everything including themselves, causing them to be referred to as broken dragons. Drake. Even I, Albion or Zero would never get involved with them, they were usually controlled by evil or malevolent gods. Issei. Who are those two? Drake. Albion is my rival, the White Dragon Emperor, the one which you will be destined to fight, and Zero is the third heavenly dragon, also called the Blue Morning Dragon. She is considered a pacifist and always hated violence, however just like us, she was hunted down out of fear by the three factions. We were partially responsible for her death as well. I still remember her intention was to have a family, but she never got the chance as well. In addition, she never looked down upon any other race. Bragg spoke in a sorrowful tone as Issei spoke. Issei. She must have been a good dragon, right? Drake. One of the best. I and Albion knew, and as for Albion, he is similar yet he is wise, and that is what I respect about him. There was a moment of silence between them as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. As for your training, we will be traveling to the null dimension. Now before you ask, it is where time is completely stopped, so we can train there as much as you want, and you will be alright, since mine and Drake's aura will protect you. So don't worry. When you come back, there will be barely any time that is passed in this world. Issei. That's amazing, is there anyone else that knows about this dimension? Zalgo. Only me and Great Red does, he is basically way stronger than Drake and is called the true Red Dragon Emperor, as well as the Dragon of Dreams. He is the only one that can keep up with me and is on the same level as me. Issei. Wow. Issei spoke in a surprised tone as Zalgo instructed. Zalgo. Ice, activate your gear and put your hand ahead. Issei did as he instructed and Zalgo used his power to open a portal as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. Enter into the dimension, this is where your training really begins. Zalgo spoke in a no-nonsense tone. As Issei did so, he entered the portal. He saw that the dimension was completely white, with light coming out from the openings. The whole room was white as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. Welcome to the null dimension, my successor, this is where I and Drake will train you. Drake was himself surprised, as was Issei. Drake spoke. Drake. This is the first time I have come here, it is like a lifetime opportunity to be coming here. Zalgo. Normally many would use this dimension for training, however since time is completely stopped, it messes with the brain's perception of reality, so only I and Great Red know of this place. It would kill anyone that stays here for longer than 30 minutes, the weak-minded will be the first to fall. While the strong, which you consider the top 10 strongest beings, might be alive for longer than 30 minutes, but even they would have to leave considering the toll it puts on their mental psyche. Issei. I see. Zalgo. As planned, we shall first convert your body into a demonic dragon, so prepare yourself, Issei. Issei nods as Drake begins the countdown. Drake. Body transformation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As soon as the countdown reached to 0, Zalgo knocked Issei unconscious as the duo began transforming him into a demonic dragon. It took a while for it to work, but within 15 minutes, as Zalgo was a master in this art, he guided Drake in doing the effort, the work became faster, and within an hour the process was completed. Issei woke up 30 minutes after the transformation as he spoke with an annoyed tone. Issei. Ugh. My body is still in pain. Zalgo. It is because the transformation is complete, normally it would have taken half a day, but with my skill in this art, it only took an hour. Zalgo spoke in a prideful tone as Drake spoke. Drake. Rest for a while, it would at least take your body to cool down completely, think of yourself as a cookie just baked in an oven and being removed, so rest until your body becomes stable, and then we train. Issei. Oh, okay. Scene change. After resting for 2 hours, Issei woke up, his body completely cooled down. He looked behind to see 4 pair of blackish red wings with patterns on them. His body looked the same like he was human, however, instead of his normal skin pigmentation, it was completely red in color, with a mix of black inside of them. He had 2 horns on his head, where Zalgo's horns were located. His hands were of the same color, all in all, he kind of looked like a combination of Zalgo's traits and Drake's traits. Zalgo. The transformation is done, you, Issei Haidu, are the first official demonic dragon, congratulations. In addition to that, your non-existent reserves have almost reached a Satan level, thanks to your physiology, although nowhere near mine. In the future, you would even surpass the heavenly dragons. You have tremendous potential. And I and Drake will help you unlock it. Issei. Thank you. Issei was happy for being congratulated and being trained by 2 of the most powerful beings in the world, but after a while the atmosphere changed into seriousness. Zalgo then spoke. Zalgo. Alright, it's time for the real training to begin. In other words, welcome to your special hell, Issei Haidu. Issei gulped but had a determined look on his face as he spoke to the gear. Issei. I am ready. Scene change. 1 training montage later. 6 months have passed. It took 6 months for Issei in this dimension to learn everything. His body had been changed completely. The first thing that Zalgo taught him was transformation magic, and that was to hide his features, which was successful. Issei looked just like his old self, but was showing some muscles. His body seemed to be muscular. He no longer was a scrawny teenager. The next thing that the duo taught him was physical combat, teaching him hand-to-hand combat, so that he does not have to rely on his sacred gear to fight. This was something they did during the day. At night in his mindscape, Issei was taught several magic spells from both Drake and Zalgo, with the former teaching him dragon fire spells, as well as teaching him abilities he could perform with his dragon demon form. He also learned Welsh dragon flare, a much stronger version of fire breathing, as Issei could generate fire from his breathing and emit at his target. Zalgo on the other hand taught him about demonic magic, which unlike the devil's version of demonic magic, is much more potent, stable and easy to manipulate. Zalgo called this the true demonic magic, as he taught him several spells that would help him in the future. Zalgo now decided to teach him his first ability that made him one of the strongest to challenge the dragon gods. The ability known as Corrupt. Corrupt is a unique ability, similar to Boost, Divide or Breach. It is a special ability belonging to Zalgo, when aimed at the target enemy, can corrupt anything it touches, which can include even sacred gears, even Longinus, are not affected by it. Once it hits, the user gains complete control of the ability or even the sacred gear. The only way one can break through corruption is by sheer and pure willpower, which is extremely rare. When the user uses Corrupt, a blackish-red miasma is formed around their hands, and once it is aimed and makes contact, the miasma disappears. A black goo-like substance forms around the object, eventually completely covering it. Once this is done, the user has full control over the object. The only ones that have been known to break free so far are Great Red. In addition to the previous abilities, Zalgo and Drake taught him every elemental spell they knew. Zalgo taught reality manipulation, black hole manipulation, soul manipulation, musical manipulation spells, mind manipulations and chaos manipulation to Issei. The rest he will have to wait until he is ready for that. Zalgo. Alright, most of your part is done, now it's time to unlock that, right Drake? Drake. Indeed, you managed to learn so much abilities, you can enhance their abilities, you may be possibly the strongest host I have ever had. Issei. Thanks, guys. So what is he talking about? Drake. Balance Breaker, many of my hosts have unlocked that, only a few have unleashed the full potential. And I know you can do it as well. Issei. Okay, so what do I do? Zalgo. I want you to jump off that high ground. Zalgo points out, as Issei gulps, he does what is asked though, since this is pretty much the last part of his training. Issei stands at the edge of the place, he does not have the will to do that, as Zalgo realizes what he needed to do. Zalgo. I have just the thing to push him. Zalgo thought with an evil grin as he spoke. Zalgo. YOLO. Issei jolted off the ground as the sound was loud enough for him to fall. As Issei yelled by being thrown off the high ground, Drake then spoke. Drake. Partner, focus, you want to save yourself right, then use that, your gear. Zalgo. Do it, I believe in you kid, or are you going to fall like this, being manipulated, being known as the perverted weakling? Issei. No, I won't fall. The blackish and reddish glow emanated from Issei's body from his resolve. He could use his draconic wings, but Zalgo restricted it for his training purposes. Welsh Demonic Dragon Balance Breaker. Drake and Zalgo roared as Issei activated his Balance Breaker. It was a black armor with red color gems, unlike his boosted gear that was initially green, that was changed to red, which was signifying that Zalgo's power has been completely integrated into his body. Issei. Whoa, what the? Drake. Even I am surprised. Zalgo, is this your doing? Zalgo. Yep, now your Balance Breaker can use my and Drake's power at the same time, now let's fly up, I don't want you being a demon omelet. Issei nods, as he uses his wings he had in the back to fly up. Drake sighed, this was his new Balance Breaker from now on. Zalgo then speaks. Zalgo. Oh, and you can use your regular Balance Breaker as well, in other words you have also unlocked Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Drake. Congratulations, you may be the quickest person to have ever unlocked 2 Balance Breaker back to back, you should be proud of yourself. Issei. Thanks guys, I really appreciate it. Issei then flew up back to the high ground as he deactivated his Balance Breaker, sitting down for a while. Zalgo then speaks. Zalgo. Before he head back, there will be a few changes, since I taught you to hide your abilities, you shall not show your true power to them, at least not yet, this will prevent people from coming after you, especially those devils. Issei nods, while clenching his fists, he was definitely not going to get manipulated by them again, never again. Zalgo. You only need 5% to defeat those devils anymore, and you will completely destroy them with ease, so be careful. Once this is done, you will head home to your dimension, not a second will have passed. This would arouse no suspicion, but aside from that I am proud of your progress, you will be my successor in no time. Drake nods, as Issei speaks. Issei, thank you Zalgo. Zalgo. Now let's head back, given my teachings, you should be able to go back on your own. Issei. Yep, now then. Scene change. Issei activates the spell back to his home dimension. Once he enters he is back into his room, he then takes a shower since he was tired from his training. He then realizes that his hair has grown quite big. Not a problem, Issei used some magic to fix his hairstyle, and he was back to the way it was. Basumi. Issei, lunch is ready. Where are you? Issei. Yeah, I will come. Issei spoke in the same neutral tone. He did not want to let Masumi or his parents know what he really is. He then headed down and took his lunch and ate it. His parents did not speak a word regarding his new slightly buffed appearance, however his mother spoke. Mickey. Ice, have you been working now? Issei. Yes, I have been hitting the gym. Issei spoke in a neutral tone while focusing on his food. Mickey nods as she silently eats her food, with her father doing the same thing. Masumi looked at her brother, but he quietly ate his food, washed his plate, and headed back to his room. His parents and his sister were sad that he have given him the started giving them the silent treatment. They really needed to know what was really going on in the school. The truth will come out soon. Issei's words in the morning did affect them in a way. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi's Zalgo trolling the Chibi orc. The next day, 6:30 AM. Issei got ready for his school, as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. Ice, be careful, your power will not go unnoticed. Eventually the supernatural world will come to know who you really are. Many will either ask to join or will kill you for your power. You need to be careful with what you do next. Issei. I know, Zalgo, Rainer showed me that, right from killing me for recognition, but I will not fall. I will fulfill your dream of rebuilding the demon faction. After all, I am your successor and reincarnation. I will not fall. I will not fail. I will no longer be manipulated, ever again. Greg. Oh, and speaking of manipulation, do you want to know about the evil pieces in your body? Issei forgot about the pieces during the time as he spoke. Issei. Yeah, what about them? Zalgo. Oh, I corrupted the pieces. They no longer make you serve her. I absorbed the abilities of the pawn pieces, as well as something you would love. Now Issei, imagine a ball of pure power. Zalgo spoke nonchalantly as Issei asked. Issei. Like this? Issei concentrated his power in his hands, as a red and black sphere of pure magic was in his hands, as Issei asked. Issei. Is that corruption? Zalgo. No, that's the power of destruction, the same power your ex-master has. I absorbed the demonic essence from them, and then used it during the time your transformation was happening. You can now use it, Issei, it is all yours. Issei. Sweet. Issei yelled in happiness. He now has the same power that made Rias who she is. He is certainly gonna destroy her, if she pesters or annoys him. Greg. Thank you, Zalgo, for not making us her slaves. Issei. Agreed, who knows what might have happened. Zalgo. No worries, that girl is really prideful. Like most of those royal standing people are. Issei. True. Zalgo. Anyways, get ready for school, I will not let you be late for school. Zalgo spoke in a slightly intimidating tone, as Issei spoke. Issei. Sir, yes sir. Issei got ready for his school, and left for it to head there. He was joined by Masumi, as both gave each other the silent treatment. Previously we saw Issei return back to home, being helpless in saving Asia, as well as knowing a heavy betrayal. He knew that the only thing he could do is to return home. He was greeted by his twin sister, Masumi Haidu, whom he angrily rebuffed since he was not in a mood. He remembers how his childhood and school days were a living nightmare, thanks to two of his classmates, Yukai and Kaori Murayama. They were the ones that made his life a living hell, no matter whether he was in school or in home, as his parents kind of abused him for his actions in school. He eventually slept with tears in his eyes. In his dreamscape, he first encountered the Welsh dragon Drake, and second he encountered the demon god Zalgo. Both of them showed him compassion, something he had not felt in a long time, which did surprise the duo. Realizing that his life was not good, they then decide to train Issei in becoming the strongest. Zalgo then informed Issei about the deal, which he accepts without a second thought. Much to Zalgo's happiness, Issei then opens his eyes and sees that it is a Sunday. He gets down for breakfast. Needless to say, it was confrontational to say the least, with Issei giving his parents the silent treatment. The parents were not happy and demanded him to talk, which did not end well. The confrontation ended with Issei taking his food in his room and his parents in complete confusion. After heading to his room, he talks to Zalgo and Drake as they explain him the training they have set him up for. They first intend to convert him into the first demonic dragon, as well as intense spell training, along with physical and mental training. Zalgo knew that Issei going missing would cause a lot of suspicion, so he devised a plan. He instead took Issei to the null dimension, where time completely stops, allowing Issei to train as much as he wanted without any issues. They begin the conversion procedure, followed by 6 months of intense training. Issei learned a lot of things. First was the ability Corrupt, which was a broken ability to say the least. The second was multiple manipulations, from reality to soul. After that, the thing to close his training was him learning Balance Breaker. Zalgo pushed him, resulting in him unlocking his Balance Breaker, and this was different from his usual Balance Breaker. Considering his training to be success, Issei heads back to his own dimension, and first takes a bath and changes his facial appearance. He seemed to be buffer than his usual self. Masumi then called him to have lunch, which he did. He still gave his parents the silent treatment much to their sadness. He then heads off to sleep. The next day before going to school he is warned by Zalgo. Taking his warning seriously, Issei knew that he will have to face his ex-master at some point, no matter what happens. Issei headed to his school, Kuo Academy. The school that seemed to be nice on the surface was not at all. The Kuo Academy, once a pure girls' school, was changed into a co-ed school. Issei and his friends Mitsuda and Motohama were in this school. Well, Mitsuda and Motohama wanted to get into this school to find a girlfriend. Issei had different intentions. He wanted to get into a good college. Maybe in America, but here in Tokyo would have also been fine. Mitsuda was a young man with shaved hair and normally wears his Kuo Academy uniform with an unbuttoned blazer. Mitsuda is a former jock and school sports star back in junior high school where he broke multiple records, but he's in the photo club now. Motohama, on the other hand, wore a similar uniform to Issei, which consists of a blazer, more commonly black, although in other media is shown with a tinge of purple or gray, with white accents, over a white long-sleeved dress shirt with black highlights with a black ribbon on the collar, matching black pants, and brown dress shoes. He wore glasses and has a normal haircut, with his black hair being shorter than Issei. Mitsuda. Hey. Issei. Issei saw Mitsuda and greeted him in return, after which Issei greeted Motohama with a regular wave. They were the only two real friends he had, the rest of his high school hated him. Motohama. Hey Issei, I have got the latest DVD of Pui Pui Magical Girl, let's go and watch that. Issei. Yeah, sure. Mitsuda. Issei, is something wrong, why so gloomy? Issei. No, I am fine guys. Motohama. Tell me, is it because of those two whores? Issei. No, nothing, anyways, when do you want to watch? That show, when do you want to watch? Motohama. After school, at my place. Hey. Motohama kept a reassuring smile as he spoke. Motohama. If they bother you, we will be by your side. Mitsuda. Yep, we are brothers after all. Even when you get a girlfriend. Issei. She is not my girlfriend. Issei spoke with a raised voice. The boys looked at each other. Motohama removed his hand and spoke. Motohama. For real? Issei. I would rather die than be in a relationship with those girls. Mitsuda. What happened? Issei. Honestly, I just know that beauty can be deceiving sometimes. Those that are beautiful on the outside can be ugly on the inside. The boys looked at Issei and wondered what he meant. Issei. Don't let yourself be fooled, beauty can completely ruin you. Issei spoke in a serious tone, making the boys nod. They wondered how can someone change him in such a short time. Motohama. Issei, have you been taking steroids? Issei looked at him surprised and asked. Issei. Huh? Mitsuda. There is no way you looked like this the last time I saw you, you seem jacked. Issei. I have been hitting the gym recently. Issei spoke with a blush as Zalgo mentally communicated. Zalgo. Good thing you can lie, or else our secret would have been out. Issei mentally nods as Mitsuda gave him a pat on the back as he spoke. Mitsuda. Seems like you would turn into a ladies' man in no time, your body is perfect, neither too much muscle, nor too much lean, you have the perfect body. Issei. You know too much about men's body, Mitsuda. Mitsuda. Former jock, you know. Anyways, let's head to school. Motohama. Yeah, I definitely don't want to be late. The trio nodded as they headed to their school. Scene change. Dimska brought to you by Chibi. Issei getting knocked out seeing a complex schoolwork, while Chibi's Zalgo and Chibi Drake try to get him up. Kuo Academy, 12:30 p.m. Issei. Ugh, math is so boring. I want to learn something that would help me in the future, and integration is not that thing. Even Zalgo and Drake agreed. Who was that genius that added alphabets to math? If anyone said that intelligence can be a curse, then he was right. That is when a voice came, and it was like as if someone was forcefully digging into the listener's ear, like almost burrowing itself inside the ear. Rainer. Well, look who showed up, the great runaway. Issei turned his attention to Rainer, as the class, both boys and girls, looked at her, the girls having a blush while the boys having lustful stares as usual. Mitsuda and Motohama initially looked angry, but when they saw Issei having a glare of his own, they changed their expression to confusion. Rainer hated Issei with a burning passion. He is the reason she is a devil. Not only has she lost Twilight healing, she is pretty much a devil at this point, and he is the one responsible for that. She wanted to kill him right then and there, but Rias forbade her from that, and there were a lot of people here. Issei sighed seeing her. He was not interested in dealing with the orc. Issei. What do you want, Rainer? Rainer. It's you, Uma. Rainer hissed as Issei spoke. Issei. I missed the part where that's my problem. Rainer scoffed at the comment as she spoke. Rainer. And besides, I am here since Rias wants you in the clubroom, she wants you to be there at the clubroom. Issei. And why should I be? Didn't I make it clear I will only come when I feel like it? Rainer. You are part of the occult research club, you need to be there is a meeting. Issei. Sorry but. Before Issei could continue, Zalgo telepathically spoke to him. Zalgo. You should head there, tell that woman that you quit. Issei. But will that work? Zalgo. Use your power to get the job done, I am pretty sure once you quit you might fight against them. Greg. Show them that a dragon bows to no one. Issei nodded, he was certainly gonna end this once and for all. Issei. Fine, lead the way. Issei sighed as he knew that today was gonna be a long day. Mitsuda and Motohama tried to follow, but Issei signaled them that he will join them soon. Masumi could only watch as her brother headed to the orc room. She remembered that a red-haired girl was in her brother's room a few days back. She recognized her as Ria's Gremory, but what weirded out was the fact both he and her were naked on the bed, which did make her blush as she ran to tell her parents the news, but after a while. What made it even more weirder is the fact that their parents were okay with the fact that their parents accepted it without hesitation. It was clear to her that the orc was hiding something that they did not want the rest of the world to know. Scene change. Rainer. I have brought him, President. Rainer said the last word with a scowl, as she really hated the red-haired woman in front of her. Issei came in the room, as he saw Ria sitting on the chair with her same annoying smile, Akeno standing with a neutral expression like a dog on a leash. Kiba was reading a book away from the girls. Kaneko was sitting on the couch eating her sweets. When Issei came everyone turned his attention to him. Issei. What do you want, Gremory? And make it quick, I left my lunch for this shit. Riaz looked hurt by Issei's statement, as Riaz spoke. Riaz. Is that all you have to say to me, after what you did in the church? Riaz spoke in a hurtful tone, as Rainer got angry remembering the event. Kiba stopped reading his book and shot an angry look at Riaz, as he knew that she was doing nothing but anger him even more. She hasn't learned about what happened 2 days ago. Issei. Yes, let me tell you something Gremory, I hate being in this room is nothing but a bunch of traitors, deceivers. Issei turns to Rainer with a glare as she flinches, as Issei speaks. Issei. Murderers. The group flinched, as many looked hurt by this statement, especially the girls. Kaneko was both hurt and angered as she shot a glare at the pervert which Issei ignored. Kiba could only look away, seeing that they were responsible of turning a comrade against them. He wanted to talk to Issei about his side of the story. He could only hope that Riaz does not ruin the relations with Issei to such an extent that there is no contact and Issei now hates her to the point of no return. Issei. Before you tell anything, there is something I want to tell you. Riaz. What could you possibly want to tell now? Riaz was completely hurt by the statement, as Issei spoke shocking her. Issei. I quit. The atmosphere became completely silent, as Riaz was in complete shock with the rest of the peerage. Kaneko dropped her sweets, with Kiba being equally shocked. Akeno then asked while recovering from the shock. Akeno. Why you're kidding, right? Issei looked at her with a neutral expression and spoke. Issei. Nope, you heard me loud and clear, I quit. Riaz. Issei, you can't quit, I order you to stay in the club. Riaz demanded angrily for Issei to stay in the club, as Issei turned his back and spoke. Issei. Nope, I quit, goodbye Riaz Gremory. Issei then left the club room, leaving a shell-shocked orc. Riaz could not do anything about her trouble, she was screwed. Scene change. Issei was alone lying on the ground as he spoke. Issei. Hey Zalgo, why did Riaz still think I was her pawn, did you not destroy the pieces? Zalgo. I corrupted them, destroying the link by whoever created them. And I must say whoever did this made an amazing job. I replaced the old link with a fake one, that is the reason she still thinks that you are her slave, but in reality she knows nothing that her pieces are nothing but completely corrupted, in other words, I can do anything with the pieces. Issei. I see. Since you want me to build the demon kingdom, who do you want me to recruit? Zalgo. For now I would suggest you go for 3 of my most loyal generals. Issei. May I know who they are? Zalgo. Their names are MX, Lord X and HEROBRINE. Issei. Would they believe I am your reincarnation? Greg. They will, your aura matches Zalgo so they should believe. Zalgo. Yep, they would be in their own dimensions, they have been staying there since my defeat at the hands of the biblical god. Issei. Okay. So when do we head there? Zalgo. After your school gets over, at night time, that is when we can access their dimensions. Issei nods when both Mitsuda and Motohama call him, as Zalgo asks with a smile. Zalgo. They really care for you, don't they? Issei. Yeah. Greg. After all in this entire school only those 2 stood by his side the entire time, no one else did. Zalgo. They would make excellent generals in the demon army, people with loyalty are extremely rare to find. Issei. guys, as much as I would love to let them in, I want to keep this a secret. I will give them a choice to join or not. Until then, I will keep this a secret. I do not want to force them into being demons. I will give them the choice as I want them to keep their humanity. Zalgo. I see. You are even more nobler than I thought, kid. You are more than worthy of being my successor. Issei. Thank you for believing in me. Zalgo. Greg. Now go, you don't want to keep them waiting. Issei nods as he joins both Mitsuda and Motohama, who were worried for him ever since he went to the orc group. He knew that they would be really good friends until the end of time. Scene change. Mitsuda. For real? Issei told him about the events that has happened in the orc just a while ago. As Mitsuda and Motohama exclaimed in shock, Mitsuda asked in a shocked tone, to which Issei responded. Issei. Yep, I am no longer part of their club. Issei responded in a nonchalant tone as Motohama asked in a shocked tone. Motohama. People would jump on the chance on being with Ria senpai or Akeno senpai or even our lovable mascot, yet you left them, why? Issei. I told you earlier this morning, I came to know who they really are and… Issei tried to continue, however a voice stopped them middle in their tracks. It was Ria's. Issei growled as he thought. Issei. She really is persistent, she is begging to have a bad time. Both Mitsuda and Motohama were shocked that Ria's was in front of the trio. They had a perverted grin given their nature, however Issei did not have that. Instead he had a scowl on his face. Issei. What do you want, Gremory? Ria's. Come back to the occult research club. You are one of us. The boys, who were looking at Ria's with a perverted grin, snapped out of it by her commanding voice. As they looked at Issei, who had a scowl, they put a 2 and 2 together and understood something was wrong. Issei. You heard me a while back, my answer was and still is no. Ria's gritted her teeth in anger as both Mitsuda and Motohama looked in shock as Motohama spoke. Motohama. Issei. He was now definitely confused. Same could be said for Mitsuda. It was shocking to see their perverted friend change this much. That meant something bad happened with him and the orc, something really bad. Ria's, on the other hand, who was furious, suddenly gave a smirk. She then spoke. Ria's. You give me no choice, Issei. Ria's used a spell to knock both Mitsuda and Motohama as Issei looked at the two in shock as his eyes returned to a glare as he yelled. Issei. What did you do to them? Ria's. Since you refused to cooperate, I had to take drastic measures. Ria spoke with a smirk as she then commanded. Ria's. Akeno. Rainer. The girls, who were in the air, unleashed a bolt of lightning and several light spears at Issei, who created a barrier to defend himself as the attacks formed a dust cloud. Akeno. Ara, you should have listened to President Issei. Akeno spoke in the same sultry tone as Rainer spoke with a grin. Rainer. HMPH serves this weakling right. However, as the dust cleared, Issei was standing with barely any damage. He then spoke. Issei. You attacked my friends, guess you give me no choice. Issei growled as Zalgo telepathically communicated with Drag following suit. Zalgo. Put these fools, show them you are not someone to be messed with. Drag. Zalgo is right, show them that you are the dragon of domination. Issei then maniacally grinned, causing fear to build up in the trio of girls as he spoke. Issei. I am gonna really enjoy this. Issei blitzed towards Akeno first. He dodged any lightning aimed at him. Akeno managed to hit him with her attack as she spoke. Akeno. Ara, you should not have let your guard down. Akeno licked her lips as Rainer yelled. Rainer. Above you, you half-breed. Akeno gained a tick mark, however it was cut short when Issei showed up dodging the attack as he unleashed a punch to her face, slamming her to the ground with a thud, knocking her out temporarily. He then turned his attention to Rainer. Fear was plastered in her face as Issei spoke in a taunting tone. Issei. Weakling, am I? Rainer. And no please, I was only following what that princess. Rainer spoke in a fearful tone as Issei rushed to her and gave her a punch to the stomach. As Rainer was recovering, Issei felt a magic strike him. It was Ria's activating her power of destruction. However, Issei did not want to deal with her just yet. He turned his attention to Rainer and unleashed a barrage of punches and kicks to Rainer, causing her to cough up blood and saliva. Issei then unleashed a series of punches to her arms that shattered several of her internal structures. Rainer. Aya. Issei then kicked her to the ground, him shattering her internal structures in her arms as because of her prevention of using light spears. Rainer groans in pain as her arms were completely damaged. Issei. This one is for you, Asia. Issei spoke in a quiet tone as he turned his attention to Ria's, fear written on her face. As Issei took down two of her pieces, down back to back, he then rushed to her and activated some of chaos magic in his fists to put her in the ground. Ria's grew fearful that she will not survive the next attack. As Issei grew closer, Rias closed her eyes, however she was not struck. Her eyes opened up to see Issei's punch was intercepted by Kaneko, as she returned a punch back to Issei, making him block with an X formation using his hands. Issei. Nice one. I will give you that, Kaneko. Issei spoke in an excited tone, as Kaneko charged at him, aiming a punch at him, however Issei caught her fist, responding with a grin. Kaneko responded with a kick to the face using her other leg, however this was caught by Issei's free arm, as he smirked. Kaneko was completely unable to move. She tried to use her rook piece's super strength to move. However she was unable to move, she was completely stuck. Issei then twirled her in a 360 degree, as her body was twirling in midair, he then grabbed her arm and ragdolled her around, hitting the ground with her multiple times. She was knocked out cold, with several bruises and scratches on her body. Most of her clothes were torn, revealing her inner clothing. Issei then turned his attention to Rias, who was in complete fear. She still refused to believe that Issei had become stronger. She tried to move back as she spoke in complete fear. Rias. Saint, stay back, why you monster? Issei spoke in a sarcastic tone, which had a bit of anger. Issei. Monster huh? Says the woman who attacked my friends for no reason, and then proceeded to force me to join her stupid club. Well, guess what, I tried to solve this non-violently. But you, the great Rias Gremory, did this. If anyone is responsible for this, it is you. You attacked me for no reason, just because you cannot accept no in your life. Now suffer the consequences. Saying that, Issei charged at her. Rias tried to use her power of destruction, which he easily dodged. She was now even more afraid of what would happen. Her power that made her a high-class devil is gone completely. Issei gave her a punch to the gut, making her cough up. He then unleashed a series of punches, shattering some of her bones. As she is sent flying, Issei then reached to the other side and grabbed her by the face. As he slammed her to the ground, the impact was strong enough for her to fall to the ground and make a bounce back up as he grabbed her by the throat. Rias mouthed something with whatever strength she had. Rias. Why you will not get away with this, I will make sure, you. Rias was unable to complete as Issei left her and gave her a roundhouse kick to the face, sending her flying off the concrete wall, knocking her out completely. She was completely damaged and unconscious from the attacks. Issei then turned his attention to a grunt. Akeno had woken up, however what she saw was her teammates on the ground severely injured. Her attention then turned to Rias, and seeing her condition, she yelled at Issei and glared at Issei with complete hate. Akeno. Issei Haidu. Akeno unleashed a concentrated aura of pure lightning at Issei and aimed at Issei, who activated a magical defense to take the attack, as Akeno unleashed the lightning upon him, which did surprise him. Looks like she has more power than he thought. When the dust settled, it revealed Issei slightly damaged with the attack as he deactivated his barriers. Akeno shouted in disbelief. Akeno. No way. It is impossible. You should be dead by my attack. Issei rubbed the dust off his shoulders as he spoke with a sarcastic tone. Issei. Maybe it is not my time yet. Issei charged at her, and when he got close, he spoke. Issei. Now, my turn. Issei grabbed her face and kneaded, as the impact damaged her face. Issei repeated that, constantly damaging her face completely. Issei then kneed her in the stomach with force enough to cough up blood. Akeno was unable to defend herself, since one, those attacks used too much of her strength, and two, Issei did not give her a chance to do so. Issei created a bomb of pure chaos and put it on her lower chest. As he jumped backwards, he then fired a beam of chaos, triggering a massive explosion. The explosion revealed Akeno being completely scarred. Her skin was completely damaged, with her hair being destroyed and most of her clothes being shredded, revealing her clean body as she fell unconscious with her body bouncing off the ground, eventually stopping. Issei. Chaos magic is unstable, hard to manipulate or control. One bomb was enough to put you in this condition. Issei then sighed as he spoke. Issei. You are lucky that I only used one on you, Akeno. Any more than that, then I doubt you would survive. Issei then walked away as he spoke, turning his head to the beaten members of the orc minus Kiba. Issei. Good riddance. He then turned his attention to his perverted unconscious friends as he picked them up and headed to the infirmary. He now really does not want them to be involved. Scene change. Issei. I wonder why Kiba was not here with you girls. Issei spoke alone as he walked across to the corridor. He decided to visit Mitsuda and Motohama. These morons nearly would have revealed the existence of devils to the whole world. On the bright side, Issei had created a space secretly to prevent the class from knowing about them, thus the fight could happen without any problem. Once the fight was done, he dispelled the space, leaving them alone. However, someone else would discover their bodies. Issei knew the Kiba was missing among his attackers, which meant something was off. From the initial days of knowing him, he seemed to have honor, but that could be falsified, at least in his eyes. But he did not know the Kiba was innocent. He was not involved in Ria's plan, unlike the rest of the girls. Issei then sensed another devil aura, however it did not belong to Riaz or the orc, instead it belonged to another girl. She was a bespectacled young woman with a slim figure, black hair styled in a short bob cut and violet eyes. She then looked at Issei. As Issei turned away, she then called out to him. "I do, wait." Issei turned around to see the girl. He did not want to deal with another problem, as he asked. "Issei. What do you want, SONIC.EXE?" Issei spoke in a slightly angered tone, as Sona, who was more understanding of the situation, spoke. "Sona. Are you in a hurry?" Issei. "I was, so what do you want?" Sona. "Nothing, I just sensed something off in you. Anyways, I will take my leave, I have to meet Riaz." Issei nods, as he knew that she was unaware of what Issei did a while back. Sona always had this feeling that Issei was not what he seems. Even when he was framed, she could see that the evidence was off, but despite this, coupled with the school's hatred of him, she could not do anything for the boy. She tried, but her hands were tied, hence she could only watch. But she knows nothing about what Issei has suffered. After Sona had left to look for Riaz, Issei turned around and spoke. Issei. "Sona, I know you are a devil, but if you do the same mistake as Riaz did, then you will also fall, although I believe that you won't since you are definitely smarter than that moron." Issei then headed to Mitsuda and Motohama, who were resting in the infirmary. Issei, with the guidance of Zalgo, used magic to remove the spells on the two boys that Riaz had casted. But Issei was angry. No, he was furious. Attacking him is one thing, but attacking his friends, that is a step too far. Issei then saw the two wake up. As they asked what happened, Issei had to make up a lie. As much as he hated it, that they fell asleep because of the heat, which they accepted, which was a good thing. He will tell them the truth one day, when the time is right. Scene change. Sona was walking to the hall where she saw the damaged body of the Grimoire peerage. Rushing to her friend's aid, she shouted in shock and horror. "Sona. Riaz. Who did this to you?" Riaz was barely able to move as she spoke. "Riaz. It was." Riaz fell unconscious as Sona contacted her queen and spoke. "Sona. Tsubaki, come here and call my peerage, I need some help." Riaz and her peerage were attacked. "Contact Kiba as well, he needs to be here." "Tsubaki. As you wish." Sona disconnected the call as she watched at the defeated Grimoire peerage and covered her mouth in horror, seeing the carnage as she spoke silently. "Sona. Whoever you are. I will make you pay for what you did." Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei teleporting the orc to the null dimension. Haidu residence, 6:30 p.m. Issei headed back from school to his home. He knew that the Grimoire peerage would not be bothering him for a while. He was with Masumi, who asked. "Masumi. How was your day, Nai-chan?" Issei ignored her and went inside. Masumi was sad that she was still being given the silent treatment. Masumi tried to reconnect with her brother, but she knew that it was gonna be longer than expected. But she will not give up, no matter what. Issei headed back to his room as he asked Zalgo. "Issei. So when do we go to head there?" Zalgo. "We can go right now. First we will head to the inverse Mario world, that is where MX lives." Issei. "Okay. Lead the way." Zalgo. "Alright, here goes." Issei activated his boosted gear as a portal opened up, with Zalgo activating the way to head there as Issei walked to the portal ready to enter the inverse world. Scene change. Inverse Mario world, 7 p.m. Issei saw the whole world. It reminded him of the original Mario world, however the sky was black and the clouds had sinister faces on them. Aside from that, the world looked relatively normal. Issei. "Wow, do they all live in separate dimension?" Zalgo. "Indeed, they not only live in these dimensions, they also have full control of them." Greg. "This is gonna be an amazing experience for me." Greg exclaimed in happiness. Zalgo then spoke. Zalgo. "Wait till you see HEROBRINE's world." Greg nods as they then notice a man with green hair, a green inshirt and white overalls and a pale yellow skin color running. He was chased by a man twice his size. Skin is pale white, his mustache, shirt, hair, shoes and eyes are black, and his hat and overalls are a darker shade of red than the actual Mario's. He's also much bigger and fatter than the original Mario. Zalgo. The giant man is none other than MX. MX seemed to be chasing down the green man as he kept running away from him. The green man spoke. MX, I am tired, can we take a break? MX. No Lucas, you need to keep grinding. If you want to be strong, you need to keep grinding. Lucas kept running since MX did not intend to stop chasing him, as Lucas would be punished if he stopped. MX was training him to be a demon, a strong demon. Lucas was once a human child with a neglected family. One day, he received a copy of Super Mario Bros, which he had gotten. Upon booting up the game, he was transported to this world, where he met MX, the only one that paid attention to him. The story was a cover story that MX torments and tortures him every single day. In reality, MX trains Lucas every single day. so that one day he could become a demon that could serve Zalgo whenever he shows up in the near future. He has been one of the loyal generals under Zalgo's command. MX then suddenly stops as Lucas asks. Lucas? MX? MX? I sent somebody in my dimension. You can take your break, kid, you have earned it. Lucas. Thanks you, MX. Lucas sits down exhausted as MX grins. He then turns his attention to the visitor to see a boy with a black gauntlet as Issei says. Issei. Hi. MX. And who are you, kid? I don't think I have given the cartridge to a Japanese kid. Issei. My name is Issei Haidu, and it is a pleasure to meet you, Mr. MX. MX. And how do you know my name, kid? Zalgo then speaks from the gear. Zalgo. I believe I can answer that. MX stumbled back as he has not heard his voice in ages as he spoke in a stuttered voice. MX. Zalgo. Zalgo. It's been a while, MX. Scene change. MX. I see, so you managed to find a way back. Huh. MX brought the group to his castle as Lucas was resting in another room. MX then brought guests as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. Yep, it was not easy, but I managed to reincarnate myself in the boy. MX. So you are his reincarnation, huh? Issei. Yes, that's what he says. MX. I also sense dragon in you. Greg. That would be me, Mr. MX. MX. I see. Just call me MX, both of you. Anyways, I would like for a confirmation. Issei. Huh. MX. I want to know, are you the real Zalgo's reincarnation? Don't get me wrong, I trust you, kid, but I am not so sure myself. Honestly, it has been so long that he has died because of that old fool that I don't trust a lot of people. Issei understood what MX was trying to say. Issei also was betrayed by someone he looked up to. He may not relate to MX completely, but he understood what he tried to say. Issei. So do you want the proof now? MX. Not now, let me get my best friend Lord X, we shall begin your test there. Issei. Okay. MX. Lucas. MX called Lucas, who showed up after a while. He then spoke. Lucas. Yes. MX. Look after this place for me, okay? Lucas. But where are you going? MX. I am meeting a friend of mine, I will be back soon. Lucas nods as MX rubs his head. Lucas then heads back to lying down on his bed as he was resting before that. MX. Alright then. Let's head there, okay? Issei. Yeah. Issei nods, ready for his test to prove himself to be Zalgo's successor, and he will sure as hell complete it. Scene change. Suicide Hill Zone, 8 PM. MX created a portal and asked Issei and his company to head there, which they did. They were greeted to a site which had orange skies, with dried green grass, and totems that were black in color with faces in red paint, which seemed to be blood. The tree stumps were made of metal with spikes on them. The water which seemed to be that of the sea, which was blood red in color. MX. Welcome to Suicide Hill Zone. Issei Haidu. Issei looked around to see that the whole area is pretty morbid. He should be feeling dread, but in reality he actually did not feel fear or dread, unlike the previous area, which was a horror on the surface. This was not, it felt more on the psychological horror. Even the name, which literally has suicide, can be considered psychological. MX, and Issei decided to move on ahead, as MX asked. MX. So Issei, tell me more about yourself. Issei. There is not much to tell, I am just an average hormonal teenager who got betrayed by the people he cares about. MX. That's not much. Anyways, mine is a bit different. I was just a demon that was once a human, a simple man, but as fate can be cruel even to a human, that is when I met Zalgo. Aside from that, my life was a regular human, finding jobs and surviving. Aside from that, I met Zalgo and joined his army. After his death, I went into the inverse world because I had no purpose in life. That's the short of my life. Issei. So how did you meet Lucas? MX. I saw from my world a boy playing a corrupted NES cartridge to Super Mario Bros. That thing was a way to get into my world. After that I sucked him in. At first I wanted to do nothing with him, but then I saw potential that he could be an amazing demon, so I took it upon myself to raise him as my own. Issei. Nice. So where is this Lord X? MX. He should not be far. The group walk across Suicide Hill Zone as they then see an anthropomorphic hedgehog. He has blue-grayish fur, has an X-shaped wound on his stomach and red eyes with black sclera. He also has dark yellow teeth, whiskers and wears deformed black shoes. MX. Hey X. Lord X turns around to see his best friend waving at him as he speaks. Lord X. Hey MX, it's been a while. As Lord X approached him, he saw another person with MX as he asked. Lord X. Who is this, your new student? MX. No, quite the contrary, he claims to be the reincarnation of Zalgo. Lord X takes a look at Issei. He did not feel dread looking at his appearance, which made him grin his yellow teeth, while knowing that he did not feel fear, gave him the first sign that he has had a run-in with demons. Lord X. What's your name, kid? Issei. My name is Issei, it is nice to meet you. Lord X. Lord X. Just call me X, kid. Lord X smiles, he then scratches his chin as he speaks. Lord X. So you're Zalgo's reincarnation. Can I speak to him? Zalgo. You can, Lord X. Lord X widened his eyes upon hearing his voice. He almost tried not to cry blood in front of the kid, as it would have given Zalgo a bad reputation. Scene change. Lord X. I am just glad you are back, Lord Zalgo. Zalgo spoke in an exasperated tone. Zalgo. How many times have I told you to call me just Zalgo, X? Lord X. Sorry, just a habit. Lord X rubbed his head as he spoke. Lord X. So MX told me everything and he and I both want proof. Now don't get the wrong idea, we believe you, but we just want assurance, or more accurately akin to a sort of confirmation. In other words, make us believe that you are his reincarnation. Issei understood what he meant, he then spoke in a regal voice. Issei. Very well, X, MX, you shall get your proof. In an instant, Issei transformed into his true form, which was a combination of both the abilities of both Drag and Zalgo. The aura radiated throughout the entire dimension. As both Lord X and MX were shocked, the kid was no longer present, instead what is in front of them was Zalgo. The same Zalgo that they respected and loved, the same Zalgo that ruled over the demons at one point in his life. Both Lord X and MX were forced on their knees, bowing in front of the being that was in front of them. Issei then spoke in a demonic voice. Issei. Now do you believe me? The duo nodded as they felt the commanding aura piercing through their bodies. Lord X and MX were in reality happy, elated that their old king was back in his full glory as he spoke. Issei. Rise. MX. Bossman is back. Lord X. MX is right, our lord is finally back. Issei smiled at their reincarnations as he spoke. Issei. It is good to be back, although I may be the reincarnation of Zalgo, I will be known as Issei, cause that is who I really am. The duo nodded as Issei reverted back to his human form. He saw the two trying their best not to cry as Issei spoke. Issei. So is there anything else I need to prove? Issei spoke in a sarcastic tone as MX spoke. MX. No, nothing, bossman, you have done enough proof. Issei. Anyways, I want you to treat me as your friend and not as your lord. When we are alone, I want to be friends, more than a leader, if it's alright with the two of you. MX and Lord X looked at each other and grinned towards Issei as he spoke. MX. We would love that. Lord X. MX is correct, I also don't mind being friends with you. Zalgo told us the same thing years ago. And this is another reason why we love him so much. Zalgo. Thank you guys. Zalgo spoke in a tone full of gratitude as Lord X spoke. Lord X. But MX told me that I sensed dragon in you, what about that? Greg. I believe I can answer that. The group were even more surprised to see the dragon of domination with him as Lord X asked. Lord X. So that means you are not only the reincarnation of Zalgo, but also the host of the Dragon of Domination. That is amazing. MX. Truly, once again we shall rise as demons. And you Issei Haidu shall lead us. Issei. Speaking of rising, Zalgo told me the last person is HEROBRINE, so where is he? The duo looked at each other as MX spoke, turning to Issei. MX. We will lead you to him. Just follow my lead. Lord X. And I will also join, but before that I need to tell my wife about this. Zalgo spoke from the boosted gear as he asked in a surprised manner. Zalgo. You have a wife. Lord X. We married just recently. Wait, let me just call her. Sally. A female anthropomorphic chipmunk with her eyes sealed shut turned to the direction of Lord X's voice. She wore a dark green full skirt all the way down to her toes with light green collar and apron of similar color tied to her lower skirt. She greeted the trio with a smile. This was Sally.exe, the wife of Lord X. Sally.exe. Hey X, did you need? And who are you? Issei. Mrs. Sally, I am Issei Haidu, and I am the reincarnation of Zalgo. Sally.exe was aware of Zalgo as Lord X came to his aid by speaking. Lord X. And we can confirm it, Sally, he is the one. Sally.exe took one look at the boy and smiled. Sally.exe. I have never met or seen him in person, although X has told me a lot about him. It is finally nice to meet you, Haidu. Issei. Just call me Issei, Mrs. Sally. Issei spoke in a slightly fearful tone as Sally chuckled. Sally.exe. Very well, but in return you must call me Sally, okay? Issei nods as Sally.exe asks. Sally.exe. So why did you call me for X? Lord X. Well, I will be going to meet some of my old friends. Can you look after the rest for me? Sally.exe thinks for a while and smiles. Sally.exe. Sure, but come back home. Honey. Lord X smiles in return as MX prepares the portal. Sally.exe then speaks. Sally.exe. And it was nice meeting you again, MX, and Issei, take care of yourself. Issei and MX nods, after which the trio enter the portal after Sally waves goodbye to them. She does not mind looking after the young demons present in this world, since she loves taking care of them, just like her husband Lord X. Previously we saw Issei head to his school where he sees his only true friends Mitsuda and Motohama waiting for him at school. They then notice about Issei's changed attitude, as they also notice his changed body type, which does weird Issei out a little bit. They also try to get him distracted with some magical girl stuff, as Issei reveals a part of the truth he had in the past, which does get the two off guard. While in school, the group were seated as a bad memory in the form of Rainer shows up. She asks Issei to head to the occult research club. While reluctant, Zalgo convinces him to do so, as this would be the time where he could quit the orc. He then heads there, hating every moment of being there. He is definitely vocal about his desire, which hurts the girls present there. He then informs the group that he is quitting the orc, which shocked and angered the people present, especially Ria's. She was not going to let it slide. Elsewhere, after leaving the orc, Issei asked about the pieces, through which Zalgo responded that he created a fake connection, which fooled Ria's as well. He then meets up with Motohama and Mitsuda, who he informed that he left the orc, shocking them as well. However, their conversation is cut short when Ria's attacks them, knocking his friends out. He then takes out the members of the orc one by one, albeit brutally. However, Akeno wakes up and makes one final stand against him, which she badly loses, as Issei informs them that he could have killed them if he so wanted to. He takes his friends and heads to the infirmary. He then leaves them alone as he encounters Sona, who pretty much asks a few questions, with Issei heading to see his friend's recovery. Sona, on the other hand, sees the badly beaten up members of the Grimoire peerage, which she promises to make the one responsible pay. Meanwhile, Issei and Masumi heads back home, where Issei still gives them the silent treatment, which saddens her. He then heads to begin his first mission of recruitment of his allies. He starts with MX, whom was a bit reluctant to believe about Issei's true identity. He then took him to Lord X dimension, where he was given a chance to prove, which he did, by transforming into his true form, which was enough to not only prove but also reveal the truth to everyone, making both the demons happy. After which Lord X and MX head to HEROBRINE's dimension. As they head there, Lord X calls upon his wife, Sally.exe, where she introduces herself and gets along with Issei, seeing that the demon her husband respected was back then. After that they head where Lord X asks Sally.exe to look after the young ones, which she agrees, when they head to the HEROBRINE's dimension. Infirmary, Kuo Academy, 8 p.m. Sona was overseeing the healing of the occult research club's damaged members, with the student council helping them. They needed Phoenix tears to get the job done, since their wounds are severe. Whoever did this really held animosity towards them. Sona. Anything on our attacker. The woman, long straight black hair that extends all the way down to her knees, with split bangs and heterochromic eyes, with a violet left eye and a light brown right eye. She also wears blue semi-rimmed glasses with square lenses. Tsubaki. No, nothing, sorry President. Sona. Keep looking, Tsubaki. Whoever this man is must have a reason for attacking us. Tsubaki nods, as another young boy from a distance speaks. It could be a stray devil. The boy was a young man with short blonde hair and grey eyes. He wears the Kuo Academy boys' school uniform, albeit without the blazer, and his sleeves are rolled up. Sona. No, Saji, I don't think so. The attacks, albeit brutal, were completely precise. I mean, Rainer's hands were fractured, Ria's was completely crippled, Kaneko's body was in tatters, and finally Akeno took the worst. Her whole body was completely burnt. So we can rule out a stray attack. Sona spoke with a deep analysis, as she slightly narrowed her eyes, trying to identify the attacker. Saji. Okay. But that does not explain the brutality. The stray could be smart. Sona. Possibly, but even then there was one thing that made me rule out the possibility of it being a smart stray. Both Tsubaki and Saji were even more curious, as Sona spoke. Sona. The user was a chaos magic user. This caused Saji to be confused while Tsubaki was shocked. As Saji asked. Saji. So, how does this change our suspect? Tsubaki then turned to him and spoke. Tsubaki. Chaos magic is one of the most unstable and hard to control magic. Even ultimate class devils struggle to wield them, not to mention it can drown people in power. So whoever did this not only is advanced in its usage, but also is capable of perfect modulation of it. Sona. So that rules out our stray devil aspect. Saji nods in understanding, as Sona notices Ria starting to wake up. She then rushed inside to see what happened, not knowing the surprise waiting for her. Sona. Riaz, can you tell us what happened in the afternoon today? Riaz was still trying to recover from what happened this afternoon. Fear was stretched in her face. The rest of the orc, minus Kiba, was still unconscious as Riaz spoke. Riaz. We were attacked when all of us were outside. Me and my peerage were utterly destroyed by that monster. We were brutally beaten by him. He showed us no mercy. Riaz shouted in pure fear as Sona asked. Sona. Tell me the name of that person who attacked you and your peerage. Riaz. Sona's tone was ever so monotone. She wondered who could do this as Riaz spoke the name of their attacker. Riaz. Issei. It was Issei that did this to us. Riaz's tone was completely silent due to fear inside of her body. As there was complete silence in the room, Saji was the first one to speak. Saji. You're kidding, right? Riaz nodded her head sideways as Sona kept her hand on her mouth. She remembered how brutally beaten they were. Sona remembered when Issei walked past her, heading to the infirmary. She did not why he went there. In addition, Issei's attitude was much different than the one she vividly remembered. Tsubaki. So what do we do now, President? Sona. If Issei really did this, which is hard to believe, Riaz, even for me, that means Riaz you must have done something to really anger him, because the attacker was a user of chaos magic. Akeno's wounds were a proof of that, so tell me, Riaz, what did you do? Sona spoke with an utter seriousness as she wanted to know the full story. Riaz. Nothing I did. He has been really acting like this ever since today. First he left the occult research club, then he attacked us. I really do not know why. Riaz lied to Sona, who could see the fear in her eyes. She looked into Riaz in her eyes and spoke. Sona. You better not lie to me, Riaz. If he is an enemy, then we have to deal with him with caution. Riaz. No, I am not lying. Kiba. She is lying, Sona-sama. The group turned her attention to Kiba, who had gotten the medicine that Sona asked him to get. Riaz had a look of betrayal and fear in her eyes, which Kiba ignored. Kiba. That is not the full story, although I believe it would be best to hear it from his mouth, since it is his story, but I can tell you this, Issei came to know of something he should not have, and when he came to know, something snapped in him, changing him to what he is today. Riaz. Kiba. Riaz was in disbelief, as the truth of Issei's reincarnation was kept hidden from him as well. Sona then narrowed her eyes and spoke. Sona. Riaz. Sona sighs as she understood that Riaz lied to her, as she turned to Kiba with her asking. Sona. Kiba, tell me everything you know. Kiba. You should hear from his mouth like I said before, and Riaz, why did you go and attack him? He did not attack us in the orc room, when he could have did it and gotten away with it, that meant one thing. He was minding his own business and you attacked him. You could have exposed us to the whole world and made a bad situation even worse. Sona's eyes widened, now she understood why Issei attacked them, with even Saji and Tsubaki being shocked and surprised, they were speechless. Sona then grabbed Riaz by the collar and spoke. Sona. What were you even thinking, Riaz? Why did you attack him? Just because he denied to be in the club because of some past issues. Riaz looked away, unable to face Sona, as she narrowed her eyes and angrily glared at Riaz. Sona. I will talk to Issei tomorrow. I need to know the full story. Until then I will not make a decision. Any issues? Saji, Tsubaki. Saji. Nope. Tsubaki. No, nothing at all. Both Saji and Tsubaki denied it, as Sona turned her attention to Kiba and asked. Sona. Is he willing to talk to you, Kiba? Kiba. I am afraid not, Sona-sama, forgive me. Sona. No, not an issue, this can be a problem if we do not deal with this situation as soon as possible. Riaz already screwed this up, and I will speak to him tomorrow. Riaz. Sona. Riaz tried to convince Sona against a decision as Sona glared at her, shutting her up, and spoke. Sona. No, Riaz, I will deal with this situation myself, and if you intervene I will report what you did in the afternoon to your brother. Sona spoken in an angered tone, as Riaz was taken aback. Riaz clenched the bed sheet on her bed in anger. Kiba, along with Saji, Tsubaki and Sona. Sona. Just what happened to you, Issei Haidu? Sona thought in worry, she wondered what happened to Issei. In just a day, she needed to find the truth out, before it is too late. Scene change. Nether Realm, Minecraft, 8:25 PM. MX. It's been a while I have come here. Issei. So this is the underworld of this dimension, huh? The Nether Realm was described to be a dimension that had a brownish-red landscape with fungal vegetation and reddish-orange liquid which seemed to be lava. Lord-X then spoke. Lord-X. Be careful, the area may be blocky, but it is still the actual lava. Issei. Whoa, living in lava, that's so cool. MX. Then wait till you see Slender Man's dimension or Lullaby Hypno's dimension, you would love those then. Issei. Nice. Lord-X. Now let's look for the Nether Fortress, that is where HEROBRINE lives. Issei. Okay, let's go. The group traveled try to find the Nether fortress. MX leaps through the area, scaring any of the piglins that were nearby. They were anthropomorphic pigs with gold accessories. Lord X flies through the area, while Issei uses 2 of his dragon wings. They then traveled through the area, trying to the Nether fortress. Lord X. I found it, my lord. Lord X exclaimed, as both MX and Issei got their attention, as they saw nether fortresses which were large castle-like structures that are composed of black bricks. This structure was found by the group was bridging over lava seas. MX. Here we are, I hope that he is home. Issei. If he is not, we shall wait till he comes back home. Zalgo then spoke. Zalgo. You do realize that your parents would be worried for you, right? Issei. They may, but I will just be silent, honestly I doubt they would be thought. Zalgo nods, as MX and Lord X were confused as Issei looked at their confused expression and responded. Issei. It's a long story, I will explain everything later. The duo nods, as they understand from the tone of their master, knowing that he does not have a proper relationship with his parents. They head inside the castle, as they are marveled by the insides. Thankfully there were no blazes around, so that was a good thing. When they reached the throne room, they saw that there was nothing. MX. He is usually here. Lord X. He must be pranking Steve right now. Issei. Who is Steve? MX. He looks similar to HEROBRINE, except he is human. He wears green pants and blue jeans, and his eyes are normal, while HEROBRINE looks exactly the same minus his eyes lack any pupils and are completely white. They even glow in the dark, something that he can control at will. Issei and the group wander the halls for a while, as Issei speaks. Issei. So we wait, it is not like we have much of a choice. I believe that will not be necessary, you three. The group look up to see a man, and as he was described by MX, he looked exactly the same. He hovered around the three. This was HEROBRINE, the same person MX described as was flying above them. He held what seemed to be a bluish-green pickaxe in his hands as he spoke. HEROBRINE. And welcome to my humble abode. HEROBRINE then hovers down to the group as he speaks. HEROBRINE. It's been a while, MX, Lord X and my lord. HEROBRINE bows to Issei, which surprises him, MX and Lord X, as MX asks. MX. You knew? HEROBRINE. I was the first to sense him 2 days back. I was minding my business when I sensed a presence that you were radiating. That was when I knew he came back. Issei. Well, looks like I don't need to prove myself. Scene change. HEROBRINE. So how do you like my dimension? Issei. All three are good in my opinion. MX dimension while may seem simple, and it is nice, Lord X dimension is the unsettling one, and HEROBRINE seem regal. HEROBRINE. I see. I am glad you like the design. Issei. Anyways, Mr. HEROBRINE. HEROBRINE cut him off and spoke. HEROBRINE. Call me HEROBRINE, my lord. Issei. Okay. So why did you not test me, like MX and X did? Zalgo then spoke from the boosted gear. Zalgo. He was the most loyal general I had, my successor. No offense MX and X. MX. None taken. Lord X. We know, he was there for you even when you were at your low points and used to come whenever you needed him. HEROBRINE rubbed his head as he spoke. HEROBRINE. Thanks. And besides it is good to hear your voice, my lord. Zalgo. I missed being back, honestly after that old fool murdered me by betraying me. I wonder what he is doing right now. I mean I expected him to show up as soon as you woke me up. Issei. You mean the biblical god. Bragg was the next to speak up. Bragg. Yep, that guy. HEROBRINE spoke with a smile. HEROBRINE. So you are the Welsh dragon host as well. So how is your rivalry going with him, you overgrown lizard? Bragg spoke in a bit of an annoyed tone. Bragg. Hey. I am no overgrown lizard. And speaking of the rivalry I had say 50-50, I won 50% of the time, or I should say my hosts won, and 50% of my hosts lost. HEROBRINE. I see. Lord X. So my lord is the tiebreaker, and after that will be what, will you be fighting again? Bragg. I am afraid so. MX. Do you not get bored by constantly repeating the fight? Bragg. Quite honestly no, I see my hosts grow up, everyone is different in a different manner, they have something special in them. One of my hosts Belzard not only refused being a dragon, but also had a family, took down 2 white dragon emperors, and lived a perfect human life, growing old and dying. MX. Ooh okay I retract my statement. Bragg chuckles, after which Issei speaks. Issei. So HEROBRINE, will you? HEROBRINE. I will join you guys. Issei. Yes so. Wait what? HEROBRINE. You heard me, I will join you guys. Issei was taken aback, he never thought that HEROBRINE would readily accept to join the group, as Issei spoke with a smile. Issei. Welcome to the kingdom, HEROBRINE. HEROBRINE. I am glad to be back, my lord. Issei. Since you three will be part of my kingdom, I might as well inform you about my past. Issei spoke with an utmost seriousness as the trio looked at each other. Lord X asked. Lord X. Shouldn't we tell our past first? Issei. Okay. Go ahead. Lord X. You see, I am more of a cosmic demon that hails from the void. Anyways, when I came to this planet, I decided to take on a form of somewhat of a friendly face. Issei. Sonic. Lord X. Yeah, him. But when I talked to people, they feared and ran away from me. I could not get rid of my eyes, even in this form, and my X mark on my chest. I could hide it for some time, but not for long. I mean, I managed to keep it hidden for months, but then I need to keep it on for a day or two. I decided to hide myself away in the dimension. That is where I met Sally. Another demon just like me. We had a lot in common, and we fell in love. HEROBRINE. You got married. Congrats. HEROBRINE congratulated Lord X, who responded. Lord X. Thanks, HEROBRINE. HEROBRINE. So my story, there is not much, but I got trapped here, and with no way out, people started calling me Notch's brother, which was weird since I was just a single child. Anyways, I have been called a bug or a glitch to name a few things, but they never got rid of me. That's all. Issei. I see. And I know MX's story since he told me. Now it is my turn. Issei. I will keep it short. I had a good childhood with my parents and my twin sister. However, during my elementary school, middle school and high school, two girls made life a living hell. My parents, who did not believe me, tried to discipline me, and well, it changed to abused. After that, I was tricked by a fallen angel who killed me. I was reincarnated by a high-class devil. And when I found out that the devil along with her peerage did this to get on my side, this resulted in my only friend dying in my arms. Issei had a sorrowful tone as the three demons felt sympathy for him as MX spoke. MX. I feel sorry for you, bossman, they really are the worst. Lord X. We may be demons, people that are supposed to represent the worst of the worst, but even then, that was crossing the line. HEROBRINE nodded his head sideways and spoke. HEROBRINE. I agree, they really are the worst. And that fallen, I would love to put her on the ground where she belongs. MX. Count me in, I will pound that girl in. Lord X. And me as well, not to mention, your parents need to learn some skills. I mean, punishing a child when they do something wrong is not a bad thing, but not only do they not believe you, but also they torture you. This is not okay, and it will never be okay. Me and Sally would never hurt our future or adopted children. Issei looked down as he knew that he found like-minded people, his true friends. He then spoke. Issei. Thank you, you three. Issei genuinely thanked the tree, his teary-eyed, shows that he had only a few people that cared for him, with the trio smiling at their lord. Issei then speaks. Issei. Now let's head home. Scene change. The XD world, 9 p.m. The trio nods as they head back to the DXD world as HEROBRINE speaks. HEROBRINE. So this is your world, huh? Issei. Yep, I know it may be boring, but you might be happy being here. Lord X. Yeah, I have been here before, well, not exactly in your city, but definitely here. Issei. Anyways, I need to head to the place where I buried her. MX. Is it about that friend of yours that died? Issei nods as they head to the hill where Asia was buried. Issei then spoke. Issei. Hey Asia, it's been a while. I hope you have found a better home in the afterlife, and you needn't worry about me. I have found my friends, my true friends. Issei starts crying as the trio felt pity for their lord as he speaks. Issei. Don't worry about me, they have been really nice and helpful to me, they have been by my side and promised to stay by my side, just know that I am alright and no matter what, I will survive. Issei keeps crying as Lord X then steps forward as he speaks. Lord X. And we will. Lord X then notices something was wrong as he speaks. Lord X. Something is missing, my lord, can you dig the ground? Issei wiped his tears and asked. Issei. Huh? Lord X. I sense some magic here, can you dig this ground? Issei. Okay. Issei dug the ground, and when he did, he found that there was no body. He was aware that a body does not decay in 2 days. Something was wrong, as Lord X spoke. Lord X. I was right. Issei. What do you mean? HEROBRINE. Someone reincarnated her into a devil. Well, you were aware, judging by the place. I think it was 2 days before, right after you buried her, and I also know who did it. Issei. Gremory. Issei yelled while radiating aura. This was sensed by SONIC.EXE as they turned to see the aura direction. HEROBRINE then spoke. HEROBRINE. My lord, calm down. Do you want them to find our location? Issei realized this and calmed down. He then spoke. Issei. I am sorry, I lost control. Lord X. Don't be, we all at times lose control when the people we care about is in danger. Scene change. Sona's apartment, 9:30 p.m. Sona. I sensed an aura, I need to check it out, it could be him. Sona tried to teleport, however a call she got stopped her, she then looked at the identity and sweat dropped, making an annoyed expression. Sona. You've got to be kidding me. Scene change. HEROBRINE. I know who's doing this magic belongs to that of the Astaroth clan, although I do not know who did this. HEROBRINE was investigating the area, as he figured out who did this, he sensed some magic in them, he knew that this was not Gremory's magic, HEROBRINE was the only person who can not only identify whose magic does it belong to, but can also figure out which clan it belonged to, he then found out who did it belong to. Issei. Are they one of the 72 pillars? HEROBRINE. Indeed my lord, it is not your former master's doing, it a member of Astaroth's doing, that means. Lord X. Asia is alive. Issei smiled in happiness, but that smile changed into anger as he knew that he needed to save her, before it is too late. He then turned to the trio and asked. Issei. Guys, I want your help, I want to rescue her, and I am gonna need your help, can you please help me? The trio answered without hesitation. MX. Count us in. Lord X. Me as well, let's show them who the real demons are, and save her. HEROBRINE. I will lead you to the Astaroth mansion, by following their magical signature. Let's go and save your friend, my lord. Issei nods, as he readies himself, for the fight as he speaks in a determined tone. Issei. Hang in there, Asia. I am coming to save you. I will not lose you this time. Previously we saw Sona investigating the attack that had happened with them, Ria's, and 3 of her peerage members were still getting treatment for their wounds. Sona, along with Tsubaki and Saji, wondered who was responsible for this, and it was revealed that the attacker was a chaos magic user, which did shock them even more, after which Rias started to get up, she still experienced those wounds. Rias woke up, where Sona asked Rias about what happened, she explained a lie to them, and told them that Issei was the one who attacked them. The Stuko were shocked to say the least, since they knew how unstable chaos magic is, they wondered how the hell did Issei of all people know about this. That is when Kiba showed up and exposed Ria's lie, for all she did, after getting exposed Sona decided that it would be best for her to talk and possibly negotiate with Issei. When Rias tried to interject, Sona threatened her that he would expose her to her brother, shutting her up, the trio along with Kiba, then leave with Rias wallowing herself in defeat. As with Issei, he and his companions MX and Lord X entered the nether realm of Minecraft in order to look for HEROBRINE, as they wonder where he is. They decide to look for the nether fortress, since that is where he will most likely be. As they travel through the lava-filled lands of the nether, they find a castle made out of a dark brick-like structure was found, seeing this to be a nether fortress. They enter inside, only to find it completely empty, seeing that there is no choice, they decide to wait for him, however it was not long since HEROBRINE had already come back, he immediately recognized Issei as his lord, and hovers down, he then greets the rest, as they recount on their pasts, as Issei's being the worst, as much as it is, he is with people that care for him. After which Issei asks HEROBRINE to join his group, which he readily accepts, after that the group head home with Issei visiting Asia's grave, however Lord X senses something is wrong, after asking Issei to remove the dirt, he figures that someone stole her body, this angers Issei who radiates aura, which Sona picks upon, however, after HEROBRINE confirms that this is not Ria's doing. But the magic signature belongs to the Astaroth clan, which Issei and his group figure out that Asia is alive, but worse, she is now a reincarnated devil. They knew that they needed to rescue her before it is too late. Issei. So, can you tell me more about the Astaroth clan? HEROBRINE took a deep breath and spoke. HEROBRINE. Alright, here goes. There is a prestigious noble schools for high-class devils lined up in the territory, and the promotion examination center is also said to be the most prestigious in the underworld, that is in the Astaroth territory ruled by Lord and Lady Astaroth. After that there are 2 specific locations that are inside the territory, that being the Dragon Mountains under Tannen and the Ajuka Stadium, HEROBRINE continued with deep thought. Breg then chimed in, remembering the former Dragon King. Breg. I remember Tannen, he was one of the Dragon Kings before becoming a devil under Mephistopheles. Issei nods as HEROBRINE continues. HEROBRINE. They have 2 children, Ajuka Astaroth, who is now the Satan Beelzebub, one of the 4 underworld Satans, as well as one of the 2 super devils. After that there is their second son Diodara Astaroth, aside from that they have a relative who hails from the Branch family, they have a daughter, whose name is Laisha Astaroth. Issei. So do I need to face a super devil? Issei asked with a slight hint of dread, as he knew he could push Ajuka to his limits, but was unsure whether he could beat him, with HEROBRINE responding in an assuring tone. HEROBRINE. No, I don't think this is Ajuka's doing, not because he does not want to, I know him, he has no reason to reincarnate your friend. Then we have Leisha and Diodara, they are our suspects. I suspect Diodara, however, he always seemed to really give this unsettling aura around whenever I saw him. In addition, I did see him near a shrine once. I did not bother to find out his intentions since I had no reason to do so. HEROBRINE said the last part with a shrug. MX then speaks. MX. What were you doing all this time? You seem to know a lot about this world. HEROBRINE. I roam around, trolling others does get boring after a while, so I explore. HEROBRINE then turns to Issei as he speaks. HEROBRINE. My lord, if you have any questions about this world, you may ask me. HEROBRINE ends with a smile as Issei. Issei. Yeah. Lord X. So what is the plan? When do we go and rescue her? Issei. We need to first find the territory of the Astaroth. Can you guide us? Issei turns to HEROBRINE, who nods. Issei. Good, after that we find Asia. We need to infiltrate inside the mansion. No doubt there would be security, so they would be a problem. MX. I could just destroy them with ease, do you want me to? MX asked with a bit of excitement as Issei spoke. Issei. No. That would gain too much attention. If Tannen is present, him being there would cause chaos, and then Ajuka, this can be a massive problem. We cannot take them all out, at least for now. We are gonna need more people, if we want to do that. MX had a sad, but he understood what his boss meant, they did not want to reveal himself. Lord X. So we have to infiltrate their mansion, right? Issei responds with a nod. Issei. Yep, we will head there in 5 minutes, every second wasted will be a problem. Since he is a high-class devil, we will be dealing with his peerage as well as himself. I will handle him and save Asia. Can I ask you to deal with the peerage? MX. Consider it done. Lord X. Leave it to us. HEROBRINE nods as Issei speaks. Issei. Let's head to the Astaroth mansion. We need to hide our presences since we do not want them to find out, so we need to find a way to seal our presences when we deal with Diodara. Lord X. Leave it us, I can create a barrier magic, both Lord and Lady Astaroth will be unable to detect us. HEROBRINE. And the best part is that Ajuka will be in his lab, so he will not be present. Issei. That's good, so we will save her when they are asleep. The trio nods as they get ready to save Asia before Diodara does anything wrong to her. Astaroth Mansion, Underworld, 10 p.m. The Astaroth Mansion was just like any other model mansion, with an estate having a garden, a pool and a fountain with the Astaroth symbol on it. Aside from that, the mansion seems heavily advanced with most advanced modern defenses, as well as multiple sensors to identify any invaders. Inside the mansion, a blonde-haired nun was sleeping. As she vividly remembered what had happened, she had tears in her eyes while she was sleeping. She then hears a man's voice. He was the one who reincarnated her into a devil. Wake up, Asia-chan. The man was a young man, a gentle-looking one. He had a blonde hair. He also had a big deep scar on his chest. He usually wears expensive clothing. He has golden eyes, but they are almost always closed or squinted. Asia looked at the man, who had the same annoying smile on his face, while a part of her was happy that she was kind of reunited with the man who she had saved all those years ago. She was informed the truth, that this was all orchestrated by him to get his hands on her. This shocked and disgusted her to no ends as she spoke. Asia. Diodara. Asia's voice held a bit of disdain towards him. He then spoke, opening his eyes, revealing the golden eyes she had known once that seemed to be innocent can be so much deceiving. Asia then spoke, looking away in shock. Asia. What do you want, Diodara? Diodara had a smile on his face as he spoke. Diodara. It's time to make love, my dear Asia. Asia. What do you mean? Did you not tell me that you only wanted me to complete your fetish? Diodara lost his smile, which changed into a grin, showing his teeth. As Asia continued. Asia. I thought so, you never cared for me, you ruined my life, to complete your fetish, you never loved me or the rest of the girls, you only used me. Asia spoke with tears falling from her eyes. She was enslaved by him, she had no choice in the matter, there was only one person she had in her mind, her one and only friend Issei, she then thought. Asia. Where are you, Issei? Please come here. Scene change. Issei. This mansion is even more advanced than I thought. Issei looked around to see a way he could infiltrate inside the mansion with such high security as HEROBRINE spoke. HEROBRINE. I could use a temporary electric spell as a sort of electromagnetic pulse. The attack would be short so that not even the guards or the defenses would notice. Once this is done, can you teleport us inside? Issei. Hold up, lem ask the guy inside. Hey Zalgo, can you? Zalgo spoke from the boosted gear as he interrupted him. Zalgo. Yes, I can, now let's save that girl. Issei. Okay, that's good, now I want to create 2 portals, one to Asia's room, and the other to Diodara's peerage. I will be going in the Asia's room one, while you guys should go to the Diodara's peerage to deal with them. Sounds good. The trio nods, as Lord.EXE speaks. Lord.EXE. Save her, my lord. Issei. I will not lose her this time. MX. In case you need any help, we can just come back to you, K. Issei nods, as he heads inside his portal. HEROBRINE activates a small EMP to disable the defenses temporarily. The defenses fell down as the guards were in a panic. This was enough time for the 4 to perform their mission. The defenses then activate as the guards breathe a sigh of relief. Scene change. Asia then slaps the approaching Diodara as she speaks. Asia. My purity is for the man I love, not for a two-faced man like you, Diodara Astareth. You will not violate me, Diodara Astareth, you mean nothing to me. This statement got Diodara angry, he gritted his teeth, he then yelled. Diodara. I will break that attitude of yours. Diodara raised his hand on Asia, as Asia closed her eyes, ready for his worst. His hands was stopped by someone. Diodara struggled. He struggled to pull his hands from the one who attacked him. He then turned around to see a teenager, with brown hair and a college clothing, and he had a furious expression. Asia opened her eyes, to see none other than her first friend standing in front of her eyes. As tears flew from her eyes, she saw that he had come this time to rescue her, from what would seem to be a possible hell for her. She then spoke. Asia. I say. Asia spoke in a low tone, as Diodara was shocked to see that a mere human was able to hold his hand, as he struggled to get free. Issei then spoke. Issei. Didn't your mother teach you to behave with girls? Issei punched him in the chest hard enough to fracture his ribs permanently. He was sent flying crashing into the wall, making him cough up blood, which he did. Issei. He should be out for a while. Issei then turned his attention to Asia and spoke. Issei. Hey Asia. Issei spoke in a low tone as Asia jumped on him, hugging him. With everything, her friend had come for her once again. Issei returned the embrace, as he will not lose her, not now, not ever again. Issei. I missed you too, Asia. Asia kept on crying on him, as Issei kept calming her down, as he consoled her, not caring for his clothing as Asia spoke. Asia. Where were you? Why did you not come? Issei spoke with a sad tone. Issei. I thought you were gone, Asia, when she killed you for getting your sacred gear. But no matter what, I will stay beside you, I will never leave you, and that's a promise. Issei ended with a reassuring tone, with Asia smiling at him, with tears on her eyes. She narrowed her eyes, and spoke in a thanking tone. Asia, thank you Issei. Diodara. Well, look who it is, if it isn't that boy who buried her. Asia and Issei both turned their attention to Diodara, who had a smile on his face. Despite being in such pain, he still managed to stand up. Issei secretly released a reality spell that disabled all the cameras or communication devices in the area. While Diodara continued to monologue. Diodara. Honestly, I never thought you would figure out where she is, neither did I find that you would have the guts to enter into a mansion full of high-class devils. You really have signed your own death warrant. Diodara spoke with a smirk as Issei spoke. Issei. Diodara Astareth, right. I know what you did, although I don't know why you did, but know this, I am taking Asia from here. She is clearly not happy being here. Diodara. That would have been a good idea, but she is under me. Issei. As a reincarnated devil, I know that. Diodara's eyes were in shock, as even Asia was. Asia. You knew. Asia looked away, ashamed of her being forced into being a devil, as Issei noticed this from the corner of his eye, and spoke. Issei. I know, but worry not, we are still friends, and I am not leaving you. Diodara now opened his shut eyes, as he grinned, he then spoke. Diodara. You know, everything that happened to Asia was all because of me. Issei thought for a minute as Asia looked down, he then widened his eyes, understanding what Diodara meant, every suffering that Asia was put through, he then continued. Diodara. After that I intended to kill that fallen, and her group, and save her, and then it was easy to reincarnate her. Issei glared at him in hatred, as Diodara continued. Diodara. Honestly, I expected some resistance in the form of Ria's Gremory or even SONIC.EXE, but none of them showed up, nobody did, and then it was easy to get into my peerage. They really are fools and morons for not sensing me. Issei narrowed his eyes, and smirked. Issei. At least we agree on something. I do not know about Sona, but Ria's is definitely a fool and a moron to not sense you. But why are you even telling me this, to provoke me? Cause it is not working. Dildora. Issei ended with a snarl, with Asia looking in confusion, as Diodara got a tick mark at the insult. He then smirked evilly. Diodara. I will just my parents and put you down for good, they will easily kill you, and I will enjoy sexually raping Asia in front of you. And then I will kill you, with my own 2 hands. Diodara used his communication circle, as he noticed it failed, it was not working, as Issei started laughing. The silhouette of Zalgo was seen in Issei's shadow, as Asia and Diodara both looked at him in shock, as Issei spoke. Issei. Oh, Diodara, you still don't get the situation you are in, right? When you were monologuing like a moron, I activated a barrier magic and a communication disable magic. Your communication magic as well as any of the recording devices will not be working here. In other words, in this room it is just you and me. And I am gonna enjoy tormenting you for what you did. Diodara looked at Issei in anger, as Asia was surprised at what happened, at how smart her friend really is, as Issei spoke. Issei. Before we begin, I am only gonna ask you one question. Whatever you did and were gonna do to Asia, were you gonna do with other girls as well? Diodara. So you figured it out, huh? Yes, I have already did. They are already broken to loyalty, and I enjoyed doing it with them. Ha. Diodara started to laugh maniacally, as Asia kept her hand on her mouth in horror, with Issei narrowing his eyes. He then speaks. Issei. For your crimes against everyone, I, Issei, Reincarnation of Zalgo, sentence of you to death. Asia and Diodara were shocked, but even more Diodara, he heard about the demon known as Zalgo, whom was on par with the dragon gods, Office and Great Red. Issei then activated the boosted gear, and Diodara spoke with fear. Diodara. Is that the boosted gear? Issei. You figured it out, huh? Now balance break. Welsh demonic dragon balance break. Issei was clad in the blackish red armor, as Diodara sensed both Zalgo and Drake radiating out, he then spoke. Zalgo. Diodara*, you have made my successor really mad, you will suffer for what you did, and as the former demon king, I, Zalgo give you full authority to cut the sorry excuse of a man. Zalgo spoke in a voice full of anger and regality. Diodara was even in more fear, he started to have a breakdown seeing his opponent. Diodara. This must be a lie. There is no way I will be beaten. I'm also planning to win against Baal, to become the king. There's no way I will lose to the untalented heir of the great king. I am not going to lose to a filthy dragon. I'm Diodara from the house of Astaroth. Diodara tried to contact his peerage to ask them for help. Issei then spoke from underneath his armor and spoke. Issei. Don't bother, even they contact you, they will not be able to help you. Wanna know why? Cause my friends are dealing with them. Diodara was now all alone, as he looked in horror at what Issei is gonna do to him. As he turns around, he asks. Issei. Asia, do you wish to spare him? Asia looked in the man for a while, as she speaks. Asia. No, Lord Zalgo, make sure he pays for his crimes. I am not letting him do any more crimes with women, he needs to be stopped. Issei. Very well, as you wish. Issei blitzed through Diodara, as Diodara unleashed several magic blasts at him, however he was unaffected. Issei then kicked Diodara's arm, as he screamed, he held his hand in pain. Issei then unleashed two chaos fists in his hands, as he spoke. Boost. Issei's chaos energy intensified and increased his size, as Diodara looked in fear, as he pummeled him constantly. His fists met his face, shattering his face, making him cough up blood and saliva. Issei then kicked him upstairs as he kicks him sideways, breaking his stomach. Issei. Is that all? Diodara unleashed a barrier magic, as Issei approached him, he was stopped surprising him. Diodara. Haha. This magic is my speciality, which was enhanced by Office's snake, you cannot beat me, Issei. Issei sighs and speaks. Issei. Corrupt. Issei corrupted the barrier, which nullified the effects completely and made it Issei's barrier, which Diodara was even more afraid of him, seeing that his power was gone. Issei then grabbed him by the throat and headbutted him. Diodara yelled while holding his head in pain, as he speaks. Issei. Asia. Close your eyes, things are now gonna get ugly. Asia nods, as she closes her eyes. Issei then speaks. Issei. Goodbye Diodara, you will not be remembered. Issei activates his two cannons, which appear on his back, which emit a black beam, as he unleashed into the two cannons onto Diodara. This disintegrated him completely as he screamed with the corruption on his body. It ate away his body, as it completely disintegrated him, leaving no trace of him. Issei heard him curse him, but he ignored it since it was not important. Issei then deactivated his powers, as he returned back to his normal state, he then spoke. Issei. Now we can be together. Asia jumped on Issei crying, while he consoled her the torment is finally over. The group then teleport themselves to the area where they saw all the Astaroth peerage members all defeated and not killed. As Issei and Asia look, they are all members, former holy women of his peerage. All on the ground unconscious as he looks at Lord X and asks. Issei. Are they? Lord X. No, just unconscious, they are still breathing. And some may have severe wounds because, well, they were resisting a lot. Issei sweat drops as Asia makes a sly smile. The trio then recognize her as Asia, the same girl that their lord adores, and eventually they would as well. MX. Aren't you that girl whom Bossman likes? Asia blushes at Issei liking her, while Issei sighs and then turns to the blushing Asia as he introduces them. Issei. Asia, allow me to introduce my new friends, this is MX. The hedgehog is Lord X, and finally the man with the wide eyes is HEROBRINE. The trio greet the girl. As Lord X moves ahead, Asia falls back seeing the blood. MX whispers to her. MX. X, your eyes. Lord X. Oh, forgive me, I forgot about them. Asia. No, I would also like to apologize, I did feel afraid. Lord X. No, it's alright. People fear me for how I look anyway. Lord X then turns to Issei and asks him. Lord X. So what should we do with them? Issei thinks for a moment and comes up with a plan. Scene change. Issei. Yo. Wake up. Issei unleashes a stream of water onto the peerage's faces. As the queen was the first to wake up, she was a beautiful young maiden with purple hair. Queen. Huh. Where am I? Issei. Good evening. You certainly took a while to wake up. The other members started to wake up as the queen asks. Queen. Who are you? And where is Diodara-sama? Issei. Long gone, I killed him. Queen. You will not get away with this, you know that right? The queen's tone had a bit of arrogance and anger. MX was ready to pound this woman to the ground, however Issei kept his hand on him and mouthed, I got this. Issei. You know, that attitude of yours will get you killed one day. Issei radiated some of his aura as the peerage looked at the boy in pure fear, while the demons beside him were unaffected. HEROBRINE activated a barrier to protect Asia. Bishop. You are a monster. Issei. That is correct, but since I am generous today, I will give you 3 choices. 1. I will erase your memories of the time as a peerage member of the Astaroth clan, and you can have a restart in your lives. I will also remove the evil pieces inside your body. 2. I will take your memories of the time here, but instead I will leave you here, and you all will be executed as stray devils. 3. I and my group will personally kill you. Issei spoke with an evil grin, as he and his group minus Asia ready their attacks. The peerage realizes that there is only one real option they have, the piece extraction. Issei. So what's it gonna be? The queen and her peerage discussed among themselves. They realized one thing: they have no real choice in the matter, only one choice, is to release themselves from his service. Queen. We accept option 1. Issei had a grin and spoke. Issei. Very well. Scene change. Himscoop brought to you by Chibi. Issei discovering pink sauce. Issei managed to extract all the pieces. Since they were directly linked to the soul, they were easy to remove. Since Issei learned soul magic from Zalgo, all he had to do was delink the pieces, and that's it. The extraction was easy. One by one they were all removed as they all returned back to being human. Issei also told them about what Diodara thinks about them, saddening several of the girls, while many were angered. They mentally thanked him for ridding them of their former master and getting the fate of being human once again. On number 1. I feel so much better. On number 2. No pain, nothing, thanks whoever you are. Issei. Now for the second part of the trip, I will erase your memories of your time here and teleport you to a random city. After that you can restart your lives. Sounds good? Queen. Can we ask a question? Issei. Go ahead. Queen. We have discussed and I and my 2 knights would like to keep my memories as my time here. Issei then narrowed his eyes as he spoke. Issei. May I know why? Queen. Because well, I want this as my memory so that we never get manipulated ever again, at least not by another Diodara. So we just want to keep them, is that alright? The queen spoke with a little shuffling. She knew that Issei would not accept that. A deal is a deal, and altering a deal would be a problem. Issei. Fine. Everyone looked at Issei as he continued. Issei. Only on one condition. The queen was confused as she asked. Queen. What? Do you? Issei. No. Issei narrowed her eyes as he speaks. Issei. I will be taking memories of what happened tonight. Our meeting and the fight against my group will be removed, as well as everything that had happened tonight will be gone. You will not remember anything. Alright. The queen and the knights looked at each other. Queen. I accept. Issei. Very well. We may begin. Issei spoke with a smile. The girls prepare themselves, ready to begin a new life for themselves, ready to no longer be Diodara's slave. Scene change. The girls were all sent to a different city in the entire world. As many got up, they had one thing in mind: they have been removed from their time as holy maidens, so they may start their new lives, new jobs and maybe new relationships. Issei was with his group in Asia as Asia spoke. Asia. Where is Riaz and her peerage? Aren't you supposed to be with her? Issei took a deep breath and sighed as he spoke. Issei. This is a long story, I will explain. Issei then went on to explain everything that had happened after her death. Asia was saddened, but then was angry at Rias for doing such a thing, not only to herself but to Issei. After which she spoke. Asia. Issei, can you rid of my peace as well? Issei. Huh? Sure. Issei asked her to lie down as he used the same techniques he used for those girls. After that the bishop piece came out, he crushed the piece as HEROBRINE asked. HEROBRINE. Are you sure about this? Issei. Yes, I am, I already have the queen piece for the Astaroth family power. I do not need the others, and besides, we need to destroy any evidence, lest they find out about us. HEROBRINE nods, as he destroys any evidence that could be traced back to them, after which Asia asks. Asia. So what now? Issei. We head back home. Speaking of which, how will I explain this to my parents? Zalgo. Maybe they will accept her, and besides, I have something that I want to give you. And it is a pleasure to meet you, friend of my successor. Asia. Yeah. Lord Zalgo. Nice to meet you too. Asia spoke with a bit of fear, as Zalgo speaks. Zalgo. No need to fear me, any friend of my successor is one of us, and call me Zalgo. Asia nods with an embarrassed look as Zalgo speaks. Zalgo. Anyways, Issei. I wanted to give you something. Issei. Huh? Zalgo. Head to these coordinates. Issei. Alright. Issei creates a portal to the coordinates as they notice a huge mansion, almost identical to a Victorian mansion. Zalgo. Welcome to my humble abode. My successor. The group minus the demons audit the castle as they looked onto to watch as it was a complete luxury, much higher than any of the richest devils out there. It was a man's dream home as a barrier was present. MX. Been a while since I have come here. Lord X. Yep, I missed living here, it was a luxury. HEROBRINE nods as Asia speaks. Asia. Is this where you used to live? Zalgo. Yep, this is where I lived, with my people the demon race. Now Issei, raise your hand. Issei nods as the barrier is dispelled. Zalgo then continues. Zalgo. This is one of the castles that are under me, and yes, this is connected to several other castles, and this is where you can live, Asia, and if you are not comfortable, we can manage something else. Asia nods, she knew that this is the life she will get used to. Issei. Yeah. Zalgo. The treasury in my room has jewels and gems worth trillions, and even more than that, it is all yours. And all these mansions can be modeled with your memory if you want to add some more things, since I believe that we would need in case we go up against them. Issei nods, he made a promise to restore the mansion, and he sure will fulfill a promise, no matter what. Issei. I will recreate the demon faction and bring it back to its former glory. Issei makes the declaration as Zalgo and Drake grin with pride, with the latter being under the strongest host of all time, with his team smiling at him, MX and Lord X showing a toothed smile. Asia. Issei, I have a request. Issei. Yeah. Asia. I want you to make me a demon. Issei. Huh? Asia. You heard me, I want to be a demon. Issei looked at the determined look she gave him as she spoke. Asia. You know, during my time with Diodara, I always prayed to God that someone come save me from him, but nobody came, I was all alone, accepting my fate. That is when you showed up, whenever everybody gave up on me, and I want to be by your side until the very end, so that is why I want to be a demon. Issei. Asia. Issei narrowed his eyes and smiled. Issei. Very well, you will become a demon. Say, Zalgo, how do I do it? Zalgo. Raise your hand ahead, I will do the rest. Issei nods and does as Zalgo asks. A black reddish ball of magic comes in his arms. Zalgo then speaks. Zalgo. Asia, eat this. Asia nods as she takes the ball and consumes it. She then feels a surge of power inside of her body. She then notices her hair was on flames and had two demonic wings sprouting from her back, which seemed to be gigantic, as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. Asia, don't panic, just take a deep breath. Asia noticed the flame on her hair, but it did not hurt her in any way. She did as Zalgo asked her to do and calmed down. The flames died out and her wings retracted. Asia took a deep breath as she calmed down. She then spoke with a sigh. Asia. That was a close call. Issei. Welcome to the demon faction, Asia Argento. Asia nods and smiles as she was now happy to be a part of this new faction and this new family of hers. Previously we saw Issei coming to the realization that Asia was alive and was with the Astaroth clan. Upon knowing this, he had to rescue her before it is too late. On asking for more information, HEROBRINE revealed everything, and seeing that they have no choice, they decide to make this an infiltration mission rather than barge in. As they teleport, they decide to disable the defenses to make sure they can get in undetected, as they need to rescue her before it is too late. As for Diodara, he tried to make Asia hers, only for him to not only be brutally rejected, but also told him that she would never be his. Seeing this, Diodara tried to force himself on her. As he raised his hand, Issei stopped him and punched at distance. After a tearful reunion between the two, they notice that Diodara was still conscious, who recognizes him. As Issei activates a barrier spell in secret when Diodara monologued about how he found Asia and made her be kicked out from her service by pretending to be injured, as well as the women in his peerage all being violated former holy women. This was enough to anger Issei. Deeming him too dangerous to be left alive, he began fighting. But Zalgo giving him full authority and taking down this devil once and for all. Issei tortured Diodara, and despite him having Office's power, he still was unable to do anything against Issei, who was radiating both the aura of Zalgo and Drake at the same time. In his balance breaker state, he made sure to make him suffer before he kills him for good. After that, Asia and Issei reunite with the rest of the group, and he introduces him to the rest of the group, with her getting along with most of them. After waking up his peerage, Issei gives them a choice of either living a new life as a human or perish, with them choosing the former. He then removes the pieces as he destroys them, leaving no evidence. He then erases their memories except their night, with only the memory of the incident being removed, as he teleports them to a random city to start their new lives. He then does the same with Asia Argento as well, as Zalgo asks them to teleport to the coordinates, revealing a Victorian-style mansion. As they decide to make this their base, Asia asks to become a demon, as she agrees to do so. But Zalgo guiding her and controlling her powers. As they watch her new wings, along with her hair on fire, Zalgo helps her do so, with Asia officially joining the demons as the new member, being part of the now rebuilding faction, as they try to become the strongest. The next day. Astaroth Mansion, 7 AM. The crime scene of the Diodara's Astaroth room with no trace of Diodara's body was present, except for the blood stains present on the floor. As the parents were crying for the demise of their child, there was no trace of their peerage either. Lord Astaroth. He was so young. Lady Astaroth. Who could have killed him in such a merciless condition? A bewitchingly beautiful and attractive young man appearing in his early 20s, with light blue eyes and green hair that is slicked back. He has a mysterious aura around him which he claims makes him seem devilish. This was Ajuka Beelzebub, one of the 4 Satans of the underworld. Ajuka was investigating his brother's death. Among all the people in the Astaroth clan, he was never close to his brother, so while he was sad on his demise, he kept a stable mind. This was the perks of being a Satan. He knew when to let his emotions take hold of himself, unlike his fellow Satans who were more on the emotional side. Ajuka. This case is interesting. Ajuka turned back to his aunt and uncle. He was not exactly from the main Astaroth family, but from the branch family, but given the circumstances, he was made the heir. Lord Astaroth. Anything on the case of my son. Ajuka. Whoever killed him not only had a vendetta against my relative, but also even his peerage is nowhere to be seen. Did the cameras or other security systems get anything? Lady Astaroth. I am afraid not. The devils are reviewing everything, but nothing. Sniff. It was like everything was erased. No trace was left. Sniff. Lady Astaroth went back to sniffing as she looked at the place where Diodara's blood was. He was aware of one thing: whoever killed him not only have disabled all the cameras and other security systems to do the deed, but there was no trace that could be went back to the killer. Ajuka. Our only hope is your son's blood. I am afraid I cannot find anything. There was no aura or trace of the killer, and no one saw, not even the servants, to see anyone infiltrate. The only time period was when the systems were temporarily disabled, which was 10 PM. I think that was when the crime occurred. That is all I am able to figure out. In addition, whoever killed him was able to know everything about this house, from defenses to cameras to everything. I will look onto it when I have the time. Ajuka spoke in thought as Lord Astaroth spoke. Lord Astaroth. Please do, I want justice for my son. Issei was sleeping inside his room. He sneaked into his room when nobody notices. He left Asia in the mansion, as MX and HEROBRINE looked after her. As they all rested in their new home, MX did visit Lucas before he looked after Asia. Masumi headed upstairs to wake her brother up for school. Masumi. Morning brother, wake up. Issei turned aside as Masumi once again called. Masumi. Wake up, you will be late for school. Issei. Yeah, I get it. Issei spoke in an annoyed tone as he woke up. His hair was completely messed up, as Zalgo spoke telepathically. Zalgo. Well, morning to you, my successor. Drake. Morning, partner. Issei. Morning to you, to Zalgo, Drake. Issei yawned as Masumi spoke. Masumi. Mom and Dad are calling you for breakfast, come down. Issei ignored her and headed to the bathroom as Masumi went downstairs to have her breakfast. Scene change. Issei headed down to break fast, where his parents greeted him as usual. However, Issei gave them the silent treatment, as usual. Having enough, Goro asked. Goro. Till how long will you be ignoring us both, Issei? Boru spoke in a saddened yet slightly angry tone. Issei has started to grow distant from his parents ever since that Sunday, and it has been 2 days since he has not spoke any word to them, which included his sister. Issei. Simple, till you answer my question. Both Mickey and Goru looked at each other. They were now starting to question whether the school was saying was true or not, or whether even they were misled by the same question. Issei then spoke. Issei. Mom. Dad. If you want to have a relationship that we had as a parent and child, there should be one factor that you must keep in mind. Faith. If you don't have any other, then a relationship cannot be formed. Lasumi. But Mom and Dad have faith in you, Issei. Lasumi spoke in a sorrowful tone as Issei denied. Issei. No, if they did, then we would not be having this conversation at all. Issei had his food in silence. Masumi turned away and started conversing with her parents about her day in school, seeing as nothing could be done about it. With Issei listening, Issei then finished his food after a while and headed outside as Mickey called him. Mickey. Issei, wait. Issei stopped as Mickey continued. Mickey. We want to start having faith in you, and we will just have faith in us as well. Issei looked at her and got dressed to leave for his school. This was a stepping stone for rebuilding a broken relationship. Boru. Just one step at a time. Our son has lost faith in us, and it is up to us to recover that. Boru spoke in a determined tone as Mickey nods and Masumi responded. Masumi. Yeah, we will recover him and become a family just like before. Scene change. Issei headed outside only to be greeted by Asia and HEROBRINE as Issei spoke. Issei. Morning, you two. Asia. Morning, Issei. HEROBRINE. Morning. Issei then asked in a confused tone. Issei. So what brings to the two of you to my humble abode? HEROBRINE. We talked about this and we wanted to enroll her into Kuo Academy. HEROBRINE spoke in a neutral tone as Issei spoke. Issei. No, that's a bad idea. Rainer and Riaz and her peerage are there. Asia. But you will stay with me, right? Issei. I know, but they will. Asia. Try to recruit me. Asia spoke, surprising Issei as HEROBRINE spoke. HEROBRINE. I told her everything she wanted to know about it, and needless to say, she is furious with Riaz and her peerage. Asia nods and responds. Asia. I will not leave your side, Issei, they will not hurt me, I promise you. Issei looks at her for a while and speaks with a sigh. Issei. Very well, you may come. Speaking of which, how did you get yourself enrolled in? HEROBRINE. Oh, that was easy. I just used some magic and negotiation skills, and that was how I managed to get her in. Issei nods as he remembered something. Issei. Oh, I remembered this. Issei removed 2 silver rings with a blue-green gem on each ring. Asia widened her eyes when she saw them. That was her sacred gear, the Twilight Healing, the same sacred gear that the crow had stolen from her. Asia. Is that? Issei. Yep, your sacred gear, Twilight Healing, it belonged to you, didn't it? It's yours. Take it. Issei handed the sacred gear in her hands as he closed her wrists. Asia smiled in happiness as she spoke. Asia. Yes. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi. Asia haunting Chibi Rainer while Chibi Issei records this. Kuo Academy, 9 o'clock. Issei and Asia along with HEROBRINE headed to Kuo Academy as HEROBRINE spoke. HEROBRINE. Alright, I need to do some papers for Asia to enter, and that is it. Issei and Asia nodded as they waved goodbye to HEROBRINE. He then headed to the school office to do some paperwork. However, Issei was called by a familiar yet unexpected voice. Sona. Haidu, blonde girl. Issei turned their attention to Sona and Tsubaki, who were waiting for them as Sona called out. Sona. I would like to have a word with the two of you. Issei sighed. This was gonna go out in a while. Issei. I take it you know what happened that day, right? Sona nods as she and Tsubaki were on guard. This boy, the pawn of Ria's Gremory, should be considered as a stray rogue pawn, but he is no joke. He is way more powerful if he managed to bring an entire peerage to its knees. Sona had to be cautious, else her life might be in danger. Issei. But she is coming with me. Issei points to Asia as Sona asks. Sona. But does she? Issei. Yes, she is aware now, let's go. Issei's voice was commanding as he knew that this would come out sooner or later, and Riaz and her peerage must have lied to them, and if that is the case, he needed to clear his name before something bad happens. As they headed inside the building, Sona introduced herself to Asia. Sona. I am Sona Shitori, but my real name is Sona Citri. I am the head of the student council and the heiress of the Citri clan. What is your name? Asia looked at her and spoke. Asia. My name is Asia Argento. It is nice to meet you. Sona. Asia. Asia. Sona spoke in thought as it clicked. Sona. You must be the new student, right? Asia nods as Sona speaks. Sona. I see, your schedule and your books will be given after the meeting, Tsubaki. Tsubaki. Yes. Sona. See to it, she gets her schedule for her class. Tsubaki. Very well, President. Scene change. Sona. Welcome to the student council room. Issei and Asia approach the same Victorian room that Riaz and her peerage were in, and Asia audit the room, as the rest of the student council were at their jobs, so only some members were present. Issei. So I take it, all of you are devils, right? Sona nods, as the only ones present were a blue-haired girl named Tsubasa, a white-haired girl named Momo, and Saji, aside from Tsubaki and Sona herself. Momo and Tsubasa were not surprised when they saw him, they knew of his actions here in Kuo, and did not like his presence, they hated him for attacking those girls, unlike Sona however they did not believe him at all. Saji on the other hand had to be careful, and only hope that these girls do not screw this meeting up. Issei. Hello Hanakai, Yura. Issei spoke with an equal disdain for these girls in front of him, only for him to be returned with a scowl. Issei then turned to Sona and spoke. Issei. Did you get me here for an introduction session, cause I know them well, and I am not happy to see them. Momo and Tsubasa got angry at this as Momo spoke. Momo? You. Momo tried to charge at Issei, as he got ready for a fight, but a glare from Sona silencing her. Sona. Stand down Momo, and Issei please, try not to fight here, the things here are not cheap. And I have got a lot of work to do. Issei nods, as Asia looks on, in surprise, she wondered why is Issei hated in this school so much. Sona. Sit down Issei, we will begin our conversation shortly. Saji looked on as Issei and Asia sat down, he usually is prideful, given that he took up 4 pawn pieces, but the one that sat down in front of him was way stronger than him, he normally would taunt or goad him, but now he needed to be careful, or he would be dead. Sona. So Issei, please tell me, what happened? Issei. From where, the start of it or the incident that caused me to take down the entire Grimoire peerage. Sona. So you admit. Sona narrowed her eyes as Tsubasa shouted in disbelief. Tsubasa. How can he take down an entire peerage? You are nothing but a weak pervert. A sex offender, how can you be this strong? Issei. Allow me to answer you, your question Tsubasa. Issei almost got up and wanted to torture Tsubasa, but Sona spoke opening her eyes. Sona. Issei, I got this. Issei turned to her as Sona spoke. Sona. Tsubasa, Issei took down the peerage, so just stand there and stay quiet now. Sona spoke in a tone of authority as Tsubasa reluctantly stood down, while both she and Momo glared towards Issei, which he ignored, these two low-class devils would not stand a chance against him. Sona. Issei, I want you to tell me, from the incident. Issei. Very well. I was with my friends Mitsuda and Motohama, we were doing nothing, and when I left the club, she tried to use my friends as hostage in order to get me back, not to mention she attacked me and my friends first, so I had to defend myself. Saji. And you certainly went overboard. Sona. Saji. Sona yelled towards Saji as Issei spoke. Issei. Yes, I did, but besides they tried to nearly kill me, so I had to fight back, they were not giving me much of a choice. Sona processed the information, as Asia could only watch in pity, she was as important as these two people, Kiba was right on the mark, Riaz did provoke and did all that, as Sona spoke. Sona. I see. Issei then asked. Issei. Anything else? Sona. Okay. I want to ask, why do you hate Riaz and her peerage so much? Issei got angry at this question, as he responded. Issei. Let me ask you a question, Sona. Did Riaz ever tell you how I came into her peerage? Sona thought for a while and responded, but she had a bad feeling about this. Sona. She told me that you were called to the club upon sensing your sacred gear, she then explained about the supernatural, and you joined her peerage after that, she needed a peerage member, so she recruited you, you being the Red Dragon Emperor. Both Issei and Asia were shocked, with Issei being furious, he then yelled in pure anger, while trying to control himself from not exploding. Issei. I will kill that bitch. Issei radiated his aura immensely, as Sona recognized whose aura is that, Zalgo's, she paled afraid of her fate, she knew who Zalgo was, the same demon who was considered to be feared even by the Satans, her sister might not be able to save her, in case she gets on his bad side, she wondered what Riaz did to make him so mad, as she thought. Sona. No, it can't be. Riaz, what did you do? The rest of the peerage were also on their knees as his aura was dominating them, the females blushed, as Saji was also pale, he did not recognize whose aura it belonged to, the only one unaffected was Asia, she then spoke. Asia. Issei, please calm down, you are hurting them. Miss Citri, I will explain what happened. Sona recovered from the blush, as Issei calmed himself down little by little, she then explained. Asia. You see, you are half right, she needed to say, but the way she recruited was or could be considered was betrayal. She used the fallen angels to kill Issei so that she could swoop in to save Issei from his death. This would earn him her eternal loyalty, as Issei would be eternally loyal to her. Not to mention, their actions caused my death as well. Sona. I need a more elaborate explanation on this, Miss Argento. Asia nods. She then explained everything from Issei's reincarnation to the reveal during the church fight, him leaving and her dying. Asia. After that he came to my grave and revived me as one of him. It's a long story. Sona nods, trying to process what just happened. If he has Zalgo with him, then it is plausible for him to revive her as a demon, who unlike devils, are a way stronger version of devils, to put it shortly. The others were in disbelief but stayed quiet since Sona asked them to do so, as Sona turned to Issei and spoke. Sona. Issei, please tell me, Asia told me the most of it, I understand why you hate her, but tell me, what she exactly did to you, that made you hate her. Sona spoke softly. This was rare, considering she often had a strict persona. Issei looked down for a while, after turning to her and speaking. Issei. As she broke my trust, my faith, she let me die by my first girlfriend Rainer. Sona widened her eyes, as she understood that why Rainer became her bishop. She never knew that this was what happened, never she had imagined that this is what would have happened, as Sona knew if word gets out of Ria's actions, she would lose her authority over Kuo Town, and worst case scenario, along with losing her authority, and if her mother got word of her actions. Then she would not only be stripped of her title as an heiress, but also be tortured for her actions to say the least. Sona. I understand. Issei, trust me, I was not aware of her actions, I would have stopped it, she lied to both of us, and I did not know she had not only a physical impact, but also a psychological impact on you. I apologize for what she did, and for not preventing it. Sona bowed as she was saddened for what the boy did, even Saji gritted his teeth in anger. Tsubaki was neutral, while Momo and Tsubasa were not that affected by what happened. Issei. Issei recovered as he spoke. Issei. Don't blame yourself, Sona, for her actions, but know this, don't expect me to help her for anything ever again, or be by her side, I am on my own. Sona. But Issei, are you not stuck as her pawn, as much as I hate to say it? Sona looked away as Issei spoke. Issei. I will tell, but your queen and the other servants must go out for that. This information must be between you, Asia and me. Sona. But. Issei. Consider this a sort of favor, since you apologized, you are kind of making it up. Sona looked at her servants for a while, and spoke while narrowing her eyes and sighing. Sona. Fine, everyone, please go out. Saji. But President. Saji questioned Sona as she responded. Sona. I will be fine, go outside. The peerage had questionable looks as they went outside. They glared at Issei, but stayed quiet, knowing that he could take him down. Issei ignored their looks, as he then activated a sound barrier, preventing anyone that heard his voice. Issei. There. Now this conversation will be just between us three. Sona. What did you do? Sona asked surprised. Issei. I put up a sound barrier, so that we do not have any snooping dogs hearing our important conversation. Sona nods, as Issei starts. Issei. Alright, here is the thing, you see I know Zalgo, since my aura pretty much gave its revelation to you, right? Sona. Yes I do. Issei. Good, here is the thing, when I asked him about the pieces, he already corrupted them, as a result I am no longer her pawn, she has no control over me, and… Issei revealed a blackish red ball of magic, which Sona widened her eyes, and responded. Sona. Is that P-power of destruction? Sona asked shocked and surprised. Issei. Yep, I made it compact and less powerful, so that only people in this room could sense it, so you see, when I absorbed the pieces of their magic Issei dispelled the POD. I also gained Ria's signature power of destruction. The pieces in my body could be expelled anytime I want to, but I will keep it, so that Ria's does not find the truth yet. I will reveal to everyone when the time is right. Sona. I need some time to process all of this, Issei. Removal of evil pieces only results in death, but you showed that the pieces can be pretty much drained empty shells of their former self. Issei. Take your time, Miss Citri. Sona. No, you may call me Sona, Issei, you have earned that right. Sona smiled at Issei, as she needed some time to process all of this. She then spoke after a while. Sona. I give my word, this will be between us three as well. Until you decide to reveal it to the rest, alright? Issei. Alright, well, all I can say is unlike Ria's, you are way smarter than her, and know what to do when the time is right. You are an amazing leader, Sona Citri. Issei spoke with a nonchalant tone as Sona had a light blush at the compliment, after which Issei dispelled the barrier and spoke. Issei. Now can I leave? Sona. You may, thank you for your time. And Asia, Tsubaki will give you your uniform and schedule, make sure to collect that, okay? Asia nods, as both her and Issei leave the council room, the other members come inside as Momo asks. Momo. President, did he attack you? Sona looks dumbfounded at her and spoke in an annoyed tone. Sona. No, what's wrong with you? Issei is not like that. Tsubasa. He attacks and assaults women on a daily basis, that is why those girls complain against him. Both asked in a concerned tone with some hatred in them, as Sona responded. Sona. No, he did not, and he never had any intention to do so. Both of you need to remove that assumption that Issei is like that, and one more thing, you will not attack or provoke him in any manner. Tsubasa. But. Sona. No buts, he is not someone you want to mess with, and besides, he would never do something to anyone. Our interaction showed me today, and cleared any doubt I had. Both the girls nodded and left to do their duties, as Saji and Tsubaki joined in, they then spoke. Saji. So what is the personal talk he had with you? Tsubaki. Even I want to know. Sona. I am sorry, I gave him his word to not divulge any information. He has asked me to keep this a secret so that only he can reveal it. Tsubaki. Okay. We understand. Saji could only give a nod, he could only hope it was not a love talk or a confession between the two, since he had a crush on Sona Citri. Sona. Did you give what I asked you to Asia, Tsubaki? Tsubaki. Yes I did. Sona nods as she searches for her paperwork and begins that. Sona. I want to investigate those complaints. It was either Kaori Murayama or Yui Kadis that gave those complaints. Whether they were authentic or not is something I need to find out before it is too late. Something is really wrong here. Sona thought as she continued with her paperwork. She then looked onto the stacks of it and spoke in a slow voice. Sona. FML. Scene change. Issei and Asia were walking outside as Asia received the uniform she had worn. She headed to the girls' changing room and changed quickly. She then came outside wearing her new school uniform. Asia. Say Issei, why does everyone hate you in this school? Issei. It's a long story, are you willing to hear? Asia nods, as he reveals that his school life is made miserable thanks to two girls, Kadis and Murayama. He then goes on to explain all the false rumors from elementary to adulthood. Once Issei was done, Asia was first sad, but then she became furious at the girls. She then asked. Asia. I see. I am so sorry, I believe you, Issei. Issei looked at her and genuinely smiled. Issei. Thank you Asia, now let's head inside. Asia nods as Issei entered the classroom, where he greeted his friends and sat next to them. The teacher then spoke. Teacher. There is a new student that will be joining us. In this school. The girls hoped for a pretty boy, while the boys wanted a pretty girl, as Mitsuda asked. Mitsuda. Hey. Who do you think it would be? Motohama. Someone good, hope they would be nice. Issei knew who it is, as he was happy, as Asia came inside, shocking Rainer the most, as she introduced herself. Asia. My name is Asia Argento, I am from Italy, please take care of me. Asia bowed in front of them, the boys and girls cheered however Rainer thought having a face of horror. Rainer. How is she alive, what is she doing here? I saw her die. Rainer turned to Issei, who had a smile, she then looked at him in a furious look. Rainer. You knew. Rainer angrily glared at Issei, who responded with a glare of his own. Issei ruined her life completely. Asia is alive and here in front of them, and Issei thought. Issei. Rainer, if you even lay a single finger on Asia, I swear to Zalgo, I will tear your wings and torture you, I will make you experience real hell. I will make you beg for death, but I will not kill you until I see you dead for good. Zalgo. And I give you full approval Issei, show this crow the place where she has belonged. Bragg nodded as Issei's look gave Rainer what he was thinking. Fear was written on her face. She looked away in terror, knowing full well that Issei would rip her apart if she tried to mess with him or Asia. Asia then sat next to Issei, much to everyone's ire. She ignored the girls Kaori Murayama, who was a brown-haired pigtailed girl, and Yui Kadis, a pink-haired girl, since she knows that they hate Issei. Yui. Oh Asia. Asia looked at the two girls, with a glare knowing she was not interested in talking with her, as Kaori spoke. Kaori. Hey, sit with us, we are better than these perverts. Asia ignored them, as Yui spoke. Yui. Yay, he is nothing but a pervert who attacks women to satisfy himself. Issei got angry at this, however Asia kept her hand as she spoke. Asia. I got this. Asia then turned her attention to the two girls, and spoke. Asia. Let me make it clear, I don't like you badmouthing someone I care about, without any valid proof, and here is the thing, I know Issei long enough for him to not do such actions, so mind your business, and it would be in everyone's benefit. This action made Issei and the perverted duo smile, as the girls frowned and left the area, as Mitsuda spoke. Mitsuda. She is a keeper bro, don't lose her. Motohama. Although we are jealous of you, we know that she is a nice person, look after her, okay. Issei nods, as he has found another person that cared for her. He smiled as Asia turned to his two friends and spoke. Asia. And I am happy to see that people like you care for Issei, please look after him. Asia bowed as Motohama spoke. Motohama. No worries, Issei is our bro, and we will stand by his side, forever. We may be perverted, but we will never abandon him. But Suda. Motohama is right, we are friends forever. Issei. You guys. Issei narrowed his eyes and spoke after opening them. Issei. Thanks guys. After a few hours of school, Issei and Asia head home as they decide to meet up with the rest of the plans to discuss what they should do next. Unknown to them that Rainer has gone to inform Rias about Asia's survival. Previously we saw Issei successfully saving and integrating Asia into the demon faction. In the aftermath, Ajuka was investigating Diodara's death. His death had no traces, and even his peerage is missing. Ajuka sees this as interesting and will try to find its culprit before it is too late. As with Issei, he heads back to his room and tries to rest for the next day. The next day, he sits to eat his food silently when his father questions him on how long is he not going to talk with them. Issei merely responded, as long as he answers his question, as he walks and heads for his school. There he meets Asia and HEROBRINE, who inform him that Asia would be joining the school soon. While Issei was initially against this, the duo convinced him that Asia will be fine, and HEROBRINE also informed them that they will be fine, as she could handle herself now. Issei agrees, and the duo head to school. There they are stopped by SONIC.EXE, who wanted to question the duo about Issei's attack that had happened a while back on Rias and her peerage. Issei and Asia agree to go inside. Once they do, they are met with, Issei is met with scorns and glares from Momo and Ria, two members of the student council. It is because of the false accusations done by those two girls, Kadis and Murayama. Issei ignored, but when they provoked him, he was gonna throw them down for good, but Sona stopped them before it was too late. Issei then revealed what he did and why he did. While the two girls were in disbelief, Sona, Tsubaki and Saji knew the truth and understood why Issei did it. His friends were in danger and Rias, because of her pride, was going to reveal everything to the world about the supernatural. Issei then told her that he will not hesitate in taking her down, if need be, which she understood. Sona, who understood Issei's hatred for Rias and her peerage, asked why he hated them. This caused an aura burst, making everyone flinch and fall to their knees, minus Sona, who realized whose aura that was. Asia calmed him down, and the duo revealed that she was indirectly responsible for Issei dying by the Fallen's hands, making Sona understand everything. In the aftermath, Sona asked one final question, which is how is he able to resist her orders, and after Issei asks Sona to be the only one present, Issei reveals that he had already corrupted the pieces and absorbed the power of destruction, which shocked Sona. He then asked her to keep this a secret unless he reveals it to everyone. Sona agrees, and Issei and Asia leave to head to their classes. Asia is then introduced to the rest, and when she sits with Issei, the two girls try to turn Asia against Issei, but fail miserably, which causes Mitsuda and Motohama to smile, knowing that another one knows the truth. The Cult Research Club, 1:30 p.m. Rainer headed back to the orc room to reveal what had happened in the class, as she needed to inform her master about this. As much as she hated him, she knew that she must tell her about this. In all her life, aside from Kakabiel, only Issei and Rias were the two other people that could instill immense fear in her. Rainer opened the door and saw Rias having her tea while doing some paperwork. She kept the tea down and asked, Rias? What happened, Rainer? I sensed you from a mile away and knew you were coming. Rainer? I need to tell you something. Rainer exclaimed as Rias narrowed her eyes and asked, Rias? It better be good. I interrupted my tea time for you, tell me. Rainer nods, after which she tells everything to her, from Asia coming back to life and entering the classroom. Rias did a spit take as she spoke. Rias? But isn't she dead? Rainer? No, if she was, then she would not have been a new student. Rainer responded with a bit of sarcasm as Rias spoke with a smile. Rias? That is good news, Rainer. Rainer looked at her in a questionable manner as she asked. Rainer? How is that good news? Rias had an evil smirk as she spoke. Rias? We can use her as leverage. Rainer? Are you crazy? If Issei comes to know of this, he would tear us apart. Rainer exclaimed in fear as Rias responded. Rias? Oh, don't worry, my dear bishop, once we make her into my reincarnated servant, then he could not do anything. If he kills me, he would turn her into a stray. Rainer kept her mouth shut. She knew that this was getting out of hand, as Rias continues. Rias? And not only that, most strays lose control and turn into abominations, so if he wished to keep Asia by his side, he would do as we ask him, even make him into our servant, and if he does kill me, my brother would hunt him down and kill him. Rainer looked at her master's plan and understood, but before she or anyone could make a decision, someone opened the door and spoke. You will do no such thing. The person who spoke was none other than SONIC.EXE herself. She had overheard her conversation from outside, and she was not happy. Riaz was surprised at first, but then she composed herself and spoke. Riaz. Sona, what are you doing here? Riaz stuttered and spoke with a forced smile, as Sona spoke. Sona. You know why, I heard everything. How could you fall this low? I expected you to be better than this. Riaz. What are you talking about, Sona? I don't understand. Sona narrowed her eyes, she was trying to control herself as she spoke. Sona. I know what happened in this room Riaz, you tried to turn Asia into your servant. Riaz was speechless as Sona narrowed her eyes as she spoke. Sona. You will do no such thing Riaz, he put you in the ground along with your peerage once, and if you do the same mistake again, you may not even see the next day. Riaz. I will and you will not stop me Sona, it is the only way I can get my disobedient pawn to obey me, I have no other choice, a hostage situation is the only way I can get him as my pawn. Sona. Then you give me no choice. Sona fixed her spectacles as she spoke. Sona. If you try to even as touch Issei or Asia, I will not only tell your brother and rest of the Satans about this, but I will also tell on how you reincarnated Issei into your peerage, and I know the truth. Issei told me everything. Riaz was shocked, along with Rainer who was fearful. The other peerage members were absent, since Kiba was doing his sword practice, Kaneko was eating her sweets, and Akeno was with the rest of her friends, her human friends. Sona. And that's not all, if your mother gets a word out of this, then I think you know what will happen to you, Riaz Gremory. Riaz paled and feared on the consequences. Her mother Vanellina Gremory was a sadist, such that even her brother feared her, who was one of the 4 Satans. She knew that if Sona or Issei were to tell on what happened, she would not only lose this territory, as well as her status as a high-class devil, but also she would no longer be the heiress of the Gremory family. And Satan knows what will happen to her once that happens. Riaz. Please don't tell. Riaz spoke in a stuttering tone, while nervously sweating. Sona had a smirk of victory and responded. Sona. Good, as long as you listen, I will keep my mouth shut, now stay in your room, and do your work. Sona then left the room, leaving a confused Rainer, as she wondered why Riaz feared her mother. As for Riaz, she now could not do anything to save herself from her arranged marriage, she could only look down in defeat, as she could only accept her fate. Sona, when she was out of the room, had a look of disbelief, as she thought. Sona. I cannot believe I had to do that to you Riaz, how far have you fallen? It is a good thing I heard this conversation, or even had a talk with Issei before this, your plan would have failed either way, and you would only get yourself brutally killed by his hands. I may have saved you from him, but I will not save you again, anything you do, it is on your hands Riaz, I am done helping you. Sona headed back to the student council room to continue with her work, leaving Riaz to contemplate the situation at hand. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi MX Chazing Chibi Riaz. Haidu residence, 8:30 p.m. After a relatively unimportant day at Issei's school, Issei comes back home. He decided to invite his friends to play some Uno with each other, that being MX, Lord.EXE, HEROBRINE and Asia. The group enjoy themselves while singing. Issei makes sure to create a sound barrier so that nobody can hear what is going on here. However, their gameplay is interrupted by a crimson-haired circle. Issei instinctively creates a barrier, and out comes Riaz Gremory on the floor. The group are immediately on guard as they glare at her. Issei. Riaz, what the hell are you doing here? Issei shouted as HEROBRINE exclaimed. HEROBRINE. Gremory, give us a good reason as to why are you here in this house. Riaz flinched at the tone as she composed herself. Surrounding her was MX, Lord.EXE, HEROBRINE and Asia, while Issei was behind. She knew that one wrong move would get her killed. Riaz. I. Lord.EXE. Speak up woman. Or we have other ways. Lord.EXE sharpened his claws, as he grinned maniacally. He knew that you need to be disciplined, sometimes violence is necessary. Riaz paled, she knew how dangerous Lord.EXE is, he could easily take on an ultimate class devil, without even trying, as Riaz spoke. Riaz. I want to take your virginity. Issei. Riaz, I told you. Wait, what? Riaz. Please, you are the only one who could do this for me. Riaz spoke with an exclaimed tone, while blushing. All that was present was complete silence, a blushing Asia, and a very furious Issei. He hated this woman with a burning passion, as he asked one question. Issei. Why? Riaz. Kiba would not do it because he furiously refused, and you were the only option left. Please Issei, take my virginity. Riaz tried to approach Issei, but he pushed her backwards. He raised his aura, making her pale. HEROBRINE did a protective shield around his team and the rest of the room so that the aura does not go outside. Issei. Did I make myself clear that I do not want to be associated with any of you? Riaz. But Issei. Issei. No. I am not dealing with your spoiled attitude again. Riaz fell back as she spoke. Reyes. Am I not attractive to you? Do you not want to ravage and assault me? Reyes spoke in a desperate tone, making the five present even more angrier at this, as Issei, who has had enough, yelled. He could not stand to be near this woman anymore, not after she used him, and went after his friends. Issei. Gremory, I give you 5 seconds, take your shit and leave this house. Issei raised his aura even more, making Reyes flinch. However, before anything could happen, another magic circle opens up. This time it was white, unlike the Gremory circle, which was red in color. The woman that came out was a beautiful white-haired young woman in her 20s. Her hair featured a long braid on each side with small blue bows at the ends, while the rest is let down, which ends in twin braids and silver eyes. She is wearing a blue and white French-made outfit with long sleeves and a white-made headband over her head with red lipstick as a cosmetic accessory. I think you would. The woman trailed off, seeing the room filled with demons, whom, unlike her, were different. Demons and devils were different in a few instances, but they were nearly the same. Some even viewed a demon as an evolved version of a devil. She immediately recognized Lord X and HEROBRINE. The woman was sent by her master to bring Reyes to the meeting and make sure that she does not do anything wrong. Lord X, Lord HEROBRINE, what are you doing in? The woman turns to Issei and speaks. In a commoner's room. Issei was speechless, while the other demons paled. They did not know how Issei would react to being called a commoner. However, Issei kept calm. She did not know who he is, so there was no point in getting angry. HEROBRINE then responded. HEROBRINE. No, we were having a good time, till she intervened. Graphia Lucifuge. Issei. So she is Graphia Lucifuge, huh? Not gonna lie, she is quite beautiful. Zalgo. You are right about that, although I have this feeling that she is already married. Dreg. She is married, take a look at her hand. Issei noticed her hand. She seemed to be wearing what seems to be a silver ring, which looked awful lot like an engagement ring. Issei. I wonder who though. Graphia nodded after she turned to Reyes and spoke. Graphia. Lady Reyes, I don't know what you came here for, but we have other things we need to do. Reyes. Did my father or my brother send you here? Or did he call for you here? Graphia. On all 3 accounts, my lady, you need to come to the underworld for your meeting. Reyes. Can Akeno come too? Graphia. The priestess of lightning, yes indeed, she can come too. It is only natural for the queen to come with the king. But that Reyes joins Graphia as they both leave to the underworld for their meeting. Issei wondered who is this he that Reyes mentioned. Asia then spoke. Asia. Well, that happened. Issei then turned to the demons and spoke. Issei. So guys, are you going to continue the game? MX. Yes, I almost beat X, I am gonna win this. Lord X. Haha, you really think that? Well, I have got something that will stop your winning dead in your tracks. Lord X revealed a +4 in his arms as MX had his jaw dropped and screamed. MX. No. HEROBRINE, Issei, and Asia sweat drop at this. The game continues for a while until they all get bored and go back to their dimensions to rest. Asia decided to stay back and sleep with Issei. Issei made sure to lock the door, since he did not want to explain about a girl sleeping next to Issei in the morning. Scene change. Time skip brought to you by Chibi Issei trying to eat his cheesecakes. The next day. The Occult Research Club room, 1:30 p.m. Issei had reached the Occult Research Club room. As much as he hated Reyes, he was curious, who is this he that Reyes did not want to meet, and he felt like going there, since there was nothing to do and hoped that the events in the club would provide him some entertainment. Not to mention he had to go since he had to maintain his cover as her pawn, since he did not want to reveal his identity yet. He was joined by Asia, who was equally curious, and she was there to make sure Issei does not lose control. She has been helping a lot with his scars, and Issei has shown signs of being a better person. Still, some wounds will never go away no matter what happens. Asia also knows of Issei's abusive past from Issei, and she hated Issei's family, which included his spoiled twin sister. Asia. Are you sure about this? Asia wondered why Issei would want to go to the Occult Research Club, the same place which he hated with a burning passion. Issei then responded. Issei. I have a feeling that this he is someone important. If Reyes can be furious on the mere mention of his existence, then he is someone worth checking. Honestly, I want to see the look on her face, the look of sadness, the look of hatred. Her face is something I would like to see. Issei had an evil grin, while Asia made a sly smile at the scene, after which the duo head inside to the Occult Research Club room. Needless to say, the members were surprised to see the duo in person. Reyes knew that Issei hated her, so him being here meant something was off. Issei then noticed Graphia present, and Graphia responded. Graphia. Is that everyone? Reyes. Yes, it is a surprise you are here. It seems like you really do care for me. Graphia then turned to her and asked. Graphia. Should I tell them or? Reyes. No, I will tell them. Reyes then took a deep breath and announced. Reyes. Guys, I am. That is when another magic circle opened up, revealing to be a man in his 20s with short blonde hair and dark blue eyes. His outfit consists of a burgundy blazer with gold embroidery on the right with matching pants and black dress shoes. Underneath his open blazer is a white dress shirt that is not fully buttoned, just one button short, giving a slight view to his chest. It has been such a long time since Riser has come to this world. Riser. Ria spoke with a venomous tone, which Issei noticed. He knew one thing: this is where the fun begins, but at the same time, he felt like he heard this name before when he was a child, happy with his other two childhood friends, one blonde-haired and the other a chestnut-haired kid. He knew that he sounded familiar as well. Scene change. Riser was touching Ria's hair and sitting right next to her when Akeno served him tea. Riser responded. Riser. The tea made by the Gremory Queen is delicious. Akeno. Thank you. Akeno spoke in a neutral tone. She loathed this man. As she turned, she saw Issei with a smile. She then thought. Akeno. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Akeno headed inside. She knew one thing: Issei was there to see her suffer. He cared not for her. However, that was far from what Issei was thinking. Akeno was right about one thing: Issei no longer cared for her. However, he recognized who the man in front of him was. It was one of his two childhood friends, Riser Phoenix. Rias, on the other hand, who has had enough that Riser is treating her this way, stood up, yelling. Rias. That's enough, Riser. My purity is for the one I love. I get to decide who it is. Riser then stood up and spoke. Riser. Rias, you cannot be like that. Riser needs to do this. For the sake of the pure-blooded race, we need get married. Rias. I will not marry you, Riser. Issei. Come on, master, don't be like that. The group turned their attention to Issei, who spoke with a smile as he responded. Issei. It is for the sake of the pure-blooded devil race, right? I see no reason for you to not marry Riser, isn't that right? Riser then turned to the boy and spoke with a smile. Riser. Riser likes you. What is your name, young man? Issei. My name is Issei Haidu, and I am this generation's Red Dragon Emperor. Riser widened his eyes. He knew the Welsh dragon and how dangerous he was, but aside from that name, Issei, he heard it somewhere before, and then it clicked. He was one of his childhood friends, the one who accepted him, ignoring his high-class devil status. When everyone used to avoid him, there was another who did, but he could not remember his name. Riser. Issei. Riser finds your name familiar. Issei. Yeah, considering my master must be flaunting me around like a trophy. Issei spoke in a nonchalant tone. While Rias gave him a hurtful look, the others minus Kiba glared at Issei, who ignored them completely. While Asia had to keep quiet, she wanted to laugh, but knew that this would expose the truth of Issei pretending to be Ria's pawn. Rafia sighed as Riser was in deep thought. He knew that he remembered the name, when all of a sudden his memories started flooding. He remembered that people have never looked at him in an equal manner, minus Issei and another person. Riser then spoke. Riser. No, Riser has met him before. Wait a minute. Is that you, Issei? Issei. Yep, that's me. I am glad you remember me, Riser. Riser. How could Riser forget you? You were the first along with that chestnut kid to accept Riser for who he is. The group was shocked. Kiba looked at Asia for answers, but seeing her shocked expression, even she was shell-shocked. Issei and Riser did their greeting like they did all those years back. Once the greeting was done, Issei looked at the shocked expression of everyone in the room present. He then spoke. Issei. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys, Riser is my childhood friend. He is one of my two childhood friends. The group was dumbfounded to say the least. Riser being Issei's childhood friend was surprising and shocking to say the least. Rias then asked. Rias. Why your childhood friend? Why did you not tell us? Riser. Why should Riser do so? You think of Riser as a playboy, you never even tried to check Riser's history. Issei. And I had no reason to tell you, because I just did not want to. Rias was hurt by this comment, as Kaneko made a comment. Kaneko. It is not surprising that two perverts would get along together. Riser. You better watch your mouth or I will burn you down. Kaneko. Do your worst, pervert. Riser. That's it. Riser got angry at this. No one insults his family or friends. He was definitely gonna burn this rook down. Grafia wanted to raise her power to make him stop, with Rias joining him. However, Issei kept his hand and spoke softly. Issei. I got this. Riser reluctantly nods as Issei then turned to Kaneko and spoke. Issei. Girl, shut your mouth. Nobody wants to hear anything from that toxic mouth of yours. Eat sweets from your candy box, like the good little girl you are. Kaneko was silenced by this, and she sniffled a bit. That comment was quite harsh, as Riser was surprised. The Issei he knew would never go harsh, but he was a bit happy, since Issei stood up for himself. Rias. That was harsh, apologize, Issei. Rias exclaimed as Issei responded. Issei. Why, I only stood up for myself. I see no reason to do so. Rias tried to speak, however Riser spoke. Riser. Sorry Riser thinks Issei did the right thing. If Riser was the one who did everything, then needless to say Riser would have burned her down. Rias. How dare you? You will not hurt my servants. Rias raised her power level. Riser got ready to fight, however Grafia raised her power level, which made the two high-class devils pale. She then spoke. Grafia. Both of you, I will not tolerate anything like this ever again. If you do not behave, I will make you behave like the nobles you are supposed to be. Both of them calmed down, with Riser speaking. Riser. If the strongest queen demands, then Riser must comply. Grafia. I figured this would happen, so my master came up with an idea, a rating game. The game will decide whether you should marry Riser. Riser. Very well. Riser turns to Rias and speaks. Riser. Is this your entire peerage? Rias. Yeah, and so what? Riser sighs and snaps his finger, as it is revealed to be several members. Issei notices that Riser has got an amazing eye for women, that is for sure. He then looks at one of them, and recognizes them as Ravel Phoenix, the blonde girl. He got along with his sister as well. Riser. As you can see, my love, Riser has a full set of peerage. Do you still wish to fight against me? Rias. I will, and I will beat you. Riser sighs. He then notices Issei approaching Ravel. He does not stop her. Ravel on the other hand was confused at first as Issei speaks. Issei. Do you remember me, Ravel? Ravel looked at him confused as she then spoke. Ravel. No, I do not. Ravel spoke with a confident tone as Riser sighs. He still remembered that Ravel used to enjoy the trio's company the most when she was young. Issei. It's me Issei Haidu. Ravel ponders for a moment as it then clicks her head. She remembered, this was Issei, the same boy that used to play with her. She then exclaimed. Ravel. Issei. Ravel jumped and hugged Issei. As she did, she noticed everyone looking at her in surprised expression. She then jumped down embarrassed at what she did as she looked away, and Issei spoke. Issei. I missed you too, Ravel. I still miss the days when we used to. Ravel. Issei Nai, please stop. Ravel spoke in a flustered tone as Issei chuckled, while Riser smiled. Issei then turned and responded. Issei. And before you ask, I knew her as well. In fact, I and my parents knew the Phoenix family before, although we never knew that they were part of the supernatural. Riser. Riser's family couldn't tell even if Riser's family wanted to. That is something that needs to be kept a secret. Issei. Understandable. Anyways, how are your parents and brothers doing? Riser. Oh, they are fine. Anyways, it was nice meeting an old friend. Riser might come visit your house today. Both Asia and Issei paled at this. Issei never told them about his home life and did not want to, since he did not know how Riser would react. Drake then taught. Drake. Oh shit. Riser noticed this and asked. Riser. Something wrong? Issei composed himself and spoke. Issei. No, nothing much. Issei smiled. Riser noticed this to be fake, but decided to not pry on it. Riser then turned to Rias and spoke. Riser. 10 days. Riser is generous enough to give you 10 days. Prepare yourselves for battle, my love. Rias. You underestimate us, we will crush you. Riser. Riser can't wait, Eubulina. The purple buxom woman of Riser's peerage approaches her master and asks. Eubulina. Yes, master. Riser immediately grabs her and makes out with her. He also gropes her as well, with both of them blushing immensely. Eubulina on the other hand reciprocates the kiss, as the two are in their own blissful world. Rias glares hatefully at the couple, with most of the orc doing the same. The others have a neutral expression. Asia is immensely blushing, while Issei has a jealous look on his face. Riser has gotten a girlfriend, while Issei is still single. He needs to get one as soon as possible. Riser. Seems like you still get no bitches. Riser smirked a victory grin towards Issei, while Issei looked at him in jealousy. He then thought. Issei. I will get a girlfriend one day, watch me. Dragon's Algo chuckled at this, a banter between two childhood friends. Riser then turned to Rias and spoke. Riser. Until then, see you Rias, my love, and Issei, it was nice meeting you, Riser's friend. Riser and his peerage along with Grafia teleported back to the underworld. Rias then turned towards Issei and walked to him. She then tried to slap him, keyword tried. But Issei caught her hand without even any effort and made a neutral expression. Issei. What? Rias. You took his side, how dare you? You should be on my side. The Keno. And you even insulted Kaneko, how dare you? The Keno had joined the discussion immediately after keeping the plate inside. Issei then responded. Issei. Listen, Gremory, let us make one thing clear, you do not control me, and you do not make decisions for me, and I was meeting a friend, I would rather be in his peerage than yours, and one more thing, I defended myself from Kaneko, and you have no right to judge me, is that clear? Issei raised a bit of his aura, making the girls fall to the ground, minus Akeno who was getting turned on, and Asia who was unaffected. She could handle Issei's aura without any problem. Seeing the situation, Issei and Asia decided to leave. Today was a good day for him. He met his first childhood friend, and that was more than enough to make him happy. Previously we saw Rainer head back to her club to report to Riaz about Asia's existence being present. Riaz on hearing this at first was shocked, then she hatched an evil plan to try and get Asia so that Issei would follow. Needless to say her plan was caught on by Sona, who threatened to expose her to her brother and tell Issei, which got her to change her mind. Leaving Sona, made a vow to no longer protect Riaz if she goes down this path. Meanwhile with Issei, he was having a good time with his friends. As he did, Issei knew about some things. However, Issei and his friends were interrupted when a magic circle from the Grimory family revealed to be from Riaz showed up. This angered everyone present to the point of even willing to torture her for information. She exclaimed she wanted his virginity, and this angered Issei to the point that it even scared his own friends. However, before anybody could say anything, Grafia showed up as she was surprised on the presence of two demons in a commoner's house. As she took Riaz away, Issei and the others continued to play their game. The next day, he and Asia head to school to see what has happened to Riaz. As he entered, Riaz initially thought that Issei cared for her, but in reality he only was curious as to what happened and why Riaz was in his own home. Issei sat and eventually the visitor was revealed to be that of Rizer Phoenix, of the House of Phoenix. Rizer plays with Ria's hair, which she does not like, as she exclaims in disgust. Rizer was kind of forced to do this. This made Issei taunt her that if that is what her family wants, as Rizer likes him. Issei introduces himself. As the name clicks, Rizer remembers his childhood friend. As they greet each other, surprising everyone, Kaneko comments about their perverted nature. This angers Rizer, however Issei stops her. He brutally insults Kaneko, making her cry. As Riaz intervenes, commanding Issei to apologize, Rizer stands by him. This nearly causes an aggression which was stopped by Grafia. In the aftermath, Rizer reveals the rest of his peerage, as he does. Ravel and Issei also have a reunion, as they do. Rizer kisses Yubulina, making Issei jealous, and Riaz glare at him towards hatred. Rizer taunts Issei, as Issei promises to get a girlfriend one day. As they do, Rizer leaves for the night, and Grafia informs the group about the raiding game that would take place in about 2 weeks, as Grafia teleports to inform this to her master husband. Riaz then gets up and attempts to slap Issei, only for him to catch it and angrily respond that he does not care for her by any means, as he walked away raising his aura, making the others fear him. Sona. So you're telling me that Rizer was your childhood friend? Issei. That's true. After the meeting with Riaz, Issei was called by the student council courtesy of Momo Hanakai. She did not like Issei's presence, but Sona commanded her to do so. She believed that Issei was to be punished and to be expelled. However, when it was confirmed that she wanted to have a conversation with him, this angered Momo, but an aura flare made her run away. This was not liked by most of the student council members, with the girls minus Tsubaki hating him for his false accusation against him, as well as them being afraid that Issei might do something to her. Saji, on the other hand, did not like, since he was jealous with him having a crush on Sona, but at the same time pitied and respected him. Asia. Even I was surprised, you never told me about this. Sona sighs and speaks. Sona. Anyways, I am glad you weren't violent with her. But I wouldn't be surprised you would. Issei. Yeah, but her and Kaneko were getting on my nerves. Sona nodded. She managed to send away her peerage, since she knew that Issei would not do anything to her. Her goal was simple, she wanted to befriend him, not out of using or toying with him, but because she noticed he needed help. There was a difference between her and Riaz. While Sona is known to be strict, she is also known to be dutiful in her tasks and performs her duties diligently. However, she is known to side with the truth no matter what. She will go against her friend if need be, as much as it hurts her. That did not mean she lacked mercy, she had it and used it when necessary. Riaz, on the other hand, was kind and friendly on the surface. But in reality she was extremely spoiled by her own brother and father. This made her negligent and manipulative because of their actions. She knew that if she were to get in trouble her brother would save her, but because of her pride and the way she was raised, she would never ask for their help. Sona. I see. Well, Kaneko always had a hatred for perverts. Issei. That's true, blind hatred, but either way, I could care less for her and her master and peerage. Sona. Speaking of which, Issei, I have a request. Issei. Go ahead. Issei had an idea on her request. It was gotta be related to that red-haired bitch in her peerage. Sona. I want you to talk to Kiba. He tried to talk, but you never let him. Issei. Why? Issei spoke with an annoyed tone. He was on the mark with that one. Sona knew that this was a risk as she requested. Sona. It is because Kiba was not aware of what Riaz did, only she and Akeno were aware, as well as Kaneko. After all, it was her that spied on you. Issei looked at her for a moment, silence being the only thing between them, as Asia spoke. Asia. Issei, I wanted to say something. Issei. Go ahead. Asia. I think. Out of all the people I have observed, I have noticed Kiba trying his best to talk with you. Kiba was the only one that did not fight you during the ambush and attack on your friends, so I think you should talk. Then again, I am not forcing you, just suggesting you. Sona. Issei, please, if he tried anything, I take full responsibility if anything goes wrong. Issei saw the pleading Sona as Sona pleaded with him. Her expression did not lie, as both Zalgo and Drake were quiet. Issei narrowed his eyes and spoke. Issei. Fine. I believe you. Sona. Sona nods and gives him a smile, after which Asia and Issei leave. He wondered what and why Kiba was talking to him. Issei stood across the school grounds. As he saw Kiba waiting for him, he wondered what he talked to him. Issei. So what do you want to talk about? Kiba. Well. I want to tell you and prove you my innocence. Issei. I have an idea. You never fought me when the girls tried to use my friends against me. You were the only one who did not reprimand me when I defended my friend's honor, so I had either two things in mind. Either you are innocent or you feel guilt for your actions. Kiba. It is definitely the former. Issei narrowed his eyes. As he opened them, he commanded. Issei. Prove it. Kiba. Okay. Truth is, when I came to the church, I really wanted to help rescue Asia. Hell, I was not even aware of Ria's toying with the both of you. I don't know about Kaneko, but all I know is that. Kiba was stopped when Issei kept his hand on him and spoke. Issei. Alright, I know you are here. Rainer, Kaneko, get your ass out. Before I burn the bush you are in. The two girls leave the bush, shocking Kiba as Issei turned to him. Issei. Judging by your look, I guess you are not aware of these two being here. Turns to them. Now tell me, why the hell are you two jackasses here before I burn the two of you traitors alive? Rainer was the first to step forward. She was terrified of her ex-boyfriend, who showed her dominance multiple times as she spoke. Rainer. Our Ria's wanted to report on you. She used us too. Issei. Spy, I am pretty sure about that. Why? Is what I want to know. Kaneko. Shiwa wanted to know how strong you have become. How did you become this strong? Issei. Why should I tell you, Kaneko-chan? Issei sarcastically spoke the last line. As he saw the girls shivering, he sighed and spoke. Issei. Anyway, I don't have any reason or obligation to tell you. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Kaneko. President wants you to come for her vacation house for 10 days, for training. Kaneko and Rainer then teleport out of there as Kiba spoke. Kiba. You aren't coming, are you? Issei. Nope. And she can't make me. Kiba. How? Issei. Well, let's just say she can't and keep it till that. Issei spoke with a shrug. Kiba didn't find it necessary to pry on, as he does not want to. Kiba. So where was I? Yeah. I only knew about the time of Ria's letting you die when Rainer exposed her in front of everyone. I never did betray you, Issei. You are my comrade and I never did let you die by her hands. Kiba exclaimed as Issei looked at him wide-eyed. He was telling the truth. One of the things that Drake thought him was the ability to detect whenever a person was lying. Anyone could lie, but he could easily detect that. Issei sighs. After realizing this, he felt sad. Sad for not believing in him. He still had trust issues and lacked confidence in others and himself. This could result in him driving away the people that actually may love and cherish him. Issei. Fine. I believe you. Kiba's eyes widened as Issei spoke. Issei. I would have come to know if you were lying, given I am part dragon, and my sacred gear would have informed me whether you are lying. The good thing is that I don't see any lies or deceit from you. Kiba felt a little better as he spoke. Issei. Is there anything else you want? Kiba gave a smile and responded. Kiba. No, nothing much, Issei. Issei nods and takes a leave. As he does, Zalgo speaks. Zalgo. It is a good thing you are having faith in others besides us too. Issei. Yeah, it's going to be a while until I can have faith. Or even a lover. Zalgo beamed at this and exclaimed. Zalgo. I can't wait for that day, Issei. Greg. So am I. It seems like you are getting better with others as time passes by. Zalgo. That's true. Aside from demons, you first started to trust Sona, and now. Issei. Whoa, where did I say I trust them? I will not trust a devil or a fallen angel. Yes, I talked to her, doesn't mean I trust her completely, at least not yet. I may have a little faith in her, because she stood up for me, and believed me, and she is the only one that believes that I am innocent, as well as is helping me find proof to get those bitches some real judgment. Issei was quiet, as Zalgo spoke with a little sadness. Zalgo. Take your time, young one, you need to learn to have trust and confidence in others, and speaking of trust, do you remember your past? Issei. I do. Issei growled as he remembered on how God betrayed him. He also heard his last words, but not before he had cursed him to die for his betrayal. The curse consumed him from the outside and the inside. Issei also remembered that the curse was almost incurable, akin to how Samuel's poison would have worked on a dragon. Once triggered, it would consume the target, breaking away chunks of a target's body until there was nothing left. It was torture. It consumed both the inside and the outside of a person, making the person feel unimaginable pain. HEROBRINE had informed Issei that God had died for real. Instead of feeling sad, he felt happy that the person that betrayed and killed him died for good. Bolg, the spear of death, was the one that killed him. It was a spear that was mixed with a special poison that would potentially fatally injure a demon if ingested or injected with. The worst part is that the poison ceased function of all the body functions, which included the heart and brain as well. The good thing is that Zalgo, being a demon god, could have been saved if he was aware of the poison, or if he knew of his friend's betrayal. He trusted the God of the Bible, and that was his biggest mistake. The biblical God used a trust to his advantage and stabbed him in the back. He made sure that Zalgo died. That is why Zalgo and Issei made sure to never trust the angels ever again, which meant the church as well. He made sure that Zalgo died and confirmed his death, but at the same time, in retaliation, he made sure that the biblical God died a horrifying death. He made sure that his curse tortured him. The god cried for anyone to help, but nobody came. Michael came, but he was too late. He also saw Zalgo's dead body. It is unknown what happened after that, but all what happened was that the war between the three factions came to a standstill after the death of the original 4 Satans, as well as several archangels and fallen angel generals. Issei. And I know whom I need to trust and whom not to, for now at least. Zalgo. Good, keep that in mind. There are many enemies that are around you, case in point that crow. Drake. And that Gremory brat, since I believe that her brother would to anything to protect you. Geez, I wish I could have handled him myself. Issei. I know. But I am nowhere near as strong as him. If HEROBRINE is right, both he and Youkai are living incarnations of what you can call a monster. Honestly, I would love to burn that bitch to the ground. Zalgo. Keep your calm, don't act now. Right now, you are in upper ultimate class. Your balance breaker reaches low Satan class level, but you will be beyond that. As for those two are way beyond Satan class, so much so they have created a class of their own, the Super Devil class. Issei nods, after which he heads home to deal with his family. They are trying to build up a broken relation, but you know what they say, once a family bond is shattered, it is near impossible to build one, and in Issei's case, it was never built to begin with. Scene change. Zalgo decided to teach Issei a few things, that being telekinesis, umbrakinesis and pyrokinesis. If he needed to help his friend Riser, he decided to teach those things. For that he went back to the null dimension, which was the same place where he learned reality manipulation, black hole manipulation, soul manipulation, musical manipulation spells, mind manipulations and chaos manipulation. Telekinesis allowed Issei to manipulate objects with the mind. This allowed Issei to pick up things without touching anything. This allowed Issei to even torture his enemies by damaging their internal organs. It was not as strong, but Zalgo theorized that he could take down entire enemies from a distance. Umbrakinesis allowed Issei to manipulate darkness with the absence of light. This allowed Issei to manipulate the darkness and potentially the shadows. Similar to telekinesis, he could lift objects, with the exception of shadows. This allowed his own shadow space, which is its own dimension that would allow Issei to store objects in the future. Pyrokinesis is fire manipulation, which allowed Issei to control fire. A fire attack would not be able to do much to Issei. Drake added this by teaching him his signature move, Blazing Inferno of Scorching Flames, which was his signature move. Issei managed to master pyrokinesis, surprising both Drake and Zalgo. They predicted that it was because of his demonic dragon body. This enhanced his flames and made him learn much quicker. After that the group headed back. Drake and Zalgo theorized that Issei was at least low Satan class without his balance breaker. Well, with it was theorized that he was at middle Satan level. Issei got back with the rest of his group. As he spoke. Issei. So what's the plan? HEROBRINE. Right now, nobody suspects you for Diodara's murder, not even that fool of your master. Lord X. Yeah, and probably the detective agencies are slacking, and I doubt that anybody would find a clue. Probably would take a century, give or take. HEROBRINE. The good thing is that I have evidence against him, so when do you think we shall use it? Issei. Soon. But not now. Asia. Alright, but you would need to go to that mansion, since she would want to train you and the others, right? Issei. I really don't want to go there. Issei spoke in an annoyed tone, as MX spoke. MX. But we need to make sure that you not being her servant remains a secret, right? HEROBRINE. MX is right, you have to make sure that you don't let your cover out. Issei looked at them for a while and then responded. Issei. Fine, I will. Issei reluctantly agreed as the group smiled. Asia consoled Issei as HEROBRINE spoke, remembering something. HEROBRINE. I just remembered something, a portal to another demon realm has opened up. MX and the others were surprised by this as Issei asked. Issei. Where? HEROBRINE. The coordinates told me that it was near where you and your master will be training, so that is where I would suggest we should go. Issei. I see. Is that why you want me there? HEROBRINE nods as Issei sighs, he then speaks. Issei. Fine, but where will the portal leads us? HEROBRINE. For now, I have no clue, but we need to make sure that we reach there before anyone else does. The good thing is that there is no settlement there, so no humans will be going there. We can't confirm whether it is passive or aggressive. Issei thought for a while and spoke. Issei. Very well, we will head there when I will come with them. The group nods, after which Issei dismisses them. They all head back to their dimensions. As Asia stays back, Issei takes a deep breath as Asia speaks. Asia. You did well, much better than last time. Issei. I know, but trauma doesn't go. Honestly, sometimes I don't see fit for being a leader. Asia. You just lack the confidence, which should build over time. Issei. I hope so. I don't want to endanger their lives, especially Lord X and MX, they have families. I will never forgive myself if anything happens to those two. Issei panicked, he was losing his confidence, as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. You know, I have also been through situations like these. When you are a leader, you often have to make the hard decision of sending the people you have grown up with to battle, especially if they are your friends. It shows that despite everything, you still have some of your former self in you. Lacking confidence is just natural, it happens, it may be due to failures or past trauma. Which is mostly the latter in your most case, but over time it may overcome and go. All you need is give it time or a catalyst that can immediately happen. Asia. Zalgo is right, trust me, God abandoned me thrice. I no longer have faith in him. Once was when I was abandoned by my own mother, then by the church and then by the fallen. Minus you, everyone I had followed abandoned or used me, but you Issei, I will follow to the ends of the earth, no matter what. I don't care who you are Issei, Zalgo, you are my savior, you are my first friend. And nothing more, nothing less. Drake was quiet the whole time, he could not understand the situation, but he smiled, seeing Issei having tears in his eyes. They believe in him, only a few believed in him. As Asia hugged him, he had tears in her chest. As Asia calmed him down, she knew that like her, he has suffered a lot. They stayed this for a while, after which Issei put a barrier and Issei slept with Asia. He doesn't want his parents to know who she is, and he slept with her together for a while. Scene change. Issei's mindscape, 3 AM. Zalgo looked down, he saw that his life energy was starting to go. He sighed, knowing that he doesn't have much time left, as Drake spoke. Drake. How long? Zalgo turned his attention to Drake as Drake spoke. Drake. How long do you have left? Zalgo. At most 2 to 3 weeks. After that I shall pass on, my soul will disappear and merge with Issei. Drake crouched to his level, as Zalgo sat next to him. Drake spoke. Drake. First, I never thought that I would be meeting the legendary Demon King Zalgo, someone that even Great Radanoffis fear. Now I know that my current partner is his reincarnation, that even I am not expecting. Albion is in for a real treat. Drake spoke the last part with a chuckle, as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. That's true, but then again, I have a feeling that this White Dragon's host is special. Drake. You think so? Zalgo nods, as Drake speaks. Drake. Truth is, I have been fighting Albion for so long, sometimes I feel responsible that my actions have resulted in many innocent lives' death. Even then, my pride results in doing the same thing over and over again. Zalgo. Then why don't you break the cycle? Drake looked at his surprised as he continued. Zalgo. Break the cycle of death, make it as if that you two can fight, without the possibility of death itself. That way you can satisfy your rivalry, as well as giving room for your rival to grow and become better. Have a good fight, so that eventually you and your rival can fight for something, every time you see each other. What's the point in fighting a weak dragon? No offense. Drake. None taken, I see what you mean, I and my partner would agree, but even then, it is highly unlikely Albion or his host would. Worse, if he becomes an enemy of my current partner, then your advice happening is highly unlikely. Zalgo. I see. Well again, it's only an advice, whether you implement it is your option. I won't hold it against you, that's your matter. Drake. Understandable. So when will you tell Issei about your situation? Zalgo. I honestly don't know. He looks up to me as a father figure, his own birth father abuses and torments him for believing those two whores. I don't know how will he take it. Drake was silent as Zalgo sadly continues. Zalgo. In my life, I only had one person to care for my daughter, since many wanted her for her power. I had her sealed away for her own safety. She has been 8 years old ever since. I smiled seeing her like that, and it is the last thing I have seen before that bastard god killed me. I made her understand about her situation, and the good thing is she understood. I made her the promise to come back for her one day. Greg. I see. I never knew about that. I hope she is fine. Zalgo. Yeah, I made sure only I could open the stasis she was kept in and has been undetectable for a long time. Her relation with her own mother reminded me of Issei's relation with his own parents and family. Greg nods as Zalgo speaks. Zalgo. Anyways, let's go to sleep. We need to train him tomorrow. Greg. Yeah, good night, buddy. Both Zalgo and Drake then go to sleep, as they knew tomorrow is another day. They needed to check the portal as soon as possible. Previously we saw Issei and Sona having a discussion on the recent events that had transpired between them. As Issei explained about Riser being a childhood friend, Sona was surprised, after which Issei stated that he does not care for the Grimoire peerage. On this, Sona had requested Issei to talk to Kiba. Since he was truly innocent, giving up, he decided to talk to Kiba. Meeting him at the school ground, Kiba confessed that he was truly innocent, that he was not aware of Ria's and her peerage's plan to fool Issei. However, this was cut short when Issei detected the presence of Rainer and Kaneko. Upon demanding their reasoning of being here, the girls exclaimed that they were here to detect Issei's powers, which was denied. And to give a message that he was supposed to come for the 10-day trip, as Issei initially denied. As he left for the day, he assured Kiba that he believes him, much to the boy's happiness. After dealing with his parents, Issei heads back to the null dimension, where he trains in his magic, as well as learns telekinesis, umbrakinesis and pyrokinesis, where he learns pyrokinesis with ease, surprising the two entities inside his sacred gear. As he does, they leave and regroup with the rest of his people. As they do, MX, Lord X and HEROBRINE explain his scenario. As he does, HEROBRINE and Lord X suggest Issei to head there, since it does not want Issei to remove his cover of him no longer being a pawn. Much to Issei's sadness, he does not want to do it, but with some convincing he accepts to head there. In addition, HEROBRINE also reveals a demonic realm that is open in that area, accessed by a portal. As a result, Issei accepts going there without any issues, much to the group's happiness. As they do, Issei sighs when the rest head back to their dimensions. Issei still lacks confidence, but with a push from both Asia and Zalgo, Issei regains it, as Asia decided to sleep next to Issei for the night. While Issei was sleeping, Zalgo sees that he does not have much time left. Upon being confronted by Drake by this, he reveals that his soul has been without a body for too long. As a result, he does not have much time left, as his soul is constantly dying out. He knew that he only had a few weeks remaining. Drake and Zalgo wonder how Issei would take this news before their souls end up merging. He also gives Drake advice. Given that his rivalry has claimed many lives, instead of killing each other, they can give constant time to improve and be better. As time passes, eventually their rivalry might die out, and the two current possessors will bring this rivalry to a new destiny. They then head to sleep to prepare for the next day. Grimoire Mountains, 7 AM. 10 days have passed since the events that had happened with Riser. As Riaz asked the rest of her peerage, as Issei and Asia stood there, he thought. Issei. How the hell are they gonna beat Riser? Riaz. Now my adorable servants, let's train to your hardest. Riaz exclaimed as the others nodded. With a smile, Kiba then spoke. Kiba. I am surprised that you actually came. Issei. I have some other motives than training to come here. Kiba. I see. So are you planning to tell me? Issei. Sometime in the future. Kiba. Sometime in the future. Kiba nods. As Issei and Asia head off the distance, they decide to go to the portal that is opened up. Riaz then calls them out. Riaz. Where do you two think you are going? Issei and Asia turn to Riaz as he speaks. Issei. I go where I want to. I don't think you decide what I do and where I go. Issei and Asia walk away as Riaz exclaims in anger. Riaz. Issei, wait up. Issei turned to Riaz as he speaks in an annoyed tone. Issei. What? Asia. Do you really want to do this now? You will be out of commission before your fight against Riser even begins. Riaz loses her anger and some of it is replaced with fear. Issei. Now, if you will excuse us, we have some work and training of our own to do. Issei and Asia once again walks away as Riaz yells. Riaz. You better wait, Issei, or else I will make sure your life is a living hell. Issei turns to her with a glare as Riaz has a smirk. She exclaims. Riaz. I want you to see how powerful you are. Kiba facepalmed on hearing this as he thought. Kiba. This idiot. Issei sighs as he speaks one word. Issei. Fine. Issei raised his aura, making her pale. She was suffocating, as she paled with unable to handle the aura. Even her peerage was close to passing out suffocating. As Issei approached her, Asia was worried that Issei might end up killing her. He then speaks with no emotion. Issei. This is your last and final warning, Gremory. I don't care who you are and who you bring to avenge your sorry non-existent ass. If you get in my way, I will finish what I started, let me make this clear. Issei walked away as she was hyperventilating. She then turns to Kaneko and speaks. Rias. Spy. Oh, on him. Rias tried to get up, panting due to her fear. As Kaneko nods, Issei and Asia leave, while Lakeno and Rainer just watch in fear and horror. Kiba then thought. Kiba. I would rather be a stray devil than deal with this dumpster fire of a team. She is gonna get us all killed if she continues this path. Kiba wanted to find a way to get out of this peerage. As Issei walked away, Kaneko followed him. Scene change. Issei and Asia walk ahead, with Kaneko spying on them. However, this is cut short as Issei speaks. Issei. Stop. Issei used telekinesis, lifting Kaneko in the air as he speaks. Issei. You never learn, do you? Asia was surprised when Kaneko was been seen. Her surprise changed to anger as she spoke. Asia. What the hell are you doing here? Issei. Isn't it obvious she is spying on us for that power-hungry period hair? Kaneko struggled against Issei's grasp as she spoke. Kaneko. How are you doing this? Issei. I don't think I need to answer you that. You always hated me for being a pervert. Now you are getting on my nerves. It will only take me a flick of a wrist to crush your heart or snap your neck, killing you permanently. Kaneko felt fear. She was afraid that Issei could kill her instantly. She hated that he was a mindless pervert who only cared for a woman's body, a person who was lecherous and mindlessly perverted. Issei also hated her. She was primarily the reason why Rias toyed with him. He knew that she and the rest of her peerage and minus Kiba will keep getting in his way. Having enough, he spoke. Issei. But I have a better plan for you. You will come to know later. Until then, stay out of my way. Issei smashed her to a nearby tree, knocking her out cold. Asia then spoke. Asia. Was the threatening necessary? Issei. I am afraid so. Fear is the only language Rias and her peerage will learn. I am sorry. Asia nodded her head sideways. Asia. No, I am not judging or criticizing you. Honestly, I would just simply knock her out rather than threaten her. Either way, let's go. The others are waiting for us. Asia gave a smile. As Issei smiled in response, the duo then head to the location where the portal was at. The other three demons were waiting at him. MX. Took you long enough, bossman. What happened? Issei and Asia saw that all three Lord X, MX and HEROBRINE were waiting for him as he spoke. Issei. Had a run-in with a certain red-haired bitch and her annoying cat. Sorry for the delay. The trio understood what had happened. As they saw the portal, they saw that the portal seems to be depicting a place that seems to have a gloomy appearance. HEROBRINE. I recognize this place. The group looked at HEROBRINE and spoke. Issei. You do? Lord X. It does seem familiar. HEROBRINE kept thinking. It was taking a while. He wondered what was the place called. That is when it clicked. He then spoke. HEROBRINE. I remember now. This place is Lavender Town. It is an infamous place which is sort of a graveyard for Pokemon that have died. Issei. So Pokemon are? HEROBRINE. Real, yes. Just like our worlds are real, we can enter the Pokemon world, even if we want to, just like you can enter the Mario and Sonic world. But this world is not the same Pokemon world you are familiar with. It is a demon realm, just like MX and Lord X worlds. A sort of alternate reality from our own canon world, the world that is more famous and widely known among children. MX. That's true, although there are many that are known to reside here. I wonder whom we will meet. HEROBRINE. Well, there is Buried Alive, Purin, Hypno, to name a few. There are a lot of people. Issei. I see. Asia. Guys, let's go. I doubt the portal would be open for much longer. The rest nodded as they entered the portal leading to the hidden town and the most dreaded town, Lavender Town. Scene change. Lavender Town, 9 p.m. Issei and the others head to Lavender Town, a place infamous for its burials. As soon as they entered, they felt ominous. They knew the place they entered was a death location, a location where trainers buried their deceased Pokemon so that they can have a rest. MX. Alright, we are here. Asia felt suffocating, Issei exclaimed on seeing this. Issei. Asia. Issei rushed to her aid as HEROBRINE spoke. HEROBRINE. Give her some time. This place may be unsettling, but the thing should go with time. Turns to Asia. Take a deep breath. You will often need to visit the demon realm time and time. Asia does so and eventually got alright. Her demon side was able to stabilize herself. Perhaps it was her past as being a nun, but it should go eventually. Issei helps her up while asking. Issei. Are you alright? Asia. Yeah. I am fine. Asia gets up as they head inside the cemetery. They climb the upper floors dealing with several of the vampires that were craving monster blood, MX destroying them by smashing, Lord X killing them by brutally burning them, HEROBRINE using telekinesis and Issei using pyrokinesis and chaos magic. Asia watches, since Issei thought that she is not ready. As they head higher the cemetery they hear the following singing. Issei. I am pretty sure that's Hypno. MX. That's the lullaby he sings to lure children. This surprised Issei as he spoke. Issei. Don't tell me the dude's a groomer. The trio of demons minus Asia was surprised since they were aware what a groomer is. As they were agape, Lord X then exclaimed. Lord X. Hell no. He often takes children away from neglected families. He instills fear that parents should treat their children with care and respect. Issei. Alright, I believe you. Issei calmed down as Asia asked. Asia. What is a groomer? Is it someone that dresses one up? Issei. No Asia. It's messed up, I will tell you later. Asia looks at him and nods as they proceed higher up the cemetery. Scene change. Cemetery top, Lavender Town, 10 p.m. The group reached the top of the cemetery where they saw a bipedal, slightly humanoid entity that has yellow skin. It has triangular ears with brown interiors, sleepy-looking eyes, and a large nose. On its neck, it has a ruff of white fur, which is longer on the female. It had 5 fingers on each hand and holds a pendulum in its left. The pendulum resembles a flat silver ring and is used for hypnotism. It had 3 toes on each foot, which also have a pink pad on the undersides. Hypno stopped singing his lullaby. HEROBRINE had given Asia 2 earmuffs, preventing her from hearing his lullaby and falling into his trance. Hypno turned his attention and spoke in a croaky yet friendly voice. Hypno. Hello. How may I help you? MX. Well Hypno, do you remember us? Hypno. Let me think. Hypno scratches his chin and speaks. Hypno. Yes, it's been a while MX, Lord X, HEROBRINE. Lord X. It has been old friend. After greeting each other, Lord X introduces Hypno to Issei and Asia. Hypno greets the young girl. As she returns his greetings, she did find him a bit weird, but a gentleman nevertheless. Hypno. So yours Zalgo's reincarnation huh? Sorry if I bother you. Have a little bit of amnesia. Issei. Why? Hypno. Long story, let's just say I am not rap battling ever again. Issei and the others looked at each other as Issei asked. Issei. So will you join us? Hypno. You will need to give me some time. I need to think about this. Hypno scratched his chin as he spoke. Hypno. I will join. This beamed the others as Hypno continued. Hypno. But on a small condition. The young man needs to survive a test of mine. The group turned to Issei, wondering what his choice would be as he speaks. Issei. I accept Hypno. What do I need to do? Hypno. Simple. Survive a hypnosis test of mine, and that's it. Issei nods as Hypno begins his hypnosis on Issei as Zalgo spoke. Zalgo. Endure it, Issei, all the best, this will test your mental fortitude. Zalgo was quiet, he and Drake were aware of what will happen to Issei. He also informed the others that he must endure it. Hypno then spoke. Hypno. Remember your past. Remember. Hypno swung his pendulum. As he did swing it in a U-shaped manner, visions of Issei's past started to appear. He saw a happy childhood with his parents and his sister Masami. As he did, those visions have Issei, a smile. Asia. Is he? MX. Having a good time. There is one thing Hypno specializes in, physic power. His power with telekinesis is unmatched. Nobody can beat him in that. He is known to be a master in hypnosis. HEROBRINE. This test is a strength of his mental prowess. I think if it works, my lord will succeed in something that is tormented for so long. Asia. His past. Asia spoke, then realizing in concern on what she realized as Lord X spoke. Lord X. I know you are concerned, but this is his fight. Asia looked onto him in worry as Issei's smile changed to expression of fear. Asia understood what had happened. Scene change. Inside Issei's mindscape, 10:15 p.m. Issei was being tormented inside of his mindscape as his father kicked him on his stomach. He coughed up as he looked at him. Boru. You piece of trash. Why can't you behave like a good boy? Issei spoke weakly as he begged his father for listening. Issei. I didn't do it, I swear. Issei was cut off by a slap from his mother as she exclaimed. Mickey. You assaulted those girls. I still remember the look those girls gave, they looked fearful. Issei. But they are lying. Issei shouted in response as he received a slap from his father and a kick from him. Boru. Don't lie, the school doesn't lie to us. Admit your fault like the good little boy you are. Issei. I will never. Issei tried to speak the truth, but his parents would keep beating him up, they kept punching and kicking him as he tried to speak. The girls Cadis and Murayama were responsible for this, they had framed Issei for assaulting him, they made sure to show the proof by tearing their own clothes and even going so far as to fake injury themselves. Issei watched from the corner of his eye, his sister was watching him, she was quiet the whole time, she just watched Issei getting beaten up, she had pity in her eyes, Issei remembered her being too focused on her career. Issei. Masami, why? Issei realized one thing, that he needed to keep fighting, his parents don't believe him, his sister doesn't help him, his school doesn't believe him, those two girls are going to make his life a living hell. Nobody believes him, nobody will, he needed to know this, he will no longer be beaten up, ever again. He also knew one thing, in order to defend himself, he needed to fight back, else his parents might end up killing them, he felt a surge of power. He knew what he needed to fight back. Issei. Enough. Issei pushed his parents back, he will suffer no longer, his parents were having an expression of horror on their faces, he then spoke. Issei. I am tired of telling you assholes that I am innocent if you don't want to believe me. Fine. Do whatever you want, I myself will fight for my innocence, even if I have to fight against the whole world. Issei released his aura, disintegrating the vision of his parents and his sister who tried to defend them, by rushing towards them, he had passed the first test, that is when the screen went black, this time it changed into a school. He then saw two girls approaching him, this was Cadis and Murayama, he noticed that he was in his elementary school. Murayama. Oh look, if it isn't Haidu. Murayama spoke with a smirk, as she approached Issei, Issei kept quiet, but he balled his hands into a fist, as Cadis spoke. Cadis. Oh my, someone is angry, seems like our lie worked Mura. Murayama. Indeed, the school and everyone else is a fool, they believed us. Cadis. Oh I have something. Cadis brought out rancid milk, as she spoke. Cadis. Oh and we have something special for you, Issei. Cadis cooed as Murayama spoke. Murayama. Oh and don't even try to do anything, we will just tell them that you are lying to us and frame you with rape, Issei. Murayama spoke with an evil smile, as Cadis spoke with an evil smile, as she poured the rancid milk on Issei, Issei endured it for a while, after which he only grabbed Cadis's hand, shocking her and twisting it. Cadis. Aya. Murayama. Cat. You bastard, I will make sure your life is living hell, Issei. Murayama screamed as Issei spoke. Issei. Heh. You complain to me, Issei approached Murayama scaring her as she turns away, go ahead, do it, but what will you do if you don't remain alive, only? Issei had an evil grin as Murayama fell back as Issei spoke. Issei. Cowards, that's all you really are, now goodbye. Issei grabbed her by the throat as she croaked. Murayama. Issei, let me go, or you will regret it. Issei. Sorry, but I am afraid your existence is a hindrance to everything, goodbye. Issei used his power, killing her instantly. Cadis seeing this felt fear, she tried to run away as Issei used his power, killing her in a slow and painful manner. Cadis, no Issei. Please, I am sorry, I will get in your way. Issei ignored her, killing her instantly, she was no longer there, Issei had defeated his two groups that had tormented him for so long, as the things went back to black, Zalgo spoke as Issei reverted to his current form. Zalgo. Congratulations, you have passed your test, you did a good job showing them who you really are. Issei. Thanks Zalgo. Drake. Now it is time for you to wake up from this nightmare. Issei. Indeed Drake, indeed, now let's head out. Scene change. Cemetery top, Lavender Town, 10:30 p.m. Issei finally awakened as Issei managed to survive Hypno's hypnosis as Hypno spoke. Hypno. You did it, you passed the test. Hypno spoke with a smile as Issei woke up, Asia hugged him as she exclaimed his name, he then spoke. Issei. Sorry for worrying for you. Asia sniffed as she spoke. Asia. So what happened? Issei. Just had a trip down the memory lane. Speaking of memory. Turns to Hypno, thank you for giving me the strength, these scars may not go, but to fight against these scars, thank you. Hypno looked at him for a while and spoke with a wry smile while sweat dropping. Hypno. Huh. Yeah, sure, why not, and I have also decided I will join, if you need me, you can just call me, like the rest of the demons. Issei. Good. Welcome aboard Hypno. MX. It's good to have you back. Lord X nods as MX approached and brought him closer, giving him a shoulder hug, as Hypno grunted, there was one thing that he should be aware of, and that was his strength. Hypno. Come on, let me lead you guys back home. Scene change. Lavender Town, 10:45 p.m. Issei and his group reached outside, well they did, they saw a broken Pokemon Center, once they did, they heard someone crying, it was almost akin to a Pokemon crying, as they took a look at each other. MX. Hey Hypno, who is crying? Hypno. Usually since this place has a lot of death going on, so there is a lot of crying, from Pokemon to humans. Lord X. I don't think the Pokemon. That is when an explosion took place, stopping Lord X. As he did, they saw a glass fall on the ground. The group rushed to see what happened, only to find that there was blood everywhere. The nurse Joy working in the Pokemon Center triggered an explosion. It was unknown whether this was an accident or intentional. Since they saw her body hanging by the nose, she was long dead. The device was also gone destroyed, along with several dead Pokemon. The device had been supporting several pods, attached to 6 different Pokemon. Issei identified them to be Chansey, Audino, Mismagius, Cuban, Phantom and Magneton. Issei. Holy shit. Issei kept his mouth on the hand, as Hypno sighed. Hypno. They did not deserve this. The Pokemon mentioned had several blisters on their body, some of their bones were mangled. Mismagius looked like there were several holes on her ghostly body. It did not make sense since she was a ghost, but it did not seem like that. Same went for Phantom. The tree stump had several blisters on it. They had closed their eyes and were not moving. Judging by the location, they seemed to be barely alive, but now they were dead. Hypno looked down in sadness as MX and Lord X consoled him. Asia was horrified seeing their condition as Issei calmed her down. They then once again heard a weeping, however it was much louder since they were nearby. They saw that the source was from a Jigglypuff. However, Jigglypuff was black in color instead of having a pink color scheme, and he had a black eyes and red pupils. Instead of her blue eyes and black pupils. She had blood crying from her eyes. Aside from those differences, it had small, stubby arms and slightly longer feet. On top of its head is a curled tuft of fur, and its body is filled with air. Hypno and the others looked at the Jigglypuff. They had a feeling of dread, since it did not look like a shiny Jigglypuff. She looked kind of scary. Hypno. Did you do this? The Jigglypuff cried and turned its head sideways as Hypno spoke. Hypno. I see. Issei. So who did this? Hypno. It was a Pokemon named Issei that did this. It was able to get through and kill every Pokemon present. Seeing this, the nurse committed suicide. The group gasped at this as Asia spoke while gasping in horror. Asia. That's horrible. Issei. Guys, when we find Issei we apprehend them as soon as possible. Issei spoke in an authoritative tone as the others nod. They need to find the rogue demon as soon as possible. Issei. So what will you do now, Purin? The Purin cried in response as Hypno spoke. Hypno. It has nowhere to go. The nurse took care of it. It has a special sing ability which if heard in large amounts it can kill anyone. Not to mention he does not want to hurt anyone. It is like a curse that never goes. The group looked at the Pokemon in pity. Issei and Asia really felt pity because of their remaining humanity as Asia spoke. Asia. I will adopt him. The Purin cried in response as Hypno spoke. Hypno. It's a girl Asia. Asia. Oh. Blushes my bad, sorry. Asia bows in response as the Purin nods as she speaks. Asia. I will adopt her. Asia gives the Pokemon a smile as he jumps on her and cries in happiness. Hypno speaks. Hypno. He is happy to be accepted by a trainer. Now all you need is a Pokeball. It should be here somewhere. Sees a Pokeball here. All you have to do is lightly tap. It should automatically capture it. Asia did so. After that Purin went into the Pokeball. It twirled thrice, after which it signified that it got captured. Asia was happy that she got her first partner, as the rest of the demons congratulated her. Scene change. Hypno. Alright guys, if you ever need me, you can summon me. I will be here to help you, without hesitation. Take care and have a safe trip. Issei. Yeah, you too take care. Hypno. And Asia, look after Purin, she is a gentle soul. Asia nods as the group enters the portal waving goodbye to each other. As they do, Hypno gives a smile. Zalgo is back and soon the lost demon kingdom will rise from its ashes. Scene change. Gremory Vacation House, 12 p.m. MX, Lord X and HEROBRINE go to their dimensions. As they wave goodbye, Issei and Asia head to deal with their master. Issei. Keep your Pokeball inside, use the button on the other side to shorten it. Asia nods as the Pokeball shortens in size. Asia keeps it inside her brown satchel which was slung on her right hip. As they do, they enter the mansion, only to be greeted by Ria's Gremory, who was hiding her fury inside of her. She gave a menacing smile. Ria's. Ah Issei, good to see you are here. Issei had an idea. Well, he put his hand in front of Asia, preventing her from doing anything reckless, while protecting her, as he spoke narrowing his eyes. Issei. What do you want? Ria's. You ran away and injured Kaneko. Issei. And she spied on us, both me and Asia. I have privacy you know. Ria's screamed in response. Ria's. So you are my servant, I expect you to listen to me, am I clear? Issei. No. Ria's. What was that? Issei. You heard me, no. I don't listen to a spoiled bitch like you, now if you will excuse me, I am going to take a shower. Issei walked away with Asia following him, as Riaz grabbed him, she exclaimed. Riaz? Wait. Issei and Asia stopped as she spoke. Riaz? You better listen to me, hi to Issei, or else. Issei. Or else what? Issei turned to Riaz, with a glare that could kill her, it almost felt like a predator was preying on a monster, he then exclaimed. Issei. Oh, you will try to threaten my loved ones. Go ahead, but don't expect to come out unscathed, I will make sure to chase you to the ends of the earth and eliminate you, I will finish what I started, back at the school, understood? Riaz fell down, as Issei continued. Issei. Let me make one thing clear, I hate you, more than anyone or anything else, I also know that you will scram behind your brother's back like the little cowardly piece of shit you are. Riaz widened her eyes, as he spoke. Issei. Yes, I know, of your brother, I pity him, for having a bitch of a sister like you, who uses him for her own selfish motives. But even he cannot save you for what I will do to you, if you insist on being a pain in the neck, then I will destroy you, and not even your brother will come to know, what have I done, is that understood? Riaz furiously nodded, Issei did not care if her brother protected her or not, times like this she wished her brother was here, but Issei knew that she will never call her, because of her pride. Issei. Now, if you will excuse us, we are heading to take a shower, we trained after all, and tell Kaneko to keep her paws where it belongs. Riaz widened his eyes, which meant that he knew of her secret, that meant that he would soon figure out Akeno's secret as well. Issei and Asia headed to the shower, with Asia speaking softly. Asia. If you value your life, just stay out of his way, for his own sake. Riaz could only clench her fist in anger, she was going to make Issei pay, one day for disobeying her. That's it guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.